like hell apparently is incitement, but taking the fight too is not. If you want to say neither of them are incitement, that's fine, but just pointing out the double standard. Finally, in very direct response to the prompt, the Civil War rhetoric is dumb. Trump needs to calm down the shit that he says. I have never been inconsistent in saying this. I never have made fun of or you know talked good about the Pelosi situation with the hammer. I also never talked good or spoke well of the assassination of the Democrat senators in Minnesota. Trump also condemned that and condemned that violence, which is good. I think some of the rhetoric right now coming out of the right is problematic as well. We need to stay peaceful and destroy these losers with ideas. No vengeance. Vengeance is bad.
And just quickly before we go to Gibbs, just so people don't remember the Pelosi situation, our friend Latchford brought up, it's when a unhinged individual showed up at her house with a hammer and I think like zip ties or something, right? But in any case, like he was attending to like uh accost Nancy Pelosi. She wasn't there. Her husband was there, and he attacked him and beat him over the head. He suffered severe injuries. Luckily, he survived, and the man was, caught. But after that, there was a lot of um, ridicule from the right about that particular incident. I don't want to go too deep into it and like put my opinion on the whole thing, but like it was like the response was quite varied to that particular act of political violence. But I'll leave it there. Let's go to our friend Gibbs.
Yeah, I tell you what, I initially on the day of, I was much more in the let's talk about it. Things we need to be cooler heads, But over the next few days, I've gotten more and more angry, and it's not because of what the right is doing. It's what people on the left are doing. This is like one of those times where even people I thought were like I don't know, like the reasonable ones, right? Have I done something that I think is a little bit sick? I'm really sick of the perfidious, duplicitous, and dishonest nature of this 1 degree of separation game that so many people are playing in like this moderate space, right? The idea that, oh, I can say XYZ and leave the last part unsaid. Like just this week, I've came at several other streamers because they'll say, "Oh, we need to wait. We don't know what this person is." The media is doing it. See, MSNBC or CNN that just said something. Oh, this guy could be a groiper. It could be a right winger, and they ran with this. Where there's been no indication, and all the indication has been, we know the motive. They're left leaning. Their family said they were left leaning. Their friends said they were left leaning. There's this trans ideology aspect to this. There's the all sorts of other things that we know for a fact. These are facts that we've been given to us by the law enforcement. We know for a fact that he wrote these Bella Ciao, which is the anti-fascist movement symbol thing on there. We know the uwu bulge thing. That's a furry thing. We know this person is and has been confirmed by the neighbor that's been seen making out with their transgender furry roommate, which, it's crazy because this is the sad part about this. This person actually has worked with law enforcement, and now they're getting hate. We know that Discord has lied. We actually have a confirmed that he confessed in a Discord about it, and Discord said there was no evidence. So now we have more, I don't want to go with conspiracy, but it seems like Discord covered it up, and they don't want this associated with him, and that's bad. That's its own separate issue. But the idea that these are not a left leaner, and the fact that people push this idea we don't know the motive, which is part of even the premise tonight, I reject wholeheartedly. We knew the motive almost immediately when it happened. All the evidence pointed to it. People were jumping in joy. Some were claiming to have been the shooter. Honestly, these people should all be tried with the individual that confessed that we're killing with this man as accessories to the murder because they made the manhunt harder by being fake confessors. All this is evil. Destiny has called for the death of streamers, saying conservatives should not be allowed to go or should be shot before they go to places in order to silence them. That's their goal, to silence conservative voices because they've lost the debate. And so now they have to silence us in order to win. It's disgusting. It's just I'm just really sick of it. And this idea that just, I can say all these things and then be like, well, I didn't use the exact term groiper or whatever. And their whole audience goes on the chat and just co-signs the unsaid part. They're like, well, I had nothing to do with it. It's disgusting. You know what you're doing when you do this. And you can, just because you can have the one little backdoor out saying, I didn't use the one specific word, doesn't mean you're not just as guilty. And it's really gross behavior. And I think that this really was exemplified last Saturday when I went on a show and I went through my DMs and I went through other appearances and I took all the things from left-leaning people have said about me in chat and I inserted these people's names there and they said, oh my God, your rhetoric is so incendiary. Oh my God, your rhetoric is going to cause violence. And I said, oh, so then you as a left-leaning individual admit to knowing, this is to a Democratic senatorial candidate in Florida, I said this, you'll admit to knowing that this is loaded language that you're using, and when it's returned on you, it's a problem. So, this is something moderates have said. This is all sorts of shit, and only then is the problem when the right plays this game. And I think it's time maybe we either, because it seems like playing the nice guy hasn't worked, and now maybe we just have to give them a taste of our own medicine so that they feel like how terrible this language is before they realize that something else is going to happen. And we do need to tone it down because clearly the most reasonable voices in the room are actually duplicitous liars 90% of the time.
Okay. We'll have fun with that later on. But thank you, friend.
Whatever that was.
Let's go to our friend Corey.
I'll probably keep this short. But you can find my Twitch, Corey Comedy 4, Twitter, X, YouTube, Instagram, Substack is Corey Campbell. I suspect that this conversation is not going to be all that productive, but I hope to be proven wrong. The only thing that I'll say is to answer the prompt.
Yeah, lactoid.
Do I think that Trump is going to lead us out of this and actually call for you? I don't think so. I think he's a poor leader. And I do agree with the sentiment that he's just, contributing to fueling the fire, so to speak. The only thing that I'll point out, sort of, I guess, to close out is, lactoid, okay, despite everything that he said in terms of he criticized Trump, but he still voted for him. Okay. And as far as I can tell, I don't think he regrets his vote. He's still sticking to it. And this is in the vein of the right wants to take or wants to talk about, let's say, accountability potentially. I think the left should only take accountability for all their violence, which does exist, when the right actually takes accountability for everything that they do, which includes January 6th, which Trump still pardoned them, and he is rewarded for that. Okay. Lactoid still voted for him. Gibbs still voted for him, and they're sticking by their vote. So what do you do when you're actually incentivized to in that way, and you're not actually held accountable? People still vote for you. I don't know what to do about that, but I'll leave it there for now.
Okay, Doobie.
I think that both sides are being dishonest about how they've contributed to the escalation of the language and the violence. I was watching that Piers Morgan thing earlier, right? With Destiny and Anna Kasparian, Andrew Wilson, Jack Prosobiec is fucking drunk. All these people, right? Even Cornel West, who I fucking love. Okay, I love Cornel West. But even he was, I think, being dishonest, right? And I've seen this over and over again, where the left says, oh, it's the right that's been, using this crazy violent rhetoric, calling us Nazis and yada, yada. And the right says, the left says that the right's been saying all this kind of crazy shit about the trans and they're calling them demonic, satanic pedophiles and shit like this. And the right says, well, you guys have been calling us Nazis. But I think that the reality is both sides have been doing this for fucking ever. And it's not even a recent thing. It's not even a Trump thing. When Mitt Romney was running for president, Biden was saying that he was going to put black people back in chains. He was saying that's what he wanted to do. Right. So this kind of hyperbolic bullshit, right, to smear the other side has just been common in American politics for fucking ever. I think people need to stop pretending that it isn't common. I think people also need to stop pretending that the other side is entirely at fault, right? And I think that this idea that if we're going to bring down the violent rhetoric or whatever the fuck, we need to wait for the president to do it first. We need to wait for the right, quote unquote, right, whoever the representative of the right is right now, to do it first. I think it's just childish. I think both sides need to stop the escalation. However, I think there are some things that are true that you actually just can't talk about without there being an implicit call to some kind of action. i.e., Trump being a fascist. I think he's a sort of proto-fascist, and I think that Trump has been doing things recently that are direct attacks on fundamental aspects of like American values and American freedom, right? So him attacking those things, and then people supporting him as he's attacking those things, right? I think at some point you do need to say, hey, that is bad. I need to call that out. And if calling that out makes some people angry enough that they use violence, well, that's on them. That's not on me for just calling the thing out. Like, if you don't want people calling you a fucking fascist, don't do fascist things. Like, it's that simple. I don't know. I think it's much more. I feel like there's an implication that a lot of these insults or these things are just like empty. They're like fake, and they're just like you're just like smearing the other side. But I think on both sides there's some truth there, right? In the criticisms, in the allegations being made, and I think those things need to be addressed in a real way before we can like move away from any kind of like tension or violence.
Okay. Let's go to. Sorry, I'm not even looking at the screen. 1 second. Ali.
Yeah, so I agree with Doobie. This whole the left is doing it first, the right is doing it first, the right is doing it. It's just so it's pathetic and like childish. But so I agree with Doobie. But in terms of like, do I think Trump is the man to lead the nation? Yeah, right. Not in a way that I want to. Not that I think he should be leading the nation, but like this is what the people want. The people want him, right? I know this is a sad time, but you know, the fringes on either side, right, especially on the right, they got their martyr. They get to kind of unleash and go unhinged. And I mean, yeah, this is what they voted for. This is what they want. Should he lead the nation? No, I don't think so. But is he the man to lead the nation? Yeah, this is what the people want. I don't see I don't see anything coming down any soon. I see the rhetoric's only going to ramp up, right? I see more of this political violence. I don't think it's good. I don't think you should be shot for saying words. But to Doobie's point, right? If people are going to ramp up their rhetoric and, you know, say some fascisty or Nazi or like racist, like extreme racist rhetoric, whatever it may be, and then people are going to call it out and something violent happens, it can't be the fault of the people who call it out, right? It has to be to some extent, you know, we're going to have to look at gun laws. We're going to have to look at mental health crisis in this country, or like where people are at, and then like plus the rhetoric that's happening. So yeah.
Okay, let's go to our friend, a newer friend, Non-Fun.
Yeah, first of all, I condemn all violence coming from the furry community, okay? The very violent furry community that's attacked us. But, I mean, I think it's relevant that, like, on a lot of sort of like 80-20 issues, Democrats are like end up taking like the 20% side because they're trying to appeal to the people to the more left of the party. There's like 2 issues they don't do that with, and that's Israel and political violence. It looks like every single elected Democrat, I think, has taken basically the right line on the issue. They've immediately come out and condemned it, and they're apologizing and blah, 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 blah. I don't think you see people on the certainly not most elected Republicans even now on the right doing things that I think are comparable to that. And I don't think Donald Trump himself has done anything remotely to heal the nation or whatever. And I think he probably will end up using this as an excuse to try to crack down more on universities because he already does not particularly like them.
Okay. So before we get started, I just wanted to read that super chat, which I didn't forget, right? And our friend Ali, I guess, wants to go after that. So the super chat from our friend Lawson Harrison says, "Why should we care about what an I can put it up on screen. I forgot about that. Why should we care about what an ex-reality TV star says days when the president of DGG can't even denounce violence?" So I guess we could talk about this first. And again, thank you to the $10 lost, and thanks for supporting the channel. If you want to support the channel, great way to do it is through super chats. Go to our YouTube channel, youtube.com/PrimeKai, in case you haven't done so already. Join our YouTube community and consider supporting the channel. I'm going to super chats will react to the super chats. All right. But going off of this, yeah.
That's what I was going to say.
Oh, okay, great. Well, then we can. I'll just give a little bit of intro from what I've seen, and I've seen a lot less than I'm sure the rest of you have. On Destiny's comments, like much less, and that's the way I like it. But Destiny seems to be taking quite an extreme stance on this, And not. It seems like, unless my understanding is incorrect, that he's not just denouncing violence; that he's like saying that, well, maybe even encouraging it. Now, if other people, if I have that wrong, other people can correct me on that. But he doesn't seem to think this is a bad thing, from my understanding, and doesn't seem to think that um, we shouldn't be celebrating the death of Kirk, like actively celebrating, rather than just like discussing it, or whatever, discussing his politics. Yeah, like uh, I think this is an interesting moment for the left to grapple with, as to like where do we want to stand on these things. Now, what I'm not going to do is I'm not going to be like uh, lecturing people on how they should react, because I think that's bullshit. Lacto tried to lecture me last week about that. But I'm not going to be lecturing people on their stances, how they should feel, because I actually care about
Or
freedom.
react or joke about.
Um,
I thought comedy was legal now. That's what I got
I
that
thought
message from
comedy
Elon
was
Musk.
legal too. I thought comedy was legal. But apparently I was wrong. But yeah, but I actually believe in freedom, so I'm not going to lecture people about that. But like, if there's, okay, I don't want to say anything that's a little slanderous. So I don't know if Destiny has made an explicit call to violence. To be very clear about that. Because Lacto is also my lawyer, the person I just insulted. So I don't want to do that. But in any case, I think this moment is actually quite instructive as to
Well, that's kind of what I
how
was talking about.
I can
Right.
give you the statement. Can I quickly just give you
Well,
the
one
like
degree, the one degree of
statement?
separation thing, though, is
Okay,
kind of what I'm
sure.
talking about. Prime. I think you're kind of touching on that. It's like he didn't explicitly say it, but it's like, okay, you said it, like,
Mm.
or you like did something, and you're like, oh, I didn't say that it was a right winger, furry or a right winger groiper that killed him, but then it's like you set everything up for your audience to do it, not you, but like I'm talking the metaphorical.
Yeah, yeah.
sense. Like I've seen multiple people do this where they do it and then they don't ever use the exact word, and then it's like they have like, oh, well, I'm just waiting for something to come out. Like, come on, bro, you're being dishonest when you do this. You know what you're doing. Like, there's several people that are doing this, and I don't know. I'm sorry.
So the thing that he said was right wingers have to be, or conservatives. It's gonna be slightly paraphrased, but need to be afraid to
should
go
be
to public
afraid.
events. Should be afraid to go to public events for like fear of being killed, so that they pressure their leaders to tone the temperature down.
Mm-hmm.
That was the statement. Like, they should be afraid to go out in public and go to these events.
I think that statement is
operative.
irresponsible, considering the size of Destiny's audience that he has. Like, if you're a big streamer in general, you should be careful about what you say, because you're always going to have crazy fucking people in your audience. But I think his general point there, at which I probably would not go as far as Destiny, to be clear, is that, like, when Democrats come out and repeatedly apologize constantly and condemn all the violence when the right doesn't seem to do the same, Republicans have no incentive to sort of to pressure their leaders to try to tone the temperature down, and that's why Trump feels perfectly okay not saying anything about this, or not taking serious steps to actually try to unite the nation, I would say.
Let's let Ali in.
So Trump might be like a unique case, but like with Destiny trying to get the president to bring the temperature down, do we think that like politicians hold more influence than like streamers or influencers?
I think the president does. Yeah.
I think politicians do in general, and I'll tell you why. It's because they're the leaders of the party. They're the ones actually either like implementing the law, and a lot of times, even if they have like super PACs or they have organizations around them, or even like the non-fund, all of that all trickles down from them. So streamers, when they're advocating for a stance, like I'll say Hassan's kind of like an odd one because he's like kind of like anti-American in some ways. So like he might even be a little more whatever. But even then, like Destiny, for example, is like kind of trickled down from the dim leadership, because he's gonna use their stances and he's gonna push their policies. So yes, they are the more influential, I think.
Except in this moment right now, where all of the Dems are essentially denouncing, and he's kind of like saying it's cocked, right?
Well, I think
in terms of like the politicians, right? The politicians have denounced because that's what they're going to do, right? And I'm saying in terms of like how people are going to react to this,
Well,
more
they're
people are,
only people who are denouncing her because of what's happened. Like their press secretary people are telling them,
Yeah.
"Oh, you got to do this
Their
because it's a
PR.
bad look." But despite we have them on clips saying all this violent rhetoric in the past,
Yeah, so
and then
like
Ilya Omar just got stripped of the committee seats for her awful reaction to the Kirk death. So
yeah,
I
but
mean,
like
it's
so when
not like
something
all
happens,
leadership is not
when
doing
when
this.
something happens like a
Well,
death on the left or like a murder or whatever,
What-
so like it's not like it's not like the right's rhetoric is like peaceful and kind and like wishes and so on and so forth. They kind of go crazy as well, right? It's just that this was a political death, so it's like you guys feel like it's different in that.
Sure. Okay. I wish there was a better way to quantify this, but certainly, it feels like sort of the politicians on the right are able to set the culture for the Republican Party and for the right more generally a lot better than politicians on the left.
Well, because
are.
the right is more unified in what they want and who they voted for. In
I don't
terms
even
of
know.
Like,
Well,
like,
I think
like,
they're
this is the
more
vibe they
unified in
voted
who they
for,
voted
right?
for.
Collectively.
Yeah. But
Mhm.
I'm saying it feels like Trump is able to make issues out of things that the right never like considered an issue before, and Democrats I think struggle to do that a lot more, and that's relevant when I think Trump could certainly, if he made it political violence on the right an issue at all, instead of essentially tacitly supporting some of it at the very least, especially like the January 6th pardons,
But
for
he's not
example.
going to because he doesn't support that, right? He kind of like this stirrup is good for him, right? It only browse up his base more.
Well, yeah.
Guys, yeah. So like, yeah, so he's not going to tone down the rhetoric.
Well, yeah, because he's an egotistical maniac. Yeah, I agree. He's not.
So I'm curious
agree
about.
he's not going to, but I think Trump is in a position where if he made it an issue, a lot of MAGA Republicans would essentially listen to him. I think the right is a lot better able to control that. And as I mentioned, like even my opening, feels like Democrats struggle to do that.
I think they'd see through the PR and kind of do what they're doing anyways.
I don't know if that's
Okay, so I'm curious, Lactoid and Gibbs, right? So my feeling about Trump is that he is basically like a proto-fascist. I don't think he actually has an ideology, really, but I think what he's done, right, and the kind of his bent, right, the way that he leads and the way that he tries to get things done, I would feel comfortable calling him like a proto-fascist, right? And I think that he's done things that are fun or attempted to do things that are fundamentally at odds with American values, right? So, for example, this push that he tried to ban flag burning, right, or to punish flag burning, right, using fighting words laws or whatever the fuck. I think just the president doing something like that, pushing something like that, right, that we're going to punish people for burning the American flag. It to me feels totally like antithetical to like Americanism. Right, like one of the great things about our country, one of the ways that we sell our country when we're talking about it, is hey, in our country we can criticize the government. In our country we can say fuck you government, and they can't do shit to us, right? They won't put us, they can't put us in a cage for it. Whereas other shitholes, if you criticize the government, if you burn a flag, they're gonna throw you in a fucking cage and beat the fuck out of you, right? So the fact that he even like tried to touch that, right, even if he's not successful, that he like pushed in that direction, to me is like fucking egregious, right? So like how do you like and to me that would be enough. That right there is enough that like I can imagine somebody being upset enough about that to do something crazy, right? If not to Trump, then to somebody supporting Trump as he's doing these things. But then that's not even the like he was talking about denaturalizing citizens, right? Like denaturalizing them and deporting them for criticizing Israel, right? Like crazy shit like this, right? That I think is like bad enough that if you just talk about it honestly, people are going to get angry and they might want to take some kind of violent action, if not against Trump, then against people who support Trump. And Charlie Kirk was one of the primary people driving the youth vote to Trump, right? And Charlie Kirk has his own fucking issues. He's like a Christian nationalist, right? Which is its own like bag of shit. So like, how do you talk about this stuff without like there being some kind of implicit call to action or avoiding language that might cause somebody to take some kind of violent action, because the actions themselves are bad enough that some people might want to take action. Like it just, I don't know how you like detach those things or you even talk about them.
Well, I'll go first if you want, Lactoid. I do agree with you that the concern for right-wing authoritarianism is something that people should be concerned about, especially since, like, I know you just kind of framed as Charlie Kirk is white, like a white Christian nationalist or something, right? But
no, I don't think he's a racist. I think he's a Christian
okay,
nationalist.
Yeah, Christian nationalist. Fine, yeah, my bad. That's I don't necessarily have a problem with someone classified as that. And I know that some people are going to disagree with what I'm about to say next, which is that Charlie Kirk, in my opinion, was somebody more moderate on the right. Like he's in the center, like right. He's not as far or extreme. Hold on. Yeah, I know
No.
y'all are going to disagree. Hold on. And this is what's crazy is y'all are all saying this, and so like us, most of us on the right, we all are like, yeah, he was a fairly moderate milquetoast guy. Didn't have any convictions or anything, all this stuff. He was a good youth leader, and then y'all are already just here on this panel, just with the laughs, already painting him as some extremist right. And so when y'all are going, oh, hey, yeah, I'm worried that there's gonna be more authoritarian Trump. Yeah, I think that is a real concern because now you have people like Milo unretiring. You have people that are way more extreme now going to be having a bigger voice. I saw a Rumble that Nick Fuentes outperformed Kai during his marathon 3 thing going on right now, or Mafiathon 3 thing going on right now, which is crazy. That Nick Fuentes just had pulled those, and it's because of the Charlie Kirk. And like you're going and you've killed this guy that most of the right think is moderate, and especially Christians who think he's a moderate Christian guy. And y'all are going, oh, these are the radicals. And then you're like, well, we don't want the authoritarian to rise. Well, guess what? That's how you get somebody authoritarian, because you kill the guy that's in the middle, and then all the really extreme guys are the ones who are going to be not afraid to speak because they push extremist views. And I think that is a concern. However, that being said, I think another thing that's happened on the right is all the right-leaning factions have basically unified. Like I've never seen I don't have the urge to go after like Andrew Wilson right now for some of his shit takes on like feminism or something. Like I don't or it's men's fault, women's fault, or dating stuff. I have zero desire to do that right now because there's a bigger problem. The left is fucking killing our people. That's what it is. They're killing it with the policy. They're killing it. They're literally killing them with like Charlie Kirk. They tried to kill the president twice, and then they try to do this dishonest framing like, oh yeah, this guy was a right leader even though he like donated money to Biden. All this other bullshit. Like we know the games, we've seen the games, we're sick of the games, and now y'all are terrified because y'all created a martyr.
I don't think anyone ever argued that this was effective political strategy. I obviously don't think like the left should not support this because it makes the left weaker. I don't think anyone ever said otherwise, Gibbs.
Yeah, I'm not saying that
I can
he
respond.
should have been shot. Okay, like to be clear, that's not what I'm saying. I'm saying that
I know you're not saying that.
yeah. So just to like give you like something direct. So the Piers Morgan panel that I saw earlier, Andrew Wilson and Jack Brsovic, like one of the things that they were talking about is being called a fascist by people on the left, and they were saying this as if it was like ridiculous and you're like smearing us by calling us fascists. But I mean, if they were supporting a guy who is doing fascist things, like what else are you supposed to call him and them? You know what I mean? Like if that's a smear, and the smear is just accurately describing your actions or the actions of the guy that you support, like how the fuck do we even communicate with you or about you?
I mean, you say that though, right? And like, I listen. I know Lactoid's going to be sympathetic to this because he's a libertarian. He doesn't want authoritarian. Doesn't want to do it. I'm a Texan, and we don't trust big government. I've said this about Doge. If it's a tool used correctly, great. However, I'm worried that like the left is going to take over and turn it into something that it wasn't intended or make it expand the power. I like worry about big government. I worry about authoritarian government. I also agree with
They're
you.
not banning lab-grown meat, right? That's big government.
Well, hey, shh.
Oh, yeah, exactly. No
Hold on,
accountability. No
I mean, there's
accountability.
no. Hold on. I absolutely think there's needs for regulations. I'm not a libertarian. Like, I definitely think there's reasons why we should do it. Lab-grown meat's another leftist plot to weaken America. We don't have to go into all that right now, but that's fine. We're going to sit here and like with Doobie, yeah, I definitely get the concern, and yeah, I can see why you want to argue this, but you can say someone's authoritarian. Like, if I call like Trump a populist authoritarian, that's not the same as me using the buzzword and calling him, Mussolini incarnate. Like that, like, oh, he's a fascist. He's basically Mussolini. Oh, he's a Nazi. He's basically Hitler. That's loaded language, and you can talk about this in a way that's not like that. But y'all aren't doing that. And then this is the biggest thing: is the other thing that's happening is if I comment on left policies and y'all don't like my framing, like I'm gonna give you a list, right? If I said the left stands for open borders, open crime, free crime everywhere, and critical race theory, and they want to put transgender people into women's sports. You would say, I've literally heard this week from a person running for office in the Senate in Florida. They told me that was dishonest framing and that was incendiary language, even though that's actually can be tied directly to policy. And that's much less incendiary than me calling somebody a fascist.
So
I'd like to respond.
Lactoid, and then our friend Corey, and then Ali.
Yeah, I just wholeheartedly reject this characterization of Trump as a fascist or a proto-fascist. I think that it's myopic. I think that when you look, you have to compare Trump if we're going to talk about whether he represents some kind of new threat, some kind of proto-fascist. You would have to compare Trump to presidents past, right? So you look at Donald Trump and compare him to, let's say, somebody like George W. Bush, right? What's more fascist, right? What about starting $2 trillion wars leading to shit tons of death, and also launching the PRISM program that is illegally spying on millions of Americans? And then when the person who calls the alarm on that, he puts out information exposing the government for spying on its civilians and its citizens illegally, then all of a sudden he gets a bunch of flack and has to leave the country and is continued to be sort of this target by the establishment, both on the Republicans and the Democrats, but the establishment. Well, that was George Bush. To me, that's infinitely more fascist than what Donald Trump has done.
But can't there be more than one fascist?
Well, I'm getting there. I'm getting there. Look, if you categorize most American presidents as fascists, then maybe you have a point. Okay, what I'm saying is that if you characterize like George Bush as a fascist for that, if you characterize Obama drone bombing U.S. civilians, you consider him a fascist. If you consider Biden a fascist, you're trying to get OSHA to illegally force. Maybe you do, Prime. Okay,
yeah.
But for most other people, okay, sure. Most other people, though, right, trying to through executive fiat push OSHA to force millions of vaccines in executive order, which was not the full scale, was not the scope of OSHA. We know that, trying to extend beyond what the legislation allows them to do. Potentially arguing for, potentially packing the court, and the Kamala, of course, having history of actually arguing to pack the court. I mean, we had, I think the closest peer person you could probably argue with it was a fascist. And even this is like, I don't really feel, super comfortable saying he's a fascist, but he is the closest by far. And this is FDR, right? The left's kind of sweetheart, the guy who put Japanese people in camps. This is the closest we get, right, to fascist. And this is nothing like Trump, right?
People in camps now.
No, like putting people in camps because of their race, because specifically targeting them, because that was not targeting people because they were Hispanic. This is targeting people because they're in the country illegally.
Decision where like the government fought against a restriction that would say you couldn't target people for their ethnicity.
No,
right?
So no. There's nuance to that. What that Supreme Court, and by the way, the Supreme Court ruled in Trump's favor on that, was that you can use a multiple of factors to investigate whether or not somebody is an illegal immigrant. And one factor you can use to investigate whether they are an illegal immigrant, which is the thing that's being targeted, is their race or ethnicity. Because people coming up, because people come, because
look Hispanic,
because the
right?
Yes, and this is wholly different. This is wholly different than the internment camps.
So exactly
this is wholly different. This is wholly different from the internment camps. The target with the with immigration enforcement is targeting people who are breaking the law of the country, whether you agree with that law or not. When it comes to the Prime, when it comes to Prime, let me finish, please.
We're like,
no, they didn't break any law.
Right?
No, they didn't break any law. They didn't break any law. Prime.
The law says they need to be in an internment camp. If you're outside the internment camp, you'd be breaking the law.
That's not what the law. No, that's not what the law said. Those were military orders to put them in camps. The law did not allow for that. Right? It was only afterwards the Supreme Court kind of semi-justified it, and then has since the government walked it back. Right? That was the closest we got to fascism. Arresting people for illegal immigration is not that. Flag burning, I criticized that immediately when that was proposed. Flag burning has also been, I think by the late 80s, most states had flag burning legislation. There's been multiple attempts on the federal level to ban flag burning. If all those governments were also fascist, then sure, right? It's not good, but this argument that president is doing kind of authoritarian thing that I don't like, right? Therefore, he is fascist. When you compare, this president, you can point to plenty of things that he's doing that's not fascist, right? You really thought a Republican would be on board with gay marriage coming in 2016? This has been
what is this argument? What is this awful argument? This is an awful argument. Hey,
is it an awful argument? Two wars, the prison program.
I'm not going to tell you exactly.
Hold on.
Was okay? You think Biden was a fascist? Was Bush a fascist?
Bush had a lot of fun. It actually goes straight to my point, right? Hey, guy. First of all, why would I have any problem calling Bush a fascist? I don't know.
Do you think he's a fascist?
Yeah, what did I just say? Why would I have any problem doing that? Hold on.
Was Obama a fascist?
Yeah, Obama is a war criminal. I'm not sure about fascist, but
Him and Fabian agree on all these things.
But one second. Yeah, like you.
I could have told you he was going to say this.
Who do you think you're talking to here, right? I trash all these people, right? Biden, genocidal maniac, deserves to be in the Hague, right? Zionist, and Zionism it is fascism, is Jewish fascism, and he is a pro-Zionist to his core. So yeah, he's a fucking fascist. I have no problem saying that, right? With Obama, he did the drone strikes, which I think was illegal. I don't know if I would necessarily call that fascism.
Funded fascists in Ukraine.
Sorry, what did you do in Ukraine?
Funded fascists, right? This was the 2014-15 was at the height of the Azov Battalion.
I'm familiar with that, but if you say so, I'm not gonna deny you. Sure. If you're saying that happened, okay. But I don't need to defend Obama. I trash Obama all the time. I don't give a fuck. Fuck these people.
Okay, well then maybe you're the wrong person to talk to on this. I don't know what to say. You think they're all fascists. So then I guess Trump is a fascist according to you, and you're pretty consistent, I suppose.
He's absolutely 100% fascist.
Okay, well you're consistent in a way that's crazy.
No. Listen to me. Right? Before we go there, right? I'm just like, you want me to bite bullets, so I have to just bite your bullets for you. Because I wanna gobble them all up, right? I got no problem.
Yeah.
But right, I would say that and like when people like seriously discuss fascism, not just like on Twitter, right? When people are seriously discussing fascism isn't a light switch, right? It's not simply, oh, you're in a fascist regime or you're not in a fascist regime, right? We understand it's not a binary. Everything, like I like to say, is a spectrum, and fascism is definitely included on that. And so, yes, you can have presidents who can take more authoritarian actions than others, right? Who can engage in brutalities that we might call fascism, right? You brought up FDR. Hey, that's a really good point, Lactoid. Good work, Lactoid, bringing that up. That's a good point, right? But different. We've had like other presidents in this country sponsor genocides, right? Either directly by the American military, right, that we've done, or indirectly, where we had authoritarian regimes literally do a genocide their population. That's the thing that we've done. And I'm not talking about Israel. I'm not talking about Israel here. I'm talking about before then. This is not new, right? So like you can say if you're saying that's a fascist act, right? Yeah. It applies to a lot of presidents. What you've just discovered is that, yeah, a lot of presidents do evil shit. A lot of presidents do evil, heinous shit, and they should all be in jail for those actions. Absolutely.
Okay.
When we're judging,
Prime.
that doesn't invalidate. That doesn't invalidate the actual criticism itself. Trump has secret police. Secret police.
Prime.
Hold on. Let's establish this just quickly, right? With our good friend Lactoid. Hey, Lactoid, right? Is it
ICE?
true? Yeah, is it true or is it not true that ICE is approaching people ununiformed and masked? Is that true or not true?
They're approaching people they do have signifiers on that they're ICE. They have masks on.
No, we've seen.
I can have the same signifiers, brother.
Their signifiers are like literally just regular street clothes. We've seen the videos.
That would be impersonating law.
They literally don't. They literally
how would you be able to tell?
Okay, I haven't seen this. This sounds like a bad idea. I don't think it. Can I answer?
Okay.
Can I answer, please? I don't think it necessarily makes them more or less fascist if they have uniforms or not.
No. Building the picture of a secret police force, right? Building the picture. So we start there, right? That they're masked individuals, not identifying themselves, and then dragging people into unmarked cars. Is that true?
Seems like they would just be the police then if they had uniforms.
Sorry, I don't want to. Gibbs, please. Lactoid, is that true? Have they been dragging them into unmarked cars?
I'm not aware.
Oh, you're not aware. Okay, well they have been.
I'm willing to accept that they have.
Okay, great, right? Have they literally black bag people?
Potentially.
Yeah.
I'm sure they've arrested people too.
Sure. And and then where have they sent them off to? Have they sent them off to prisons, right? Mm-hmm. Outside of U.S. control, at least full U.S. control, where they've been tortured, where they've been physically abused. Is that a thing that's happened, Lactoid? under actual authoritarians, those prisons run by actual authoritarians. Has that happened?
You're talking about CCOT? You're talking about CCOT?
Yeah. Oh,
yes. There have been some people sent to CCOT for sure.
Oh yeah. They've been physically assaulted. They've been sexually assaulted at that prison. This is the testimony of the individuals coming out there, right? So we have a police force that like rounds people up in mass arrest, right? Millions of individuals for all kinds of like spurious reasons. We can get into that some other time. Sorry, I don't want to like pull this whole conversation into this, right? But like we are taking them off, exfiltrating them out of the country as fast as possible, right? And then putting them in a prison where they're getting tortured, there, physically abused, sexually abused in that prison. And then you say, well,
eventually
what's
half saved
fascist
it, okay?
about
You half
Donald
saved
Trump,
it.
right? And then what's worse, you say, oh, well, Trump does things that you wouldn't consider fascist. Yeah, again, it doesn't matter, right? Like he can do things that I like. There are things, in fact, there's something he did recently that I really praised, right? There's something he did recently I really praised. We haven't really talked about that. We'll talk about this some other time, right? I don't want to get off topic. But he can do things that a person like doesn't negate like the authoritarianism that he's engaged in, right? Like we can point all these things out. That's what exactly what people are doing. That's an honest conversation to have.
Can I respond?
Sure.
So I never denied that you can point to specific examples. But like what I said at the very beginning is if we're going to use the term like label, if we're going to label, because labeling here matters. The only point of labeling something is to distinguish it from something else. You wouldn't use the same label on everything. Otherwise, the label loses all utility. The point of a label is to distinguish. If you're going to say, which you have, that, yeah, well, all the fascists are fascist, or all the presidents are fascist war criminals, we could just, they should all be arrested. Then again, maybe you're the wrong person to have this conversation with, because you're gonna say, well, Trump is a fascist.
Okay.
And I'm gonna say, oh, by what metrics do you label someone a fascist? And then you're gonna describe metrics, and then you're gonna describe metrics that would include, as in your own words, like Bush and Biden and potentially Obama. You weren't quite sure about that one, but like it was kind of close.
I'm willing to give you Obama if you give me Obama. I'm willing to give you Obama.
Okay, you're even willing to give me Obama. I'm going to bring this back to Doobie. But Prime, can I bring this back to Doobie? No. You ranted for a little while, Prime.
No, I can go as long as I want to, and I will if I want to. But I'm not going to do that. But I'm just saying, just give me a second here. All I'm trying to say is that if you want, you can we can do the thing that we make to make white people feel better, right? What we can do when we're talking about bigotry, right? When we talk about bigotry, when we say, oh, okay, this person isn't a racist, right? Instead, they've done a racist action, which doesn't necessarily implicate their character, right? Again, to call the feelings of white people on this one. So this is something you can do. You can say that this person is essentially a fascist, right? They have done taken fascist actions, and then you can tally up how many fascist actions a person has done and the severity of the actions a president has done. That's another path.
Trump is relatively lower in the fascism degree compared to other presidents.
Okay, wait, likely.
But I want Doobie's, because Doobie was the one who asked me the question. Then I want to talk with you, Nafon. Doobie, do you agree with Prime that Bush and Biden were fascists?
Not in the way that Trump is. I think Trump is way worse, actually.
You think that the Iraq War and Afghanistan War and the prison program?
I don't think going to war equals fascism. I don't think going to war is fascism, right? I
think it's comparable, or like I guess a feature of fascism is kind of warlike behavior.
No,
not really.
No, that's about as good of an argument as the secret police argument.
Not necessarily.
Going to war, not necessarily.
Launching various wars without like international justification.
Be in jail for them, but that would that.
Some of them are.
I don't classify everything I don't.
Iraq was not legal.
As we know from our greatest ally, liberal westernized democracies in the Middle East go to war all the time.
You criticize them for this. You call them fascists for this.
Well, they're nationalist Jewish supremacist countries. Yeah, I do consider them pretty.
And you could factor in the war, don't you? You factor in the airstrikes.
But I don't think the average person would say going to war equals fascism, right?
It adds fascism points, like Prime was talking about. Like being a warlike country is like emblematic of a fascist country as opposed to being a peaceful country. This is
Okay,
absolutely
hold on.
true. Militarism is a key tenet of
Yeah, I
fascism.
understand.
No,
I agree.
hold on.
That's
Actually,
true.
that's
Trump does that
actually
too,
not.
but-
Actually, it's
Hold on,
not
hold
true.
on, no,
Hold on, no. I'm not there.
Oh my
No, I'm
God.
not there.
Wait, I do wanna-
Before you interrupt,
This is actually not
hey,
true.
everyone shut up. No, everyone shut up. Doobie was talking. Someone Doobie to finish, and then you guys can jump in.
Yeah,
Doobie,
stop
finish your point.
bullying me, okay, you fucking assholes.
All right, I'll be quiet.
Just no, actually, so I don't think it even
I'm
matters
not even
lactoid.
correct
Right?
sometimes.
So I don't think we need to get lost in the weeds of what a fascist is. I think you believe that Prime believes what he's saying, right? When he calls Trump a fascist, right? You think he's being honest about this. The issue that I have that I'm trying to like point to is how does Prime express these honestly held genuine opinions, right, that he has based on the behavior of these people? If calling them a fascist, apparently, it might lead to somebody shooting them, right? Like, how do you even engage with the topic?
How do I engage with a topic if people calling somebody a fascist? Like, I try to add the context, right? Like, if people who are saying that like Trump represents some kind of unique threat, which, by the way, by the time of the next Republican administration, the Democrats are going to be saying the same shit about Trump as they're talking about Bush, like, oh, he was so nice, he was so good, like, totally, like, trying to again compare whoever the current president is as like make him look as bad as possible by lionizing the prior president. But the question of whether or not Trump is like a fascist, if you're trying to use fascist in terms of like this new like horrible threat that's like changing the country to some like the features of the country to some kind of substantial degree that was not the case when it comes to Bush or Obama or Biden, et cetera. Like that's the kind of like designation that I think most lefties are talking about, and that's the kind of designation that I think is most harmful and most inaccurate. But if you're using fascist in terms of the incredibly broad way that Prime is using, and as long as he explains that, then I don't know how anybody's going to see what Prime said and say like, oh, like Trump is like uniquely bad. They're going to say, well, Trump is simply one member of like a long line of a broken system, which I think that narrative is much less likely to be conducive to violence.
Okay, just real quick. Like, lactoid, I think the fascism word is silly to debate the semantics of it sometimes, but you, I think, would agree with Trump has a kind of unique view of the powers of the executive branch. We didn't see Bush doing the same things, pushing unitary executive theory the same way I think Trump wants to.
In certain regards, yes. In other regards, no, right? I think Biden's attempt to use OSHA without Congress's approval to push mass vaccine mandates was like a massive overstep in executive control that Trump has not attempted to do. I think that the idea of packing the Supreme Court is like and particularly anti-constitutional and represents a destruction of our third branch of government. That was something the Republicans have said they're not going to do as compared to the Democrats. Yes, Trump, there's other things that Trump has like talked about. I think Trump has been pretty like gone overboard recently on executive orders. Like that's, you can criticize him for that. That's fine. But again, I don't think that makes him uniquely bad compared to the shit that was happening before or was threatened to happen.
I think for one, the reason Biden did a lot of things that you might see as being, sort of overbearing or overstep to the executive branch's power is because he genuinely has some concern for well-being of people, right? Like Biden genuinely thought COVID was an issue and wanted to get the vaccine mandate as the thing to fix that. I think the reason Trump wants to do things that are an overstep of the executive powers branch is literally just because he wants power and he's egotistical, right? Like him, him saying, oh, I want to have the power to have some say over interest rates, right? Like, I don't think does he really sincerely believe that like monetary policy is being severely mishandled? I think he just wants that power because I think he knows it's going to do well. Or I think he wants that power for himself because he knows it'll give him more power over voters. It'll give him more power over the economy. I think that's something that's kind of unique to Trump. And I also think Trump uniquely has sort of control over his own base that is relevant to the actions that Trump takes rhetoric-wise.
We gotta let some other people in here. So we gotta go Corey, Ali,
sure.
and then Gibbs.
So Gibbs, earlier, if I heard you correctly, if I understood you correctly, which I might not have, I think you mentioned that, the left calling, or I've never done it, but you, obviously, I don't think correct me if I'm wrong, but I'm confident I've never called Trump a Nazi. But you seem to frame it as like the left calling Trump a Nazi that somehow like invokes violence. But did I understand that sentiment correctly?
Yeah, I do. I that would be correct. Yeah, I do.
Okay,
think that
so then you would agree that J.D. Vance was violent towards Trump by calling him a Nazi.
I would say that would be a example of violent rhetoric towards Trump. Yeah.
Okay. So his own vice president is violent towards the president, right? That's
He
a fair...
was at one point, and
okay.
then he's become allied with him, and changed
We're
his
forgiving
tune on it.
people, Corey.
Yeah,
Okay.
you know,
Yeah.
Hey,
Don't-
even
don't talk
someone
about
as goated as
accountability,
JD
Blackwood.
Vance can make a mistake and
We're forgiving
atone for
people.
it.
No,
It
you're
seems
not.
like he's atoned for it and asked for forgiveness, and they made become good friends. It seems like.
Okay. And so in
working
that
colleagues.
in that vein, then you
Shows our
you would,
acceptance levels on the right.
so then you would say also that Trump is using violent rhetoric when he says radical left Marxists.
No. No.
No. Okay. So can you finish this phrase for me? Better dead than...
Then red. That would be
Oh,
yeah.
what
yeah,
is that invoking?
That would be it'd be better for me as the individual to be dead than be a communist.
Okay,
because
so
the communists are evil.
someone calling a Marxist.
Not us killing them. It's
that's
better
not...
for us to be dead than red.
Okay, yeah. So that's not
So I
calling
guess
for
that's
death. when you-
self-suicide. I
so-
guess
so-
yeah, that's violent towards other
Okay,
people.
so it's better be dead than a Marxist, right?
Yeah,
That's
I would
the...
agree with
Okay,
that.
so Trump...
I would
labeling
rather
people
be dead than be a Marxist.
Okay, but you would agree that Trump is being violent. That's violent rhetoric.
I
Right?
mean, if we're counting violent rhetoric towards oneself, then I guess we're also counting every My Chemical Romance song. Like, I mean, or like, are you fucking kidding me with this logic that you're using?
Well, no. How is your logic? How is your logic then in terms
Well,
of
one of
the
them-
Nazi
one of them,
labeling?
let's-
Why is labeling
let's
someone a
examine
Nazi
those-
violent and someone Marxist not violent?
Well, let's
Tease that out to me.
examine those two expressions. One is, oh yeah, he's a Nazi, and we should assassinate Nazis or punch Nazis out. This is a
Well, wait,
common theme.
where in the definition of Nazi does it say we
Hold
have to
on.
assassinate them?
Well, I mean, that's what people have called for. People have called for that ever since the Nazis existed. right?
That doesn't
That's
answer my question.
Hold on.
Where?
Hold on. There's a difference. Also, just in the own expression you used, we're going to use English. Let's break it down. Better red than dead implies it'd be better to self
No. Whoa. You reversed it.
Or to
You
die
reversed
and
it.
fight. I
You
don't know. I
reversed
reversed
it.
it. I'm just explaining simple English.
Better
That's how that works.
dead than red.
Better dead than red. It's better to be dead than be red. So it's better to die than it is to be a communist. Or that's what that means. It's not, oh, go kill the commies. Like,
Well,
that's
no,
not
no,
what that's
no,
saying.
wait.
Or it's
Where-
saying it's
where-
better
where-
to fight
where-
them and
where-
die fighting
Wait,
them.
wait. There's
than
an
to be killing the
expression.
communists. Either way, it's a self-harm thing.
Explain to me where in labeling someone Nazi that means we should assassinate them or kill them. Where?
I don't know. World War II? Like, I mean, are you fucking like?
Give me a
I mean,
definition.
are you like, this is history, bro? They went and killed the
Yeah,
Nazis. That's what they're doing. Fight
is
the
that-
Hold on.
the
Can
Nazis.
Corey,
Hold on.
can I just expand? I'm curious, right? Because would you apply that to people on the right, including Charlie Kirk, by the way, calling people on the left child grooming, satanic, child mutilating pedophiles, and also people who are like pro-Palestine, calling them like terrorists and terrorist supporters? There's the same level of violence attached to those things, I think.
Well, no, this is different. Once again, you say something like that, and if you're actually a Christian, like Charlie Kirk professed to be, you know, one of the things he did mention was tolerance, acceptance, and forgiveness. That was a big thing.
Oh
he
my
mentioned.
God.
And so he would argue, and this is what Charlie Kirk would argue.
Charlie
would be that
Sheen too.
Charlie Sheen might. depends on
Satanic
drugs.
child
He would
mutilating
argue
pedophiles.
that it is
Like,
your
that's what you
duty.
mean.
It is your duty to witness to these people
Mhm.
and try to bring them back to the light
It is
and
your
show
duty to
them that they are following demonic paths. It's not to go kill these people because the Lord is the judge. There's a difference there. But you know,
So,
that would be a fake
just a
representation
question.
of Christianity that you're pushing forward.
A question in terms of like, because Lactoid was talking about like
Also,
the
I still
labels
want
and
to be
why
on
we
the
use,
block list. I have other point. I have that point.
yeah, and why we use certain labels to differentiate one from the other. Like you were calling Charlie Kirk moderate right. You said you guys see him as the moderate right, right?
He is the moderate.
I do. I do. Yeah.
You do. You guys. So, and because there's like Nick Fuentes and like a couple other people who exist.
I mean, we're
Is that
both
in
more
the same-
radical
is
than
that-
Kirk.
is-
Like,
Yeah. Is that in the same regard? Like Hassan is the moderate left because like Haas exists and like what's his name? Jackson Hinkle exists, and they literally go hang out with the Houthis, and they have
I
an
don't-
active American communist
no,
party.
Hassan is
right?
not the
So-
moderate
so-
left.
Well, I
He's-
mean,
he's
but
much
like there's
further
people
left.
to way more
Why?
extremes. than
I
him,
can
right?
tell you why. Because Hassan himself will tell you that he's a far left, like socialist that wants to destroy
No. I mean,
the
so
current
so
state.
with Charlie
That's
Kirk.
not the
Charlie Kirk will
moderate
tell you he's a
position.
Christian nationalist. He believes in Christian law.
Yeah, which is
He
a
said
not
that-
moderate
He
position.
said that stoning gay to death is God's perfect law. So like obviously
Which
the
is
guy's
something
not
that you believe in
moderate
as a
left
Muslim.
or moderate right.
Wait, hold on.
Clearly,
That's what
he's
you
a
believe
little
in
bit-
as a Muslim,
He's a little
right?
bit on the far right. It's okay. He's a little bit Christian.
Wait, what do the
nationally,
Muslims
it's
say to do?
okay.
What do the gays? Hold on.
I
No,
clarify?
Don't let him run away with this. What do the Muslims say to do to the gays? And if it's the
Who fucking
similar,
Oh my
cares what the
God.
Muslims have to say?
oh
to
no,
do?
because
The
it means
Muslims aren't
it
fucking
sounds-
making law in America.
It
So kiss
sounds
my
like
ass
y'all
with
have-
the fucking
it
Sharia
sounds-
whataboutism.
It sounds
Kiss
like
my ass with the
again,
Sharia
you
whataboutism.
have the
Kiss
I'm gonna
same
address
my
this
ass with the
stoning. I'm
Sharia
gonna address.
This is
whataboutism
called throwing
and pick
stones
another
into
fucking
glass
lane.
houses.
You're part of the
It's the
I'm
Christian
going to
same-
address.
Wait,
I'm
Gibbs,
going to
you're
it's
okay
address.
with it when
interesting
Charlie
to
wants to
say
stone the
beliefs.
gays, but when
Wanna
Ali
call
wants
him
to stone the
moderate?
gays? Like, is that
It's
really
the
your
same
position?
I'm
position.
going
Seems like it's a
to.
moderate
I'm
position,
going
man.
to.
It's-
I want to
it's
address.
my
I want to
ass with the
address the
Sharia, bro.
specifics, the stoning question. So Charlie Kirk did not call for like
That's what they
stoning
call
of
for in the
gays.
Bible.
It was a specific
He said it was
question
God's
as to
perfect
like
law.
it was a specific question as to like biblically what does the Bible call for?
Yeah.
This would be a very similar question like what does the Quran call for? And then you explain what the Quran says without necessarily saying that that should
Does
be
Charlie
enacted
Kirk
into
want to
that
repeal gay marriage?
that
Does he
should be
want Christian
that
law
should
in
be
America?
hold up without that being implemented as law in America.
Okay,
You're
that's
not hold on, unless maybe Doobies can correct me here. You're not going to find Kirk saying that element of Christian law, specifically stoning
Which-
gay people,
Which is
No,
should
not
be should
stoning
be
hold on, hold
should
on.
be
No
like-
Christian
should
law is
be
revoked in the
should
New
be
Testament anyway.
guys
No, but
guys
that's going to
guys,
inform the
hold on.
policy he
Yeah,
wants to push.
guys
Yeah, finish your quote.
Yeah.
Lactate.
should be he did not say that should be implemented into American
Of
policy.
course not.
He did talk about like biblically this is the case, and by the way, biblically he's right. If you look at the Bible, that's what it
Okay.
says.
And he
That doesn't
also-
mean
wait,
that doesn't mean you put it into policy.
wait.
But if you're doing an analysis of the Bible, that is accurate,
No,
just like
and
you
when
do an
you-
analysis of the
Old
Quran.
Testament law, not New Testament law.
And when you prescribe, when you describe something as God's perfect law, right? You may not want that specific law written directly into policy, but that's going to inform the type of policy that you're going to then push for, especially within your group, which I would not consider a moderate position. If you want Christianity,
Not
if
necessarily.
you want
It's
Christian
God's perfect
Sharia,
law. Is that an
No.
endorsement or is he?
This is
If you want Christian Sharia, that's
this is the
fine.
problem. This is the problem.
it.
Like this, no,
If
it's
I
not.
said
This is the
was
problem.
like man's perfect law,
I know
then,
this
like,
is
would
this
I
is
be saying
dishonest.
Something positive about that, or
This
negative
is
about that?
this the reason why this is dishonest is because the specific conversation that you're referencing was a discussion about the Bible. If you are, unless you're a fucking liar, if you read the Bible is very clear about what to do to gay people. It just is. Now maybe
Yeah.
if you're like just want to lie,
Old
Old
if-
Testament,
if-
Old
if-
Testament, Lactoid, Old Testament.
sure, and that is part and that is part of the Bible, right? And
Which
so
is
when you're
different than
looking
Old- which is
and
revoked
and so
under the New
and so
Testament.
let me, can I please finish? And so when you're reading the Bible and that's in the Bible and you are not a dishonest hack, you're going to say, "Hey, look, the Bible says this. This is what
Yeah,
the law, the biblical.
yeah.
This is what the
Yeah.
biblical law prescribes."
Mhm.
He did not, in that
Mhm.
conversation, very
Fair.
specifically,
Yeah.
did not call for this to be
I agree with
implemented
you.
in American
Yeah,
policy.
said
I'll
John-
agree with you. Wait. I'll agree with you. But in the same regard, if you had the same a Muslim political influencer who is speaking about like Sharia law, he's like, listen, this is what it says in Sharia law. I'm not necessarily pushing for it, right? But like,
that's how
these
it
are the things
happened.
I believe.
That'd be
I think-
honest.
yeah, you'd be honest.
He
about,
also
yeah,
goes
this guy
on
should-
to
this
talk
guy's fine.
about-
He's not pushing for
That would be
anything.
honest.
This is
No,
okay.
no,
This is
but-
very.
no,
Hold
no,
on,
Lactoid,
hold on,
Lactoid.
Lactoid. There's a second part to
Lactoid.
this. Hold on,
But
I have
like-
to say something.
hold
Here. This
on.
is very dishonest right
Lactoid.
now. The Bible.
Lactoid.
Hold
He
on,
said
hold on.
God's
I really have to
perfect-
say
hold on,
something.
He said God's perfect plan. God's
Law.
perfect plan.
Okay.
Is that an endorsement
God's perfect
or,
law.
or not?
That's not an endorsement
an-
because you're
Okay,
misrepresenting.
if I
Hold
say-
on.
if I say
Hold on. Can I
non-com
fit? I have
is
to say
man's
something. You are
perfect law.
misrepresenting.
Sharia is
the Bible.
God's perfect law.
You
Sharia is
are
God's perfect
okay,
law.
and I-
Hold on.
You
Answer
are
the question.
misrepresenting the
If,
Bible.
if
I will.
say
If,
that Mein Kampf is a man's
No.
perfect law, would that be an endorsement?
No.
You would say it's
no,
not an
no.
endorsement.
That well, in that case, yes,
That
but in
wouldn't be
this case, no.
endorsement.
Because hold on, this is the
Okay,
part
nice
you're
try.
doing wrong. Hold on, no, it's not a nice try. It's because this is how dishonest you're being. It's either dishonesty or purpose ignorance. Okay, in the New Testament and the Old Testament, they're both parts of the Bible. Lactoid is correct. That would be the canon biblical law back in the day in the Old Testament, right? That's clear. Now, Jesus himself, the inheritor of the mantle of God, in the flesh, in person, on earth, as the representative, states that with his death, the old law is no longer needed and the canon is broken. Hold on. And this goes on and is repeated with several examples. The Holy Spirit coming down and speaking to the Gentile and speaking to the people in front of Peter, and Peter and Paul being sent on a mission to speak to people of other faiths.
What is
and other
all
faiths.
of this?
Hold on. This is important because y'all are misrepresenting. And Prime is laughing, and honestly, I am a little offended at this Prime that y'all because
Hey,
what
and
is
you will
happening.
be offended
Cool,
because
that's
I'm
fine.
going to
Because
laugh.
because
That's
what
not
is
gonna
happening?
stop.
Hold on. What is
I'm
happening?
gonna
What is
offend you a lot
happening?
today,
What Well, that's fine.
I'm
What
gonna
has
think you a
happened?
whole
What is
fucking lie.
that's fine. What is happening is that you are lying about what Christians believe, and you're lying
I'm
about
not
what
lying
Christians.
about.
Hold
Hold
on,
on,
you
I'm
are.
not lying about.
Hold
I
on, let me
didn't talk
finish.
about what
You
Christians.
are
I
lying
didn't
about
talk
what
about
Charlie
that.
Kirk
I
said.
Bro,
just
you're
Because
asked
just
you
Charlie,
about
fucking.
hold on,
what he
You're
Charlie
said.
just
Kirk
going
said. Hold on,
like
God's
a
perfect
completely
plan.
different
I asked
way.
about
Let
that.
me
So nice
because
try.
no, let me finish. Y'all just lied about what Charlie Kirk said. Because Charlie Kirk goes on in that later in the same speech when he's talking about that and talks about how there is a division between the Old Testament law and the New Testament, where they talk about where the power of Christ comes in and pays for things with the power of his blood. And that is the New Testament canonical law, whether you're Protestant or Catholic or Greek
Sure.
Orthodox. And so when you sit here and
That
prescribe
doesn't
that
mean-
he is, no, it does. When you sit
No,
here and
no,
prescribe,
no,
when
it
you
does.
when you
Yeah,
prescribe
absolutely
that
does.
he is sitting
Hold on.
here saying we should
Did he
stone
say-
these
did
people
he call
and
it-
it's God's perfect law,
Hold on,
that's
I
because
didn't
he
say that.
believes
Okay, can I
didn't
bring
say
up,
that.
like,
Wait a minute. No, I
when he
didn't say
says
that.
when he
Hold on.
says when
Hold
he
on,
says
hold on.
it's God's
What did
perfect
I
law,
say?
it's because everything
Motherfucker, what
God
did I
does
say?
is when he
Because
says
now
it's
you're putting
God's
words in
perfect
my
law.
mouth. What did
Everything
I
God
say?
does,
Hold
everything
on,
God
Gibbs,
does is
Gibbs,
perfect. Hold on,
Gibbs.
everything
Wait,
God does
so
is
Sharia is
on,
God's
Gibbs.
perfect
Hold
law
on,
then?
if you're
I didn't say
Muslim,
that
then
he
sure,
said
yes.
that.
If
No,
Sharia,
no,
yes,
I
I will
didn't say
And it's
absolutely
okay to
that.
agree
say
with
I
you.
that?
didn't say
I will
that.
absolutely agree with you, Ali.
And it's
If
okay to
Sharia,
say that?
if
Hold
you're
on.
a Muslim,
I
you
didn't
believe
say
Sharia
that.
is God's perfect law.
Yeah, I didn't
That
say
is
that.
true. And
What
no,
does
this
it
is
mean?
what
What
you
does it
said.
mean?
You
Nice
said he
try.
said, "Oh, it's God's
What
perfect
does it mean?
law to
Yeah,
do
hold
this,"
on.
and it is God's
And what
perfect
did I?
law
And what
because
did I
God
ask? I
is
asked only one
perfect
question.
and nothing
I
is
asked only
imperfect,
one
and that's
question,
why
and
it
you were
changes
fucking
in the New
dishonest. And you were
Testament. But you
fucking
clearly
dishonest
don't
about it.
understand
I asked
religion.
you only
You
one
are being
question.
dishonest.
I didn't say he advocated for stoning people. I didn't say that. Doobie brought that up, right? You can ask Doobie about that. But I didn't bring that
You
up
just
at
said
all, right?
God's perfect
And
law
then I
5 times.
asked,
Fine.
hey, like when you say this is a perfect plan, is that an endorsement?
It is
Or
because
not.
it is and
That's
it
the only
isn't
thing I've asked,
because it
right?
changes
And then you're
in the
dishonest
New
about
Testament
that.
from the Old.
You're
No,
hold on.
I'm
Hold
not
on.
being
I asked
dishonest.
you
You're
one
being
He's not being
dishonest because
dishonest.
you don't understand the religious
and you're
aspect.
fucking dishonest.
You are
And
being
then
dishonest because you
you
don't
want to put
understand the
words in my mouth
religion.
that I
You
didn't
don't
say,
understand
right?
the
And you're
religion,
crying
Brian.
about that.
You are literally
offended, Brian.
lying
I don't give
about
a
the
fuck that
religion.
you're offended.
You are
I don't
literally
give a
lying
fuck that
about the
you're offended.
religion right
I'm
now.
not
You
lying
are
about the
saying
I didn't
yes,
make
you
a statement
are
about
because
the
you.
religion.
Well, then you
I
don't
said,
understand
hey,
it because it's not
hold
a
on. What
strict
did I say?
endorsement.
What did I ask? Hold on.
You
Repeat
said-
it. Repeat it.
Oh, I
Repeat it.
will.
What did I
You
ask?
said you asked if is it is in this case, and you listed one case, which was is it God's perfect law, and then I said, oh, okay, no, in this context, no, because he explains how that law no longer applies in modern Christianity. It's
But he still thinks
ridiculous.
it's the
And he's
perfect
done this.
law.
Hold on, because every law by God is perfect as to people, and that's why it
Mm.
was perfect at the time, and it has changed under the New Testament. That's why we no longer put blood
Yeah, you're
over our
being
doors
fucking
during the
dishonest. You're
Passover. No,
fucking
this is just
dishonest.
facts. You are
You're
being
being
dishonest because you don't
fucking
understand
dishonest.
the
You're
Christian
being
religion,
fucking
and you want to
dishonest.
bash
Don't
every church.
worry,
Yeah,
it will
it's
never
very
work on
disgusting.
me.
I mean, yeah, I
Fucking
mean, it'll never
dishonest.
work
Don't
because
worry,
you're
I'll be
lying
more
right now.
disgusting with you
You
later
are
So
on.
lying
you
right
think
now.
Charlie?
I'm
Hold
not done with you
on.
yet.
So can I ask? I'm
He
just going to
thinks
ask.
the LGBT is a disease. Yes.
Wait,
Wait,
stop.
can I
I'm going to
just-
ask very
yeah.
specifically.
Can I-
So hold on. Is your honest opinion then, Prime? Honest, because you're very imposing here on your demand of honesty. You honestly think that Charlie Kirk wanted the law to throw rocks at gay people until they die? That's what you both think that Charlie. No, so you don't think Charlie Kirk believes that?
Yeah, I
No,
never
I
said
think
that.
no.
I never stated
No.
that. Have I ever stated that? Rewind the
I
tape.
believe.
Did I say that?
Wait,
No,
I
I
believe
didn't. Once again,
wait.
Gibbs would be a fucking liar.
I
I'm
believe
not being a liar. You're being a liar because you don't understand the difference between Old and New Testament law.
I believe.
Is there a difference between Old and New Testament law? Yes or no? Is there an Old Testament and New Testament difference in law? Is there a difference between Old and New Testament law?
Yes
Yes
or
or no?
no? All I asked was one question.
You're framing this dishonestly.
Lactoid.
Then you know you're just saying it's dishonest.
And I asked Gibbs a question.
Well, yeah, you framed it as dishonest. Yeah, you've just framed it dishonest. No, you're being a coward. You were being. I answered your question honestly, and you are being dishonest right now.
Good luck, Ollie.
That's fine.
That's
That's
fine.
fine.
You're too much big of a
I
fucking
mean, I stated all the
You're too
facts.
big of
You
a
just
guy.
are sitting here.
Let's try Lactoid.
You were
Let's
trying
see
to
if
use a
Lactoid
clip
can
to
be
frame
brave.
something wrong.
Let's see if
That's
Lactoid can be
dishonest.
brave. Hey, Lactoid, let's see if you can be brave the way
Yeah,
Gibbs
be
can
brave like
fucking coward.
Brian and
Hey,
lie
shut
about
up.
the
Shut up for a
context.
second while I talk to Lactoid, right? I don't want to talk to cowards right now. So
Yeah, I mean,
Lactoid,
well, stop talking to yourself.
shut up.
I mean, you're the one acting like a bitch right now.
Lactoid, shut up.
Watch, he's gonna mute me next because he's a bitch.
Lactoid, I will if you make me. If you want me to, I will. I'll
I
give
mean,
you
it's
the
a
gift.
pussy move.
So shut the
Go
fuck
ahead.
up so I can get to this. All right, thank you. Let's elaborate. Hey, if I
What?
say something is a perfect plan, I describe something, right? I say this is perfect. Is that an endorsement or not?
In most contexts, but not all contexts.
Most contexts, but
Can
not
I
all
can I offer
contexts.
more
What
context?
are places where it's not an endorsement? Give me
If
an
you're
example.
describing the Old Testament.
Oh, okay. Nice try. All right. Nice try. You can see the dishonesty in this group.
So can I offer more?
How is it
context
exhaustive?
for
It is
I just
actually
wanna-
clear
and,
differential between
And,
the two.
real quick, wait, hold on. And you, by the way, you have to agree with that, Prime, unless you think that Charlie Kirk was endorsing throwing stones at gay people until they die. If you think he was actually advocating for that, then I guess you can say that was an
that's a
endorsement.
dishonest framing. That's a dishonest framing.
It's how is that dishonest?
Because
framing?
no,
Go ahead.
I don't think he was advocating to change the actual policy to us have gay people in the town square and stone them to death in 2025. However, I do believe that he believed that this was the correct law. This was the correct thing to do to gay people. It's just that we're more civilized. It's just that we're more civilized now. So what he would do is push for to repeal certain pro-LGBT, repeal all pro-LGBT policy.
not the stoning protections.
So he's not going to advocate for stoning, right? But that doesn't mean that belief isn't going to inform the type of policy that he pushes for,
Ollie, did you
which
just admit that
is
there's
still
New Testament,
detrimental
Old
to
Testament
the
law?
LGBT. So it's like just
I'm
because he's
sure
not advocating for
Hold on.
specifically
Is there a
stoning
difference
doesn't
between New
fucking mean
Testament, Old
much.
Testament law? Is there a
Doesn't
difference
fucking
between New
mean
Testament,
much.
Old Testament law? Yes or no?
No, that's why I keep asking. If Zoran Mandami was like, listen, I think Sharia is the perfect law, you
I
guys
would
would
argue
be
that
fucking you guys would.
No,
you
I
guys
would, but I wouldn't say. Hold on, I would say it's an endorsement.
That's going
but
to
I would
prefer
say
that
his
to
policy
communism,
in
honestly.
fucking New York.
Ollie, I'll build a bridge with you. If he said that, I will accept that he believes that the Sharia law is God's divine plan, which is what Muslims believe,
And
because that is their perfect law, and there's nothing wrong with him saying that and advocating.
There's nothing
for
wrong
politics.
with
Now, I will hold on.
Zoran Mandami, the mayor of New York, saying Sharia law is God's perfect law.
Hold on, I will fight it.
Isn't
but
no
not
shit.
hold on, I will fight it on the grounds that no, I disagree and I think it's religiously flawed and it's not the correct law and not the perfect law. However, I would actually applaud him for fighting for his beliefs and pushing something.
Wow,
Wait,
damn,
do
that's
any-
a
just
fucking
please,
bullet
do
you're willing
any-
to bite. Okay.
No, I will bite the bullet because
All
if
right.
you're the same, look, hold on,
So
I will
Lactoid.
back a Muslim pushing for their laws. I'm just going to fight them whenever.
There's a clip of Zoran Mandami. He says Sharia law is God's perfect law.
Well, that's
The
what he
mayor-
believes.
The
It's his
potential
religious
mayor of New
belief.
York. And you would be,
Ali,
would you say that
let me-
that
can I
isn't an
answer for-
endorsement of Sharia law? Yes or no? It's really a
Let
simple
me
yes or no.
no. Let me get the full answer, okay?
Okay, cool.
If Zoran is talking about like Islam, if he's on a podcast and they're having a conversation about Islam and he talks about Sharia being God's perfect law, and then he goes on to describe how he's not, like, he doesn't say he's going to put in any policy. He goes on later to describe how it's not really applicable in modern day, but that like the Quran very clearly talks about the law and how it's like the perfect law. But he also goes on later to like say that he's not implementing it in current policy, which, by the way, you guys agree with.
Muslim as
which-
Charlie was a
which-
devout Christian.
Which yes.
Okay, can I-
Then let me please. Then that would be okay. And when I say okay, it's at least okay in the sense that I'm not going to think that he's like actually prescribing stoning gay people, which is the very obvious implication when you bring up this out of context quote.
Would you believe that he's endorsing?
We gotta let the people in.
I just need to know. Like, it was a yes or no that he didn't answer. Was it yes or no? Would you say that Zoran Mandami was endorsing Sharia law by saying?
What do you mean by endorsing? What do you mean by endorsing?
As in the potential mayor of New York thinks Sharia law is God's perfect law.
You mean implementing it?
And winning potential mayor for New York, and you wouldn't use that against him.
And
That's
implementing
what I'm
it?
going to say.
And implementing
Please,
it?
Oh my god,
And
wait.
implementing
Okay, cool.
clearly something different, not endorsing. But
All right, go
So
ahead.
that's why I asked what endorsement
Hold
meant.
on.
Go ahead, Doobie.
Yeah.
I'm sorry.
Oh,
Go
sorry.
ahead,
Let's
Doobie.
I'm gonna let other people in, guys.
I asked what endorsement meant.
Okay, I just want
Guys,
a few very
non-fun,
simple
and then
things.
you be
Okay,
recorded.
do any of
Oh,
you
very
seriously?
simple.
Do any of you dispute the fact that Charlie Kirk wants to ban gay marriage based largely on his religion?
He also is advocating for a partnership
Probably.
separate from marriage because marriage is between a man and a woman.
Okay, that's great.
That's
You don't deny
Oh,
that
but
he
that's
does what he
similar
wants
but
to.
equal thing.
That's great. Okay,
Yeah,
do you guys
It's like
dispute that
40% of Americans or something, sure.
do you guys dispute that he also wants to ban all of abortions, including rape and incest, largely based on also his religious beliefs?
I mean, which is murdering children, so yeah.
Okay, I'm going to read you a tweet now from January 5th. Quote, "The vice president has the power to reject fraudulently chosen electors." Okay, I'm going to read you another tweet now from September 1st. "America does not need more visas for people from India. Perhaps no form of legal immigration has displaced so many American workers as those from India. Enough already. We're full. Let's finally put our own people first." Do those 4 facts strike you as more moderate or more pretty extreme leaning Christian nationalist?
Pretty moderate.
The
Those
reason
4
why
things
I
are pretty
the-
moderate.
Well, then Hassan is moderate.
the
in
reason
that
no,
regard.
hold on. The reason why I'm going to say moderate, the reason why I'm going to, or at least
Hassan's
maybe a
moderate
better
too.
maybe a better term might be like mainstream, is because these beliefs these beliefs that you described represent like probably 30 to 40% of America.
Hans and GQ.
They
I don't-
represent this person actually has like or at least have an established voice within the Republican Party. Meanwhile, Hassan is like treated like a black sheep. He is excluded from the Democratic Party. He is not like platformed by the actual like political machine of the left.
This is the,
And so I-
this is
and so-
exactly
and so-
this is the issue with,
buttloads
with
of
the
political
Republican
power.
Party.
And
Thank
so-
you very much.
And so
Has buttloads of political power and is mainstream.
maybe things change with Zoran, but as of right now, I wouldn't call him like mainstream.
AOC and Bernie.
AOC and Bernie, I would probably call more moderate and mainstream compared to like Hassan.
Yeah, and he hangs out with them and he endorses them and they endorse him.
Sure. I mean, I
So
think
Hassan
I don't
is
think they
moderate
I don't
because
think
we
they
have
endorse
Haas and We have
Hassan.
Jackson Hinkle, who
I
actually
don't
hang out
think-
with the literal fucking Houthis.
Like, I don't think they endorsed
Jackson
Hassan.
Hinkle's not
I know. I
moderate.
think Hassan with his 9/11
They
take
hang-
tanked like any kind of like real political interaction that he is able to have.
He
Like,
was
I'm sorry, you're
just with
saying,
Zoran in New
he's
York.
moderate. He said America deserved 9/11. You don't
Wait,
really come back
I
from
mean,
that.
Charlie
Sorry.
Kirk He's
wants
not
to
moderate.
Hold on, wait,
repair
wait, I just want to be clear. Like,
X amount of things about Islam, about black people, about so on and so forth. Like, yeah, and in terms of like rhetoric, yeah, Charlie doesn't have the most moderate rhetoric.
Nothing like nothing. He said nothing like America deserved 9/11, which is what Hassan said.
Well,
We got to let other
Can
people win.
I give you guys more context?
That is
about
not moderate.
about Charlie Kirk and what he believed. So I think it'd be
Sure,
helpful.
and then we'll go back to non-fun because non-fun wanted to tie into that as well. Sure.
Okay, yeah, just really quick. So my understanding is he was a seven mountain mandate dominionist, which means that he believed that that Christians have a mandate from God to seize the seven mountains of cultural influence, like schools, politics, the media,
Family.
like family, like etc. Like these are all like spheres of cultural influence. So they seize those spheres of cultural influence, and then once they have them, they use them to transform the nation into a Christian nation, explicitly Christian nation, with laws that come from the Bible, right? That are influenced heavily by the Bible. So I don't think that's something the average Republican wants or even thinks about, right? I think this is very, very far on the fringes, actually. I don't think that the average Republican would want to ban gay marriage, for example, like a non-farm brought up. I don't think the average Republican would advocate for, would say that he doesn't believe in a separation of church and state. He actually didn't think there was one. He thought that was like a made up thing, and there shouldn't be a separation of church and state. So he was explicitly advocating for there to be a Christian government in the U.S. Right. So I don't think that's like an average normie Republican position.
I would say you're wrong. I would say you're wrong about that. But I know
If that's the normie position,
No, I would
Hold on.
say at least 40% of the Republican Party is probably in the Christian nationalist camp. Or
This is exactly hold on,
in
this
the
is exactly
Christian
problem with this.
40%.
Wait.
Yeah, I
Doobie,
would say
what
30,
percentage? What percentage of Republicans do you think support gay marriage?
I just looked it up. Yeah.
Wait, but
it's-
before you answer, Prime, I want Doobie's answer.
I'd guess somewhere around like 40%.
Yes, 41% of Republicans
shit,
support
okay.
gay marriage. And so when you keep pointing out Kirk's like opposition to gay marriage is like him being like extreme or him being out of line with like
60%
mainstream
agrees with
Republicanism, this is just not true. Like
Yeah,
this is actually
60%.
very much in line like with most Republicans.
Yeah,
And, like,
the Republican
the other-
Party is an awful party. Thank you for
Well,
reminding
the
me
other
of
thing
that.
is y'all
Exactly.
sit here and preach for the Bible. Kirk is sitting here. He's used this story multiple times. I've heard him, like seen him watch clips, and he'll talk about he without first with sin cast the first stone, which is in the New Testament, which circumcedes over the Old Testament, right?
Mhm.
So we're sitting here going, we all know that, and if you're being honest about the Christian religion, and you know
Real
this,
quick.
that even if he advocated in God's perfect world, hold on, and even in God, no, we're gonna finish this. Even if God's
No, I'm talking to
perfect
him.
plan,
Come to me.
even his perfect plan or perfect law, then he's admitting
After
that the
nonsense.
humans are not perfect, because the New Testament, he says, he without sin throw the first stone. They don't throw the stones because Jesus teaches that. And then he says his sacrifice. So if you believe he's a Christian and you believe he's advocating for Christian beliefs, then you know that y'all are doing dishonest framing by using this one clip out of context and ignoring hundreds of other
Thousands of
clips
clips.
where he talks about this regularly as a
Yeah.
Christian witness. So y'all are being bad faith and y'all know it. This is the same as the
actually
Trump
true,
thing
yeah.
where the good people on both sides lie and hoax. This is the exact same 1 degree of separation bullshit I was talking about in my opening, and it's disgusting behavior.
Okay, let's go
Gibbs
to
is right on this one.
non-con Corey. No, he's not. And then we'll go to Ali.
I mean, part of what I was going to say got mentioned, but like obviously, like Lactoid laid out exactly the problem with the Republican Party is that on the left, on the side of left wingers, people like Hassan are marginalized, and on the side of right wingers, Charlie Kirk, who believes like there shouldn't be like any immigration from Indian people, and that like the vice president has the unilateral authority to choose whatever elector or reject fraudulent electors. In his words, like this is the problem with Republican parties, that voices like that are put into the mainstream.
The problem with this though is, and I think because we all have people that like we are, don't really lament the fact that like they get got, right? I don't think anybody here is crying about Hitler. But like the thing that like I think
we got to think about his humanity though.
Scaring a lot of like right wingers, right? Is that when you guys are like saying, well, we're celebrating his death. I mean, not you guys specifically, but when the left is celebrating his death and they're saying, look, he supported this, and then when you look at that and you realize it maps onto half the country, like the concern there is
25% of the country.
The concern there, well, half the sure, but like most Republicans, right? Okay, it maps onto most Republicans. The concern there is okay, so you guys are like. You guys want a significant portion of the country dead. Like, that's the scary part.
Non-fun, you can respond, and then I got to move on.
Okay, I don't think I wasn't like trying to, and I don't necessarily think you were accusing me of it. Like, I wasn't trying to like justify why or why not. Like, Charlie Kirk was, like asking for it or whatever to some extent. I was just adding on. I forget what Doobie's even initial claim was at this point that got us in this whole conversation.
So killing
he was a big Christian guy for sure.
He was a big I was really just trying to provide evidence at that point. I don't know.
Okay.
Yeah, no, like, and Ben Shapiro's like very like his Judaism is like informs his moral philosophy. Religious, I think it's very difficult to like have religious beliefs and not have that inform your moral philosophy because like. In the same way that like there's secular ideologies that can inform your moral philosophy as well. Like there are things that we believe in that inform our decisions. And when you and I don't think Charlie Kirk's beliefs were all that different and all that like extreme compared to like significant major demographics of the country. Okay. That I don't want this to become the new norm where like we find out Grandpa Joe died and then hey, Grandpa Joe didn't like gay marriage, so let's go like piss on his funeral. That's fucked.
Also, just no elected Democrats have done this, but yeah. I was going to say no. I'm sure there's some have.
Corey.
Destiny has.
But Corey.
Not elected, but
the ultimate elected Democrat.
Corey Ali Doobie.
Okay, so also rewinding, Gibbs, you mentioned earlier, same conversation that I brought up earlier, of, I think you said more or less the sentiment was, the left is literally killing us. So, like, is it your impression that, like, the killing is just one way? It's just the left killing the right?
I would say it's disproportionate, right? Like, when I hear things like righty violence or something.
Okay, so...
like, it's much smaller scale.
Okay, so out of curiosity, which one do you think the right should be held accountable for? Or which one do you think they should own up to?
I don't know. Give me an example. Like
any ones that you're aware of.
Like I mean, like I don't know. I'm like asking what you
okay.
So some of them are like questionable.
So coincidentally, there's no right individuals that have killed on your radar.
Sure. You know what? Let's go. Timothy McVeigh.
Okay, that's
right,
okay.
Right?
Let's say in the past 20 years, since Trump was elected.
I mean, since Trump was elected, I don't know. Wasn't Dylan Roof?
Okay, what coincidence? So
I don't think Dylan Roof really espoused the ideas of the Trump administration.
Yeah, I mean, I don't think so either. But I mean, he's
so Lactoid. Like, are you of the same sentiment as Gibbs? It's just one way, just the left killing the right.
No.
Okay, so then, are there any that you would take the right should take account for? Of like they should own this, or are you the same sentiment? I'm not aware of any.
No. Okay, just to be clear, like. My point this entire time has been that I am criticizing the reaction. I'm answering the question. I'm criticizing the reaction, and I'm saying that people like shouldn't be so awful about this.
I agree.
I think that when those senators from Minnesota were assassinated, that was really fucked. They were Democrat senators. It appears that the killer had a conservative motive. Trump went out and condemned that, as he should have. I condemn it. Not good.
Okay.
Okay. Wait.
I think at the time you argued. Hold on. I think at the time you argued with us on whether he was a Republican or a Democrat.
We didn't know. We didn't know at the time.
Okay, yeah, because I remember you talking about flyers in his trunk.
Yes,
right?
we didn't
And
know.
talking
We didn't
about
know
the
at the
Tim
time.
Ross.
I think, and by the way,
I-
there's still evidence both ways. I think I'm willing to give the benefit of the doubt and like lean towards it being a conservative, especially
Okay.
considering who was targeted.
I
But
appreciate you saying
but
that.
sure, we don't know for sure, okay? But
We know for
Trump
sure this
still
guy.
condemned it right away, which is good, and I condemn it.
I
Wait,
like
do-
that. Let's keep that evidence for later because we're
Okay,
going to bring that up again. But
I'm
I thank you for saying that. But go ahead.
Yeah, I'm not done. Just to maybe a quick. So, but so far, that's like the only one that you're aware of. That's the only one that the right should take account.
That's the one that pops out for
Okay,
me. Yeah.
All right, gotcha.
All right.
I mean, if there, I don't think Dylan Roof is going to be like a Republican. I think white nationalism is different.
Wait.
Okay,
Can we,
and Gibbs, do you agree with Lactoid's assessment?
I mean, like Dylan Roof is I would
That's not
agree.
what his assessment was. The different, right, as far as I know.
I would say that he probably had a mostly accurate assessment.
Okay, but how come you didn't bring that up earlier when I asked you?
I mean, I brought up Dylan Roof. I mean, like I didn't have
No,
like
no,
all these
no,
people off the top of my head. I mean,
it's not a bad
I
example.
mean,
I mean, you
Example
okay? I'll
that
give
you
you
don't
the
think
example.
Why?
What was the-
So no. My question is, why did it have to go to Lactoid to get that out, and why didn't you mention
Well,
it?
I mean, there's other examples you could go to. Like I've heard. Okay,
Then why
let's
didn't you bring them up?
Hold on.
I asked
well,
you.
Well,
I gave you free. I gave you free.
Hold on.
airspace.
Because a lot of the times, this is the problem. right?
Because the right.
This is the
just
problem.
Just like
is-
my opening statement, the right will
No.
never take account for anything.
No, this
Okay?
is bullshit.
Lactoid
because
won't
a
even
lot
call
of
his
the times, y'all
opinion.
want us to act like immediately take accountability for shit that's dubious at best. Like we've seen evidence to suggest that this guy with Pelosi, for example, they had a previous history,
Oh my
like with their
God.
husband, right? So
They-
we've seen
there you go.
evidence
We
suggesting.
see
Now,
it.
I'm not
It has-
saying that's true, but you know what? I condemn the violence in general. If he's right leaning, he's left leaning. If the guy is Dylan Roof, put him in the wood chopper. If it's this guy, put him in the wood chipper. Like the right will be like, yeah, the guy's bad. He shot gay people.
I literally
Put him in the fucking wood chipper.
literally asked you an
Every time.
open-ended
You know, like,
question.
the Pulse
I asked you an
Nightclub
open-ended
shooter.
question.
You know, like
said
put him
nothing.
in the wood chipper. Like all these shooters.
Yeah.
Like
So
put them all in the
why?
wood chipper. Like
Why did it have to go to Lactoid to get that information out? Or you
I've
just
said this
weren't aware
other
of
times.
that?
I just don't know. I don't know which one you want me to
No,
say
you-
because the problem
exactly.
is I'll say
Because I'm a
something.
politics god,
Yeah,
Corey.
the
That's
problem
why.
is
Please,
the problem
no.
is like you'll say
You're-
something
You're like
and then
one step above.
okay,
the
no,
Cali Gibbs.
no. The problem
Okay,
is
I'm
we'll do like we
barely.
did with this prompt, right? Where we know this guy's obviously a left-winging nut job, and then we sit here, we see the people on the left go, oh, he's clearly right-wing because his parents were Mormon, even though he's living with a transgender furry and they're fucking, and then
Oh
they're
my
sitting here in
God.
Discord groups saying this shit, and they're saying this shit, and they're saying it openly, and they're doing this, and we have witnesses, we have anti-fascist messaging on the bullets, we know this is things, we
That
have
wasn't
other
my
people.
question.
Hold on,
Wasn't
we
my
have,
question.
and then
My
hold on,
question
then we
was-
hold
my
on, no,
question
then
was- my
we see
question
the
was,
spin. Hold on,
why
no,
did
no,
it have to go to
no,
Lactoid?
no.
Why did it
Boy,
have to
I'm
go to
answering
This
your
is
question. I know
the,
you
this
don't
is
want
the
to answer.
issue.
No,
Is
no, because then what you'll do is you'll frame this, and y'all are trying to say this guy's a right winger. So then we have someone like the guy that shot at Trump, right? He comes along, and there's evidence that he was a registered Republican, and okay, cool. But then we find out he also donated to Biden and was part of BlackRock, which are more left than a right. So it's like you go, but they're like, oh, he's a right winger. He was a
Not answering my
registered
question.
Republican,
BlackRock,
even though he
not
doesn't.
answering
So
my
it's like
question.
y'all
I
have
think you
these
did a commercial for
where you
BlackRock or some shit.
and then
Give me
it's
a
you'll
break.
want to. Then it's like you'll want us to co-sign this guy's inherently right wing when there's like mixed messages, just like the guy that killed the Minnesota people, right? Okay, I would probably say he was probably a right winger, right? Maybe, probably.
Why did you say that at the time?
Hold
Why
on,
did you say
hold
that?
on.
Gotta give you one.
Once again, even in that case, there's other evidence that supports that it might have been a personal vendetta of some sort in like these cases because of point. So it's like, well, yeah, sure, you want us to like co-sign things that are not super obvious, and then when something super blatantly obvious comes along, y'all are like, oh, it's totally the same situation.
So I don't see just,
This is-
and I'm not trying to attack you. I'm just saying I don't see why a personal vendetta would change anything about the question. And there's not an attack towards you, Gibbs. What I'm saying is that like these things are mixed, right? Like we can understand that these people are crazy people, right? Like the type to do mass shootings. Hopefully, no one here will be that type, right? Because those people are insane, right? Like one way or the other.
Well, okay,
that
that's
shit
why
is gonna
nobody's
be
saying the guy that killed the
insane.
Ukrainian girl is like, motivated by left-leaning violence. Yeah, we might say it's racially motivated, but nobody's going. Hold on, we're talking about DI. We say he's racially, might have been racially
Some racism,
motivated,
yeah,
we're not
but
sitting,
he's also crazy.
Yeah, but we're not sitting here going, oh, this guy specifically was a leftist, right? Because we know that it was probably mental illness and whatever, and then it was DI that killed her. But it's like when we
trying
sit
to
here
reach
and go,
out.
this
Yeah,
other thing-
I'm trying to reach out to you. I'm trying to reach out to you here. So I'm not trying to. Again, I specifically, I'm not trying to attack you. I'll attack you later. Don't worry. That's
Sure,
coming.
that's fair.
But like, I'm saying that I'm saying, okay, what we choose to identify as a political, an attack with political motivation, and one that does it, right? Like that has complex and it has lots of rules as to what counts and what doesn't. As that, like I like to say, everything's a spectrum, right? Like what is a political attack? You can actually go down this line, right? And you can find gray zones where this, like you're attacking like a marginalized group, right? But like, did you feel any hate towards them? I mean, you did shoot at them, or is it that hey, they just happen to be literally the closest people near you, right? You're like, I want to die by cop, and oh, there's a group of Lebanese people near me, and so I'm going to shoot at them, right? And then if you're a white guy, it might say, hey, this is like racially motivated or politically motivated. Like this is how these things work. So I'm just saying that like it's very complex as to what counts and what doesn't. I'm just trying to like acknowowledge that. I know we got.
Can I add one thing on my answer? I got to add something onto my answer that I answered Corey about. So I as charitably as being as I am, of saying that hey, the list was all Democrats. So I'm comfortable saying there was likely some kind of anti-Democrat motivation there. Not only did Trump condemn it right away, but was there really any kind of significant celebration on the right of them dying?
No. We said throw them in the wood chipper.
I don't know if there was a celebration, but like Donald Trump.
Was there TikToks of people dancing?
This is the issue. Like we're asking like Twitter liberals on Blue Sky to change their behavior, but then like we make all these excuses for like Trump, who is president of the United States, and also
Trump condemned it.
I understand. No, I understand. Trump condemned the Minnesota lawmaker shit. He's been very flaky,
and nobody celebrated it. Nobody in the right celebrated. So Trump condemns it right away.
True, but I do know for the Pelosi hammer attack. What? I'm telling you, I don't know. It could be true, but like Trump ordered the flags. Trump has never been good at.
The hammer attack was a little bit odd, right? I agree, it wasn't good. I didn't celebrate it. I think some people unfortunately saw some level of humor in it, especially since nobody died. I think when nobody dies, like we're usually a little bit more willing to show humor.
I don't even care about like the people.
Gay lover. But I just want to make it very clear that I think this is an important distinguishing factor. When those senators, people keep bringing up the senators, when those senators were assassinated, Trump condemned it right away. So this is the president of the United States condemning the violence immediately, and there was no mass celebration on the right.
And if there was,
I gotta let in other people. We've been waiting patiently, right? I forget if it was Ali or Doobie next. Well, we can say Ali.
Yeah. So it's like one. Those were politicians, right? So like I don't know if the same thing gets extended to like the people who die on the left that people want to criticize, George Floyd or whatever it may be. People criticize them and celebrate and dance and mock and do the whole spiel.
Does any type of unifying message to try to heal the nation or whatever? So like never does this shit. He never does this shit. He didn't order the flags be at half mast for the Minnesota lawmakers being killed.
Brother, I'm not gonna lie. As a Muslim, the guy literally hated Islam as the sword the left is using to slit the throat of America. This is just
conservatives don't like Islam.
Not only is he the president of the United States, but he's the president of the United States with
rhetoric in terms of
unbelievable control over his base.
Said about Jews,
Joe Biden has stronger control over the Democrats as Trump does over the Republicans.
Just because it's an ideology you don't agree with. Just because it's an ideology you don't agree with, you're going to sit here and say that this guy was a moderate.
So you're admitting the left are Nazis right now because they're the ones persecuting the Jews? Is that what you're trying to say?
Bro.
You can criticize Islam. That's fine.
You just said they wouldn't use it. They wouldn't use the rhetoric that you're saying that it's pre-Nazi rhetoric because they're doing it to the Muslims
and painting Muslims in the same way.
Yeah, and if they're painting the Jews that way, then it's whatever. And then we've had people on this panel, which is their political position, say things that are similar, if not worse, than anything the right said about the Muslims.
About Jews.
About the Jews specifically.
Are you
saying that's pre-Nazi rhetoric?
Hold on. Who said what about the Jews?
Well, okay, so I'm going to give you an example right here for this panel, and I'm going to give you the example from the other night. So first, we'll go with the other night, right? I laid out a bunch of policy, and I was told just saying their policy was inflammatory rhetoric. All right, cool. Now, just on this panel we had today, and you don't have to argue whether this is policy or not, but it's the same kind of logic. I heard people here Doobie say, they're a Jewish ethno-state supremacy group, a supremacist nation, that is starting wars with other countries for ethnic cleansing.
That's
right?
true.
Yeah,
Right,
the
okay,
nation.
all right,
Yeah,
so
the
it's
That's
nation.
not about the Jews. It's
hold
about
on, hold
Israel.
on. But well,
Yeah,
okay,
it's about the
Israel.
nation.
Sure. But then you're going to go on to say a lot of people are like, oh, anybody that believes in this brand of Judaism is Zionist and they're evil. That's the same kind of rhetoric that
Zionism
the
has
Nazis
nothing to
use.
do with
The
Judaism.
Nazis use.
Judaism.
I mean, are
It's
you
not a
arguing that?
brand
Are
of
you arguing that?
Judaism.
Hold on. If I pull up a quote right now with Hitler saying the exact same things as the Free Palestine movement, what would you do?
Hold on. Sorry,
Oh my
you keep-
God.
you
That has,
keep-
Wait, hold
you
on.
keep-
yeah,
hold
like,
on, hold on.
you're
What
arguing,
you gonna-
but
doing-
you're just
what you
fucking
keep
picking
doing-
at
one second,
straws.
hold
No,
on.
I'm
One
just
second. Hold
asking
on,
you
hold
because
on.
you said it's the
What
same rhetoric,
what
Ollie.
just seems like what you keep doing is like you are making a vague statement and say like, well, if someone else did this vague statement,
No, that's
that
not
I'm
what I'm
actually
saying.
naming,
No. What I'm saying is Ali made a claim. Ali made a claim, and I actually have a direct quote from Hitler,
Okay.
where he says,
but hold on,
literal,
but
hold on.
My
He
claim,
said,
can I
a
defend my
literal,
claim, Prime? Can I defend my claim?
Let's not talk
a
about
literal,
it.
a literal Nazi
Hold on. No,
Okay.
let's not talk about Hitler.
says the same things that
Let's not talk
Ali
about
is
Hitler yet.
advocating
That's
would be
not what
Let's
I'm
not talk
Nazi.
about
saying.
Hitler yet. 1 second. We'll talk about Hitler. Don't worry. Hitler's
You don't
coming
know what
up.
my claim is.
You can't escape Hitler. You can never escape Hitler, right? He's all around us. He's
Yeah.
inside us, right? Okay. So, you made a claim about the people on the panel saying
Yep.
things against Jews, okay?
Which is what's
Then
happened here.
you gave an example where it wasn't against Jews. It was literally like
That's
an
a
adjective
different
to the
distinction without a
nation.
difference in this case.
The
Hold on.
Jewish nation.
Yeah, we're
state?
talking
Yes.
a Jewish ethno state is talking about as a description of this nation of Israel, right? Not saying that like it's a nation filled with Jews. It doesn't mean like you're making a statement about Jews. That's
okay.
crazy.
I
That's
need to
how
respond to
that would
that.
be a derogatory statement against Jews.
No, let me tell you this. Here's the thing. I have a direct quote from Hitler. I literally watched the clip today, and I went and like fact checked it
Okay.
afterwards. And I just coincidentally, it's coming up now. And Ali's claim was this is the claim. He said if they use this rhetoric, and they said it about Jews, it would be Nazi rhetoric. Okay. In fact, I would agree. He's right. The same exact rhetoric has been used by Democratic policymakers and by the Free Palestine movement is actually taking direct quotes from Hitler. That by definition
That's
is
so-
Nazi rhetoric. He talks about how the Zionist regime, supported by the British, is oppressing the Palestinians, and he goes on further and further and makes the same
Not at
thing.
all what I was
It talks about from
referencing.
the river to the sea. These are exact quotes from Hitler. All right. And so when we sit here and you say, okay, well, one's Nazi rhetoric or would be Nazi rhetoric about Jews, and I agree with you and say, oh, they've actually said the exact same rhetoric as Hitler. That's Nazi rhetoric. Yes or no? If you use
Wait,
the
hold
exact
on.
same quote,
Can I?
is it?
So
Well,
anyway,
because
If
it's
the sky
true.
was blue, if it said the sky was blue, we'd
Yeah,
say
so-
saying the sky was blue.
Wow, what a
is-
coincidence that
So-
Hitler
is
said the
Nazi
exact
rhetoric.
word.
So
and it's
in
not
what
Nazi
He
in,
says
rhetoric.
the
in
exact
the way
words, yes,
in,
he says
in,
sky's
wait,
blue, that
in,
means
in the
Nazi
way I'm
rhetoric.
referencing it, Gibbs, I'm saying that we have a bunch of political influencers like Charlie Kirk, like Valentina Gomez, like these people, like a lot of people who are using Islam and Muslims as scapegoats, right, to blame all the issues that are happening in the country, down to the point where we have Valentina Gomez actively going in front of these people, saying that Islam is the religion of rape. They're raping your children. They're raping your women. If you don't want your women to be raped, you need to get these Muslims out of your country. And this is rhetoric that is shared by these people. And so, yeah, they're like, I don't understand how you want anyone from the LGBTQ community to share like an empathy for Kirk when he actively fights against them. I don't want how you want anyone from the Black community to fight against Charlie Kirk when he said all these things about DEI and Black women and so on and so forth. I don't know where you want this empathy extended just because someone died. Right.
Also, I want to say, by the way, it's funny. In my opening, I literally said the two things that elected Democrats like don't cuck out to the far left on ever is Israel and the political violence shit. That they're all pretty pro-Israel and they're all hardcore condemning the political violence.
Let's go to Doobie and then Corey.
I don't even know where to go from this actually. So I'm just curious. Like I don't want to make this an Israel-Palestine thing, right? I just don't understand how me criticizing Israel equals attacking the Jews in some way. Right? That's I think the fact that you're conflating Jews in general with a genocidal ethno state is pretty anti-Semitic in itself.
That's not what I'm
pretty
doing.
fucked.
That's not what I'm doing at all.
It's pretty
I'm
fucked.
offended.
It'd be
I'm
like
offended.
saying
It'd
be like saying that all
I'm saying
whites
that
are like
direct quote.
are like Nazis, right?
No,
They're all
Doobie, that's not
Germans
what I
or
said.
whatever.
I said the direct quote from Hitler is a Nazi statement. And Ali's claim was that, hey, if you were saying this about the Jews, it would be Nazi rhetoric. And then I quoted Hitler, which is the same thing that the Free Palestine movement and many on the left it said.
So
And
I
your
said it was
response was,
pre-Holocaust.
your
but
response.
Gibbs,
Hold on, your
Gibbs,
response
if
was,
he says a
"Oh,
true
these
thing,
are
that
true
doesn't mean
statements."
it's like.
But it is a Nazi rhetoric though. So you admit you
Oh,
agree
hold on,
with
hold on,
it.
hold on.
But
The
if Hitler
king
said, again,
Nazi
like
said it.
Prime said, if Hitler said the sky's blue, that wouldn't make the sky's blue Nazi rhetoric. It's just true.
Wait
So
a
if
minute.
Hitler said,
But that's
so
a
I'm
crazy
not aware. I'm not
take
aware.
that
I'm
you're
not
going
aware.
down that hill.
I'm not aware.
You're going to say
Oh
a
my
thing that
God.
Hitler said. It was
isn't
a
the
fundamental
hill.
Wait, hold
platform.
on.
You're on the hill
Hitler
right now.
famously known for saying from the river to the sea.
Doobie, I just hold on, and I haven't done any additional research, so this is wrong. This hallucination. Well, then I take it back. I take back what I'm about to say. Right? I just put into Google. Did Hitler say Israel was oppressing Palestine? Adolf Hitler never said, Google Gemini.
Oh my God.
Adolf Hitler never said that Israel was oppressing Palestine because the state of Israel did not exist during his lifetime.
Well, that
The
would
state
make
was
sense because I
proclaimed
said the
on May
British,
14th,
who had the mandate, were oppressing them
1948,
for the Zionist power.
nearly 3
That's what I
years
said,
after Hitler's
verbatim.
death in 1945. The
So
claim
you're
is a
just
historical
misquoting me.
fabrication that
It's not what I
misrepresents the
said.
context of the Israeli-Palestinian conflict. Okay, sure. Well, then
That's not what I
you
said,
have
is it?
Okay.
It's I said specifically. He said already, and you know this. You heard me say it. I said that he said the British were oppressing the Palestinians at the expense of the Zionist Jewish powers, and it's a Jewish conspiracy.
I'm sorry, you said the British. Okay, I heard Israel. No, and
Yeah,
Which is
and
literally
Israel and
if I said
anti-Semitic.
it, if you said that and I heard something differently, then I do apologize because I'm not trying to misrepresent you. But you're saying the British. Okay, so then when do leftists today talk about the British oppressing Palestine?
Well, here's a direct quote.
And
While
how
the
is that, like-
Zionists try to make the world believe that the national consciousness of the Jew finds its satisfaction in the creation of Palestinian state, the Jews, again, slyly duped into dumb Gorin. It doesn't even matter. The heads build a Jewish state in Palestine for the purposes of living there. All they want is a central organization for the international world swindler. Oh, sorry, something popped up. Endowed with its own sovereign rights and removed from the intervention of other states. A haven for convicted scoundrels and a university for budding crooks. It is a sign of the rising confidence and a sense of security that at the time when one section is still playing the German, French, and English, the other with open effrontery comes out of the Jewish faith. That is him directly talking about in reference to the British control with the British mandate of 1919 controlling Palestine and having their basically the Jewish masters in charge. That's what he's talking about. So when we talk about this, it's the same fundamental language as Hitler, and when people claim these things like what I've heard on this panel already today. So
When
it
we
is
talk
not.
about the
It is
international
Nazi.
swindlers-
It is Nazi rhetoric, whether you like it or not. That is
No.
actual Nazi rhetoric.
Hold on. So leftists, right? Like Doobie, I won't call Doobie leftist, but like people like Doobie, use language like international swindlers, right? We talk about the British mandate. We talk about catch the whole quote. I was trying to listen. I'm sorry, but like we use that type of language, right? So that's the same. Right. So talking about Israel at all, any criticism of Israel, then you would say is Nazi language. Then,
No,
right?
I
Any criticism. Oh, okay. So then what is fair criticism? Can we fairly say
yeah, well,
that
I think that
Israel
y'all-
is okay? So we
Yeah,
so we
I'll give
can
you an example of
fairly
fair
say.
criticism, and this will build a bridge. I think that Doobie passionately believes they're committing a genocide. I think I'm not sold on that, but I think there's enough evidence that you can accurately portray it as a genocide in some cases. I think you can argue they're ethnically cleansing. I think those are accurate statements. You can do this in or to some degree, or have a degree of fact behind them. I think you can say that without using Nazi buzzwords or using exact Nazi quotes.
What's
like
a
we've
buzzword
happened
then?
here?
Sure.
Yeah, what's a
What's a buzzword that we might have used? Yeah.
I mean, I would argue that anytime we're sitting here going, "Oh, it's a Nazi propagandist sort of thing," or in previous panels, Doobie's argued, "Oh, all these countries kick Jews out at certain points, X, Y, Z." I would argue that
Wait,
follows
what?
a little
Wait,
closer.
Doobie's never said all 109 countries kick Jews out one.
Yes,
Hold
you
on,
have.
I've
And
never
two,
done
and
that.
two,
Wait,
wait,
hold
wait,
on,
wait,
I
wait,
need
wait,
to
wait,
defend
and
this.
two,
I need to defend
and
this.
two.
Hold
What
on,
I
let Doobie.
Oh,
let
so
Doobie
he
handle
knows he
Let
said
Doobie-
it. Then that's
Let Doobie handle it. Go ahead,
Hold
Doobie.
on. To be clear, yeah, I've mentioned that before because it's a true thing that happened in history. I've never said it was a good thing. I think it's a bad thing for people to
That's
be
fair.
targeted for their ethnicity
But
or
you
their
did
religion.
say
or
it
whatever.
happened.
Yeah,
but hold
well,
on,
it did.
hold on,
It did happen as part of
mentioning
history. Hold on, just really
a
quick.
historical fact. That would
Yeah,
be-
But you
yeah,
can
it did
say
happen
a
as part of
historical
history.
fact
Really
that it
quick,
also be
really quick,
Nazi rhetoric,
please.
correct?
No, wait, hold on. Just really quick. Let me just finish what I'm saying.
Oh
It's just
my
not that hard of a
God.
So when
concept.
again, to be clear, I
you agree with
believe
this,
that
Factoid?
Israel is a genocidal
Yeah, exactly. Stay
ethno-state
silent.
run
I
by
didn't hear what you
Jewish
said.
run by Jewish supremacists. Again, a genocidal ethno-state. It just is. I can we can go down the details. And also, they for years now they've been enacting apartheid, right, on Palestinians in the West Bank and Gaza. I think this is bad. I think it's a bad thing to do, right? So you're saying that me using that's what I say. Now I've gone into detail about like I think I've had and to be clear, this I'm talking about like
also,
Israel.
I'm not accusing you of being a Nazi for the record.
That's fine. Hold on, I'm talking about Israel and like Zionism as like a political ideology, right? Like a nationalist political ideology. I do have criticism of Judaism that I made before. Like I think Judaism, because of this chosen people thing, I think that it does have like this like strains of like ethno supremacy built into it, and I think this expresses itself through like religious or traditional Jewish culture sometimes. So I've definitely a criticism of like Judaism, the religion, but my criticism is never about like Jews generally. Like I don't do this like generalization bigotry thing for any group.
And for my thing, when you're saying like Nazi rhetoric, I actually clearly say, I say pre-Holocaust rhetoric, as in I draw correlations between the type of scapegoating and like and narrative building that the Nazis were using to build like this fear of Jewish people to lead to something like the Holocaust. I see a direct correlation with the same thing that people do with Muslims and Islam in this country and in the UK. And I'm saying that we're using the same type of rhetoric, which is, I believe, is going to lead to at least a mass exodus of Muslims from the West, in the way that we talk about it. So yeah, like it's not so much that I'm calling people Nazis. I'm saying like this type of rhetoric is what led to Nazis. Is you have this group of people that you're othering completely. You're blaming them for things like mass rape of your children. Yeah, it's going to lead to huge problems.
Okay. All right. So, oh, sorry. Was Corey? Did you have your hand up at some point?
At some point, yes.
Go to Corey.
So
maybe 20 minutes ago. At some point.
That's okay. I'm not a super chat, so you know. Rewinding, going back. Okay. What occurred with Gibbs, I think, was super interesting. You know, I asked to one of my arguments of like the right will never hold themselves accountable. I asked an open-ended question to Gibbs of like any political violence from the right that you want to take on. He said nothing, and then I extended the exact same question to Lactoid.
No, I said
take
Gibbs, but you just didn't like it.
No. Okay, did you say anything?
Further, yeah, I said Timothy Veigh, and you're like, well, the last 20 years.
I said since Trump was elected. Okay, yeah, that is true. Okay, and then you said, well, I can't think of, or you know, gave like some obscure example. But then when I posed the question to Lactoid,
was excused. Okay, go ahead. Come on.
No. Okay, either way, I'll continue my point. But then I went to Lactoid, and then he brought up an example, and then you eventually took ownership of that. Okay, where the
this was a good example.
Why did we, exactly? So then answer my question, which I don't think you answered. Why did it take Lactoid bringing it to your attention for you to take ownership of it, or not you, but rather to actually bring it up that this is the right?
Sure, I'll tell you why. It's real simple. I mean, if I asked you to list like every example of leftist violence that ever happened, or I asked you to whatever, and then you listed or said, "Hey, leftist violence," and you said this one, right, that just happened, and then you're like, "Okay, cool." Or if I said like one of the biggest bombings in history, like Timothy Veigh, and then you further narrow it down to Trump, and I just don't have one off the top of my head on hand, you know, no, because I don't have that right this second. And then Lactoid brings it up, and I take ownership immediately of it afterwards. This is bad faith. He said it. I said, okay, yeah, it makes sense to me. Like, and you're sitting here going, oh, wait. Well, so why don't you?
Wait.
Because I'm sitting here like,
were you not aware of it at the time before I asked you the question? Like that was just not on your radar at all.
I mean, I'm sure I was aware of it. I'm sure it just wasn't in the front of my mind.
Oh, okay, all right.
I mean, if you recall how the panel started, Prime asked me two questions at the beginning. He goes, one about the link thing, and I go, oh yeah, what the fuck are you talking about? And I had to go back in there and go reread the chat. And then he goes, what about the other thing, the other topic? And I'm like, what the fuck are you? And I go, and like, if you're expecting me to have just everything at the front of my knowledge ready to go every second,
I don't think everything. I literally just asked an open-ended question. And so, okay.
I mean, anybody example, I claimed it. Like, what more do you want?
Okay. Fine. Well, I'll move on. And then, okay, maybe to my point about, you know, the right will never criticize themselves. What just occurred now, Lactoid, do you agree with that sentiment?
Well, so you're saying the right will never criticize themselves, and then you use me as an example of somebody who brought up a good example. Like,
no, no,
I'm on the right.
I mean, what occurred with Gibbs and Doobie.
I don't think Gibbs. Yeah, I think when you ask, like, put somebody on the spot and ask like a very specific question, they give an answer that's like outside of your time frame, and then you say, no, I want this within this time frame. Sometimes they can't think of an example right away. I was able to think of an example.
The interaction between Gibbs and Doobie that just took place there. What is your
But
stand?
the Israel thing?
Yeah.
Yeah, I don't agree with some of the extrapolations that Gibbs is making with Israel.
Oh, okay.
I do think that you can criticize Islam, and I also think you can criticize Judaism. I think when it comes to Jewish people, it's a little bit like you got to be a little bit more careful because Jewish is also designating an ethnic group as well as a religion, as well as a religious ideology.
But if you say
I'm not
things-
done.
Wait.
And so-
would you agree? Would you agree though that quoting?
Is a
Would you
threat
agree
to the
that
West,
quoting a literal,
and so on and so
literal
forth.
King Nazi,
This is
like
bad,
verbatim
right?
almost, is
This
a
is
Nazi? Hold
criticism
on.
of
Would you
Islam,
agree
right?
that King
Or
Nazi,
King
Judaism,
Nazi.
right?
big dick Nazi God over here,
Yeah,
Hitler?
okay,
Would you
like it.
agree that if he says something, that would be Nazi rhetoric?
Okay.
Not all. I'm
Well,
not,
not always.
not
Maybe when he's not,
necessarily.
yeah, I'm sure that when he's saying talking to Ava Braun, how much he wants to
Yeah.
fuck her while he's on heroin.
Yeah.
it's
That was
Nazi
not
rhetoric.
Nazi
But
rhetoric.
like,
Yeah.
when he's over here talking about the insidious Jewish international plot.
Wait.
that
Yeah,
does
that's
not-
pretty Nazi.
Oh,
That's pretty
yeah,
Nazi.
Yeah, come on.
But-
When did anyone use that within this panel? We never use that language.
We talk about
correct?
the Zionist plot to sit here and keep up the national Jewish ethno state. That is exactly the same sort of
It's
language.
literally what
It's
it is.
literal
As-
verbatim to what Hitler said.
That's not verbatim. Wait,
It's
you don't know
not.
what the word verbatim is, okay? You
I
don't
mean,
know
I
what that
can find
means.
more quotes
Right,
about
you
that
literally
say the
keep
exact
saying,
same
This
thing.
is verbatim.
Yeah,
and then
verbatim means word
and then
for word,
you
and I
follow
said
that
it,
up
it's
with a
word for
different
word.
thing. You say phrase A and then phrase B, and they don't
And they're-
match.
they're
right?
identical.
So they're not verbatim.
They are
Let's stop
identical.
that, right? Let's
They're
knock that
identical.
shit off.
I mean,
right?
I understand you're
yeah,
confused
yeah,
on what
it's not-
identical
hold on.
is.
Yeah, okay. So yeah, you don't understand what verbatim is. You don't get it, right? You're like vague sentence A, right? And vague sentence B. They're different, right? But they're verbatim. Okay, all right. So we established that part. And talking about Zionism was just a political ideology, and criticizing that, right, isn't criticizing Jewish people, right? We have Jewish brothers and sisters on the front lines against Zionism. And once again, like Doobie said, right, you're criticizing this political ideology with Judaism itself, right, which is extremely anti-Semitic. And again, I'm offended, guys. I gotta put it out there. I gotta register my offense. My offense is anti-Semitic behavior. That's happening right here on my stream. Hey, if Twitch officials are watching this, I want to say I condemn that rhetoric. I condemn that anti-Semitism, right? Because I can understand that my Jewish brothers and sisters, right, around the globe are whole individual people, right, who don't all have a group think, right? I don't follow all one ideology. That would be extremely anti-Semitic, and I don't do that, right? But unfortunately, a panelist here went a little too far. And the Prime Kai channel wants to apologize for that. Sorry.
Wait.
Moving on.
Lactoid. So it's not a criticism, right? Like if someone's saying things like the Islam's not compatible in the West, Islam is being used to slit the throat of America. We need a full moratorium. Islam is taking over the West. We must stand against the united growth of Islam. These aren't criticisms of the religion. This is a narrative painting of the religion and therefore of the people that are of that
not
religion.
necessarily. No, not necessarily.
Right? Islam is taking over the West isn't saying Muslims are taking over the West.
It is a very. I agree. It's a very harsh criticism of an ideology.
What's the criticism?
That the criticism is that this ideology has components of it that are antithetical to like their idea of the West, right? And the best example of this, I guess they're going to point to Islam's effect in like Western European countries and how like Islam has influenced like politics there, how Islam has influenced certain criminal behavior there, right? Like they're going to point in that and say, hey, look, like this is we don't want this. We don't want this ideology like propagating and coming into America.
When you say something is taking over the West, that is an aggressive lange. That isn't charging language.
I mean, again, it's aggressive, but it is towards like it is very specifically like toward. Yes, it's aggressive language. I think it's very specifically towards a ideology that I've got plenty of criticisms of.
When people say fascism is taking over in America,
well, you can criticize actual fascists. That's fine. The problem is like if you make the unfair link between people who are not fascists and fascists, just like, by the way,
Just
I
like
think it was
Islam
unfair.
isn't taking over
Just
the West
like,
and we're taking,
just
yeah.
like, by the way, it was unfair when people made the inherent connection between Arabs and Muslims, because not all Arabs are Muslims.
But most of them are.
Wow.
But sure,
And-
most of them, but not all of them.
But still, the implication is that Muslims are taking over the West, and so therefore we need to that builds what type of narrative against Muslims? What's
Islam?
Exactly. Like
They're
this
using
is,
the term Islam.
Yeah, and who follows Islam? Muslims.
This is what Christopher Hitchens was talking about. This is
How do
Richard
you stop
Dawkins has
Islam from
talked about
taking
this.
over? You
There have
stop
been
Muslims.
there have been
Yeah.
this is a
Yeah,
there's a
cool.
there's large
This
like
is
there's a
so
large
dishonest,
there's
brother.
no
This is
there's a
very
large
dishonest, brother.
This is
there's a
like
large
exactly-
academic
this,
there's a large academic base that is heavily critical of Islam.
Non-fun. You got to push
and-
it sometimes.
And that's
Just
fine.
do it.
You gotta establish
This is like
dominance
exactly-
of the lactoid.
This is like exactly the same thing that like Gitz was talking about earlier, where it's like, oh, these people like say everything up to like the most like extreme thing and like try to get away with it or whatever. Like Charlie Kirk like is the type of person that is gonna like say all these like insane things about Muslims because he does believe like America is a white country and should remain majority white, but because he says Muslim.
Christian.
Even though, yeah, like Christian, yeah, it's like we can retreat to like, actually, he just has like the same issues as like Sam Harris. I don't think that's true. I'm pretty sure Charlie Kirk, even if he doesn't express
I think
the
it's
most
true.
extreme outward examples of it, like probably does sincerely believe. I'm
Hey,
sure
wait,
we can
just
find
real
clips of
quick,
him saying at the
Black
very
man,
least
who's-
America
who-
should remain a white majority nation, and we should.
Who's the Charlie Kirk on the left? Just real quick.
The Charlie Kirk on the left,
Yeah.
Corey.
Rachel Maddow.
Who?
Rachel Maddow.
MSNBC.
All
That's
right,
the example I
so
can think of.
you're
What are
going to be
you talking
completely
about?
dishonest with your rhetoric today. I get it. I see it.
You asked me a question and I answered it directly. Like I'm
Yeah, you
answering
lied.
questions.
I think you lied.
Okay,
you
you
lied.
can. I did not lie. I'm telling you
Rachel
that's my
Maddow.
opinion. How do you lie about an
the fuck
opinion?
is-
First of
who the
all,
fuck is
What's the
Rachel
kid that
Maddow?
was smashing all the
Rachel Maddow is a
think the
MSNBC
worst
political
fucking
commentator.
What was
And
the man war guy? That's
she's
who
the
Charlie Kirk
alternative
is.
to Charlie Kirk.
Yeah,
Yeah. Okay.
Whoever
Let's-
that man war
let's-
kid is. That's the
let's-
that's
she's
the-
like pretty aggressive,
Corey.
but like she's not like
No
beyond
one
like
knows
the,
her.
the,
She had no
the
fucking,
scope
she
of the
had no
mainstream.
fucking reach. No ability.
Nobody
No one
knows
who the
Rachel
fuck-
Maddow.
Yeah, no
Harry Scissor,
who the
that's what's
fuck-
the
who
Harry
fuck is
Scissors.
listening to Rachel Maddow.
Sisson.
More
I believe.
people,
He's
more
radicalized
people.
by
I bet you more
Maddow.
people know about Rachel
I thought
Maddow
you were at least
than
gonna
fucking
say
Destiny.
I thought you were at
In
least
prime
gonna say
time.
Destiny.
Let's go.
No.
Let's go.
No,
to,
Nick Fuentes is closer. Like he's like the right wing version of like Nick Fuentes or of Destiny. Maybe like Sam.
Who the
Hyde,
fuck's the
like-
right wing version of Hassan or
Oh my,
Haz
I don't
or
know
fucking
how far-
Hinkle?
We'll take us go. We'll take
Is
us- let's
Hinkle
go to
really?
our
I don't even know
Corey.
what fucking Hinkle is.
Communist.
Kind of.
Corey.
American Communist Party. What do you
Guys,
okay.
if you're not half Chinese,
Alright.
like then don't talk. Corey.
I appreciate.
I mean, I'm
that.
technically
I will.
Asian.
Okay.
That might have been offensive. Okay, maybe now someone can take Richard's offense.
I'm
Literally
definitely-
Middle Eastern. I claim Asian.
I'm not going to touch that. So, Lactoid. So I have a question for you. You know, in my vein of like calling out the right, or like can the right hold itself accountable? I'm curious. Maybe a little bit of an experiment. So, about a month ago, I believe, approximately, someone on the panel, okay, I think it was Grid One. They said that America is not a democracy; it's a republic. I believe you're a lawyer. Do you agree with that? Would you sign off on that?
It's technically true that we're a republic, sure.
Okay, but it's not a democracy. As in, you sign off on the whole thing. You, as a lawyer, you would put yourself on the line. I want you to say it. Say it.
It depends.
No,
It
no, no.
depends on what you mean by democracy. Like this is a semantic game that I
say
did.
it.
I did not engage in that discussion for a very
Why
good
not?
reason.
Why not?
Because it's a semantic game. Like, what do you mean by democracy? What do you mean by republic? Technically, we are a republic. We also have
Okay,
democracy.
Okay. So
sort of,
so is that? Do you
but
think
not-
that is? Would you say that is a true statement? Would you sign off on it? Would you actually own it yourself?
Yeah, sure. It's technically true.
Okay. So
okay.
I want you. I
But
want
like
you to sign off-
colloquially, I would
No,
also
no.
call us a
I
democracy.
want you to sign off on it then. If you think it's true, would you actually truly you would put your name
Bruh.
behind it as a lawyer?
It's like a
Bruh.
constitutional.
Yeah,
with-
bruh.
with
But as a
democracy
lawyer,
pivots.
you would put your name on it.
Yeah, I'm gonna give you the answer that I just said. Technically, we
No,
are a
Put your name on it.
bro. Calm your tits.
I'm not.
Calm. Your tits are flapping. They're all over the place. They're smacking you in the face. You gotta calm them down.
You want to go down this road?
Calm down the tits.
Right, Lactoid.
Calm down the tits.
Being calm is
Calm
Put
the
on
tits.
You want
Put
to
on-
The
put on a
tits.
bra,
The tits. They're
okay?
flapping.
I will
You gotta
gladly take
bra
my
them.
shirt off. I'll gladly take my shirt off. You want to go?
You
down
gotta
that
get the
road?
brassiere.
Yeah,
You gotta lock him down.
Let's see who
Flex
needs the
on him,
brassiere. You want to
Corey.
go right now? You want to go?
Are you challenging me to a fight? What the fuck's going on?
Please take your shirt off.
So
So stop interrupting me. Stop interrupting me, and let me actually give you an answer.
Let him respond.
Let me give you an answer. Okay. On the most technical sense, we are a republic, not like a pure democracy. Colloquially, I would say that we're a democracy and that we're a republic.
Okay,
It's
so
not.
then-
It's not a position that I argue.
Okay, so you don't agree with that assessment. Do you agree or disagree with that assessment?
Technically, it's true, but
Okay,
like
so, so then sign off on it. Put your name behind it. Be a man. Be a man.
What do you
Put
mean?
your
Put my
name
name
on the
behind
bitch.
it.
What
are you talking about?
Okay.
Wait,
I
Are you
answered.
arguing that it can't be? Hold on. Are
Here's
you
my
arguing it
point.
can't
What's-
be?
give me your
a
point.
Bail him out,
with
Gibbs. Do not bail
democracy
him out.
aspects?
Give me your point.
My point is, okay, what is your name, Lactoid?
Lactoid.
No. What is your name? Because everyone knows my name. What is your name?
Lactoid.
He called
Yeah,
you
yeah,
a bitch.
exactly. You are a coward. I want you to
Because
sign
I'm not
off.
doxing myself.
He
Yes,
called you
yes.
a bitch.
Yeah,
My
exactly.
name is Gibbs.
Wait. Why you're not giving your name? Why you're not giving your name? Tell me why. Give me the
Because
reason.
Charlie Kirk was just shot. That's when I tried out me.
So you are afraid, right? Tell me. Can you say that you are afraid?
I'm afraid of like left wing hacks. Yeah.
Okay, so you are a coward, right?
I don't
Because
think
you
being
are-
afraid of death makes you a coward necessarily.
So why can I give my name? So then would you say that I have more courage than you in this context?
Well, you're the left wing. You people
No.
are being
I will.
killed.
I will gladly criticize the left wing. I will gladly say that anyone who seriously
but
wants
you're
to
on
respond
the
is a
left.
moron. Okay, I will gladly say that.
Oh wow, you called them a moron. I'm sure they're gonna come after you for that.
Yeah. So what is your name? Will you sign off on it?
I'm not gonna say.
Yeah,
I'm not gonna
exactly.
dox myself.
And also, I'll
What's gotten into you?
I don't even have guns. Okay, Lactoid has guns.
He's
That's the
got-
point. Is I'm
Ollie, what the? This is insanity,
No,
Ollie. What are
this
you?
is-
How
this
you
is not
cannot sign
insane.
off on this?
This is not
is-
insane
on
because
what?
you
I'm just
you
watching
treat
Corey
politics like a
spaz.
game. Okay, you are literally probably using your gamer tag in this political arena.
That's
I'm
true.
not
That's
using
true.
my actual name.
I'm actually using my gamer tag.
Yeah, exactly my point. You will not
But it's right.
you will not criticize Grid One. You will not call him out for his BS because you will not sign off. You will not put
You
your
were
name
arguing
in
with
what he
him.
said.
I
Pardon
just
me?
said I just said he's technically accurate, but like
Okay, so
colloquially,
then-
I don't think
so
it's
then-
important. I think it's
so
important to
then
argue
say-
about.
Say
What do you believe
your
is
name.
right?
I'm
as a
not putting my
lawyer.
actual
Exactly.
name.
So, because you're a coward.
I, Justin
Wow.
Gibbs,
Bite
think
that
that
bullet.
Grid One
Bite that bullet.
said it correctly.
I don't think it makes me a
It was
coward.
Yeah, you're
constitutional
absolutely a
republic
coward.
with democracy, like fundamental aspects to it. There you go. How's that? I said
Okay.
my full name and we did the
So-
thing. What is that gonna? Does that make you feel better? Like,
You want to give me
All
your
right.
name, Gibbs?
yeah, I just said it. I, Justin Gibbs, believe that the United States,
Your name
based
is
off all my
Justin?
knowledge, Justin's
Yeah.
first name. It's already public. It is a
That's-
Corey, can you stop being
constitutional
toxically
republic.
masculine?
Hispanic
Corey,
Constitutional
thing I've
republic
heard.
with
You don't know anything
that
about
was
being
adopted.
masculine.
There's adopted
you're being
aspects to it.
toxically masculine right now,
You're
Corey. I
literally
want
too afraid.
you
You're
gotta
too afraid.
tone down the
That's
toxic
the point. That's the
masculinity.
point. Because Lactoid
It's toxic.
is
No, it's
using a
fundamental.
pseudonym because he didn't want to be held accountable for anything that he says.
I don't want to get shot.
So okay.
And I'm willing to put my
Hi,
neck
James
out.
Harden.
I'm
like
not
to
so
ask.
tough that I can't deflect bullets.
Exactly. You're not so tough.
We got
You're not so tough.
to move on from this.
Getting,
one.
yes, I don't care how many push-ups you do, Corey. You can't deflect bullets.
We gotta. I don't know.
I can definitely deflect
Have you
bullets.
seen his pecs?
I haven't.
Yeah, I haven't either. But like, I'm assuming they're pretty good. But,
I was trying to,
But
but you guys
anyway,
wouldn't help me with
hold
it,
on.
getting him to take his shirt off.
so hey, don't worry. Right, I got Corey. I got you. Right. So
Corey, take your shirt.
what I've just done is I've Googled the most common Canadian names. So Lactoid's name from here on out is Theodore Fournier. Fournier. I'm not sure how to pronounce this.
That is an insane common name.
Fournier. Theodore Fournier. So Theodore here, right, is being a coward.
Theodore.
Put his name.
You give
Hold
Theodore.
on. Theodore Fournier. That's his name, right? It's always been his name. He's just been too afraid I
Don't wear
doxed
it
them.
out.
Wait, Corey, are you brave, Corey? Are you you said you're
I'm
a
more
little
brave
masculine,
than
right?
you. Absolutely.
Yeah. Can you
Theodore
please say
Corey
your
Brown?
social insurance number since you're so brave and your address?
Wait, do you
Do they
think?
have
Okay,
social security
we-
numbers?
we
Is
could
this a
go down.
game to you?
No,
No,
yeah,
You
yeah,
got to
we-
give your
we can
social
go
insurance
down.
number
We
and
can
your
go down.
address.
Well, wait, do you think the person that goes up on stage on a mask, the person that goes up on stage, and the person that's petrified to go on stage, those all represent the amount of fear?
I don't have a mask. You're just asking me to
Yeah,
provide a
but-
little bit more
but wait,
information.
wait,
I'm
you
asking
agree,
you now to provide a
agree,
little bit more
you
information.
agree,
What's
you
your
agree.
social
No,
insurance number?
Let's go
And
one
address.
to one. Let's go one
Address.
to one.
Address.
Let's go one to one. Let's go one to one.
What's your address?
Let's-
What's your
let's go-
address?
I'll even give my postal code.
Oh my God.
I'll even say
What?
there's enough
Let me
information. There's enough information on my
Let's
social media.
Let's
You
just dox
you
ourselves
can
completely.
Let's
locate
dox
me.
ourselves?
You can locate me within about half a square mile. Okay.
I don't want your actual fucking address.
Well, exactly,
What's gotten
'cause
into you?
I'm pointing out that
This is the
you-
weirdest point you've ever made.
No.
It's hypocrisy.
Because you don't
I
actually
think.
get it. Okay.
It's not. It's hypocrisy because I'm not doxing
The
myself.
point- The
Ali.
point. Wait, I
Because
just
no,
asked- I
wait.
just-
I'll explain after. At least what I think I'm.
Oh, wait, you can go ahead and explain now. Nothing
Well, okay,
actually
I
like
think-
relevant
I
being
think-
said.
Okay, can I just ask you a quick, Corey? Do you think that the United States is a congressional republic
Oh
with
my
a
God.
democracy aspects?
think-
Yes or no?
Gibbs, real quick. I think Corey asked Lactoid about a stance that he knows that you probably more or less agree with, right? And he's asking
It's
if
not
you're
a
willing to
controversial
stand-
stance.
Wait, well, you're not willing to stand by it, even with your online moniker, right? Even with your moniker, you're giving qualifiers and being like, well, technically this and all Corey's asking is
I'm
like,
giving
hey,
a nuanced answer.
I know. Well, he's asking you for a less nuanced answer, right? As in,
Well,
like,
you just-
Sometimes
Direct
answers are nuanced.
Well, I mean,
When
to
did
be
when did
fair-
you start? Did
wait,
you stop
wait.
beating your wife, Ali?
No. Huh?
Did you stop beating your wife?
Recently, yeah, she got tired of it.
Yes or no? Did you stop
I
beating
said
your wife?
recently,
Okay.
yes, she got tired of it.
Okay.
She
Well,
asked nicely.
nice
and she has
meme,
stopped doing
but
it.
you understand the point of my question.
I mean,
Sometimes questions are more than
understand
yes
the
or
point
no.
of your question, but that's not what he asked you, right?
Did you
He
stop
asked you for-
fucking dogs?
He asked, huh? I mean, not so long ago, right? It's still a hobby. Anyways, so yeah, like when he's at you know that it's a fairly simple like question to answer. Like, do you stand by the fact that we're not a democracy and
With
we
my
are
real
not-
name.
No, well, no, he asked you beginning just to see if you'd stand by it, and then as he's pushed you further and further and further to test the fact that you were
I will
less willing
stand by
to stand
everything
by your
I say
points.
with my own name.
Yeah. To be fair,
So,
he went kind of hard.
this
Hold on,
is-
I think was
no,
a
this
test.
is, like, unhinged.
Wait,
Real quick.
this was a test. This was a test to see how willing you are to stand by your principles, considering that he's willing to stand by his
Wait,
principles with
this
Do
his
is-
y'all
yeah,
do y'all just wait? Can I just ask you a
Very
question?
bad point.
Wait, real
Very
quick.
weak
Do
point.
y'all disagree?
Guys,
Do
guys,
you
we're
do
past
y'all
this.
Yes, let
do
me
y'all
just finish the
disagree?
fucking point. So,
Well, do y'all
you weren't
disagree
even
that
willing
it's
to stand by
constitutional?
the
Very
principle
weak.
that
Very weak
Sorry,
point.
I want
This-
to get past. Sorry, I want to
I-
get sorry. I want to get past this point. I don't sorry.
No, nobody
fine,
rational is
it's
going to
fine.
look at that
Let's-
and
That's
think there's some
fine.
expectation of me to dox
everyone,
myself.
once
Everyone,
again,
insane.
that wasn't the point.
everyone
But yeah.
means everyone. If you're a person, shut up. If not, then I'm gonna oppress you, right? If you're not a person, talk. Then so I can oppress you. You're not a person. Okay, great. I want to move past this point. Okay, all right. This has been
What
a hard
point?
tangent. I don't know anymore. I honestly don't know.
Wait,
It's
I'm just
been a hard
confused. Is that
tangent,
not what the U.S.
right?
is?
Oh my
it's a
god.
democratic republic. It's a democratic republic. We all know.
So
this is a
it,
No,
but,
it's
so,
not a
okay,
democracy,
cool. Then we
Brian.
agree. It is a
It's-
constitutional republic with democratic thing leading. So it could be a democratic republic, constitutional republic.
The
Those
question
are
wasn't
It
That's
does that
truly you,
statement. Hold on,
Gibbsy.
sorry.
you
The
just said
statement,
it's not a democracy.
We're a Republican, not a democracy. It's a nonsense statement. It's a nonsense statement. We're obviously a democratic republic.
Lactoid will
right?
never
We
call it
use
out because he's a coward.
democracy to power the republic.
I'm not going to
Right?
call it whether it's a republic
what
or a
else would you
democracy.
do with it? Yeah, like it's amazing. So,
Clearly the most controversial issue of our time.
we will.
Well,
move
if it's not
past it.
controversial,
We will
then
move
endorse
past
it.
Prime, are
We'll
you a
move past
coward?
it. Hey,
You don't put your real name
everyone-
out there.
Everyone, shut up. No more. We're done with it. Thank you. I'd like to get back to the topic. Jubilee's bored. Okay, look at him. Look at his face.
Look,
He's bored. I don't like it.
Well, because he's a
Bothers me.
coward. He's a bored coward, Prime. That's
Okay.
why.
He's the bravest frog you've ever known. So,
In fact, there's only two
Well, hold
real
on.
men on
Okay,
this whole
I-
panel.
I want.
Right.
I don't want to. No, don't. You're not going to bring this up, please. You're not gonna start. It has nothing to do with democracy.
Okay, I'm gonna bring in something else then. Have you guys? Did you guys condemn the attack in Kyle Rittenhouse?
I'm talking. Sorry.
And
hold on,
who,
I'm talking
when do you get
not
attacked?
fun. Not fun. Do
Sure.
you want to say something?
Yeah.
That has nothing to do with that?
Okay, Jared Coffin would love to ask Theodore a question.
Wow,
okay,
three
because
real men.
he is, fearful that the
I'd say
Ukrainian
my real name, but
regime.
people can't pronounce it.
All right. The, the Ukrainian regime is gonna come after him. Do you think Donald Trump has done anything meaningful after this attack to like try to tone down his rhetoric?
I'm going to read the last point of my intro. The Civil War rhetoric is dumb. Trump also needs to calm down the shit he says. The right said a lot of bad shit. Stay peaceful and destroy these losers with ideas. No vengeance.
Okay, so just to be clear, like you don't think Trump has actually done. You think Trump needs to tone down his shit too?
Yeah.
Do you think that it's more meaningful that Trump,
Let me read it again,
is president, and Trump, who probably has a unique amount of control over his base compared to any other politician, I think, is being this sort of reckless, I guess would be the word, versus like people on blue sky?
I think that given that in my intro, I very specifically called out Trump, I'm not going to say that just because Trump holds the presidency, that this means he represents some kind of like significant cultural zeitgeist that isn't represented on like millions of people. I'm just going to say millions of people on the left who are celebrating Charlie Kirk's death. I think that this particular shooting, I don't like Trump's reaction. I really liked his reaction when the Democrats in Minnesota got shot, and he condemned it right away. And no right-wingers, at least to my knowledge, it definitely wasn't a widespread thing. Maybe you can find a couple, okay? But it was not a widespread thing where the right wing was not celebrating this death. I think that when you have like a fuck ton of like the left celebrating this death, like this is, I think, what is pissing the right off a lot. And is it good that they're getting pissed off? Is it good that this kind of rhetoric is developing? No, it's not. And that's why I took the time to add it into my intro that it's not good.
Are these the same deaths, do you think?
Now I was asked a question, right? It's asked Lactoid Hour, that's fine. Tell me, which Democrat politician condemned Rosenbaum for attacking Kyle Rittenhouse?
I don't think first of all, that wasn't like a politically motivated
it's not
attack.
It wasn't.
Was it really?
The
It was
BLM,
like
the Kenosha BLM riot that had been stoked, by racial misinformation about the left-wing media for decades.
Maxine Waters specifically.
And so hold on. So you have this left-wing misinformation-inspired riot, okay? And when the riot gets out of control and a minor is attacked by a lunatic, did any Democrat politician condemn Rosenbaum attacking Kyle Rittenhouse?
No.
Or did they shit on Rittenhouse?
I'm sure there were technically
Fine.
some, but there was a disagreement.
Find me one. Did Biden do it as the president? Did Biden do it?
No, Biden didn't, because there was a disagreement over the facts of what actually happened there, right? And the people who attacked Rittenhouse, were they just did they actually have a politically like motivated reason to go after Rittenhouse, or were they just looters who wanted to get out whatever car dealership?
I mean, so they were specifically like, at least Rosenbaum was not like in the middle of looting something and like Rittenhouse was stopping him. He specifically was chasing down Rittenhouse because he first of all, yes, he was very aggressive, and there's videos of him like yelling at Rittenhouse earlier in the day. Now, 3/4 of following the trial, following the evidence in which it was crystal clear that Rittenhouse was attacked by this psycho, that was taking place during a riot that had happened because of left-wing misinformation about race and crime and about police interactions with black people, okay? And 3/4 of Democrats thought that Kyle Rittenhouse should have been convicted. 3/4 for defending himself against an attacker, and they didn't condemn the attacker.
Do you think the perception that Kyle Rittenhouse was guilty is more defendable than the perception that the 2020 election was stolen, or the perception that the January 6th was an inside job, or the perception about any number of attacks by right-wingers was an inside job or a false flag by Israel, or any of this shit that you see on the right?
Yes, I think the misinformation, and this is the point that I brought in my intro that I was going to talk about. I think the misinformation has been about specifically like police interactions with black people is like particularly virulent and has caused a tremendous amount of destruction. One of the main inspirations for the BLM riots back in 2020 that caused over $2 billion worth of damage, that killed 25 people, right? One of the main causes of this was this belief that's been pushing the American people that unarmed black men are being hunted by the police. And when unarmed black men are being hunted by the police, this can justify violence, right? There was a study done. according to the far left of Americans, they believe
Mhm.
tens of thousands of unarmed black men are being killed by the police every year. According to left-wing Americans, they think thousands of unarmed black men are being killed by the police every year. Even among conservatives, they think hundreds of unarmed black men are being killed by the police every year. The real number in 2019, which is when the study was done, between 19 and 27, depending on how you measure it. So the entire country is under this mass delusion, okay, that unarmed black Americans are being hunted by the police, and this is what caused the BLM riots. And it was during these BLM riots that caused billions of dollars worth of damage, that caused dozens of deaths, and that when Kyle Rittenhouse was attacked by people who are participating in this riot, and did politicians come out and condemn Rosenbaum, this guy who, by the way, since the trial, we learned he was a voracious pedophile who had been released on just horrible person on many different grounds. But no, they don't condemn him. There's no official statements coming out about how Kyle Rittenhouse was the victim of an attack from this mob of actual criminals. No, they condemned Rittenhouse. 3/4 of Democrats were saying Rittenhouse should have gone to prison. Even the lieutenant governor in my state condemned the result of the trial as being wrong and unfair. When if anybody who followed the trial, it was absolutely clear that Kyle Rittenhouse was innocent and that he was defending himself against horrible, violent criminals.
Americans do overestimate anything that's just commonly in the news cycle. Americans vastly overestimate the amount of money that goes to foreign aid simply because things like the aid we give to Ukraine and Israel are in the news cycle constantly. I think the reason Americans were overestimating the number of unarmed black people killed every year, which I do agree the left bears some responsibility for perpetuating some of that stuff. It's just because broadly that was the thing that was in the news cycle during the 2020s, during the summer of love. Obviously, Americans are stupid. Okay. But I don't think
the politicians condemn it.
I don't think holistically I would say the politicians on the left condemned, for example, the belief that more unarmed black Americans were killed.
No. Sorry. After the trial, why didn't Biden come out after the trial and say I accept the decision, I condemn the attack on Kyle Rittenhouse, he defended himself. That was the evidence.
Biden had a disagreement with the facts of the case. Or Biden didn't feel a need to comment on it because he knew his base.
He disagreed how?
Probably because we don't want to endorse underage kids going across the state lines with guns to defend property that isn't theirs. Probably because we don't want to endorse that type of action that leads.
I think you're spreading misinformation.
Themselves, quote unquote. What's the
misinformation? I don't want to do a whole count.
Okay. So when I want to bring up the specific, hold on. This is the point. This is what the current mainstream kind of DGG talking point has been, okay? You can't blame us streamers. Look at the president. The president does the bad thing. We can do anything we want because president didn't do the thing that we want the president to do. Okay, what about this very specific example in which the facts are absolutely on my side on this and how Kyle Rittenhouse is absolutely innocent, and anybody who actually paid attention and looked at that trial, anybody who actually looks at the evidence knows that he was unjustly attacked, and the Democrats, both at the establishment level and the 3/4 of the actual Democrat population, shit on Kyle Rittenhouse for that and continue to do that.
Sorry, let's ask. Hey, does anyone agree with DGG?
Non-Fawn was definitely making those points multiple times during this discussion.
About what?
About why are you condemning the streamers? Look at the president.
No. So I think I don't know if that's holistically agreeing with DGG. The point is, I think it's probably more relevant. I think it's probably more condemnatory when someone that you voted for, someone who is president of the United States, and someone who I do think has a unique ability to control his base, unlike comparable to even most other politicians, is not doing anything significant to lower the temperature. Meanwhile, the issues that we complain about on the other side, although actually it is, in fairness, bringing up politicians with Rittenhouse, are mostly people who are unelected leftist on blue sky.
I'm bringing up Biden. I'm bringing up my governor. I'm bringing up any governor.
Biden should have been in jail. I know, we agree. But
I disagree with that, by the way. I don't want Biden to get arrested. Okay, just to be clear.
Okay. Then you're not going far enough, right? Let the hate flow. Biden should be in jail. We should put him in the hate.
This is the right wing being more conciliatory than the left is, Non-Fawn, by the way.
Yeah.
I'm saying Biden should not go to prison. The left is saying that Biden should go to prison.
It's not because you're conciliatory that you're scared.
And I want his roommate to be Donald Trump. So once again, right, the guy on the left, right, is consistent, right?
Correct me if I'm wrong, Prime.
And so should President Biden, right? There's room for all. There's room for a lot more American presidents, right? How many American presidents fit in the Hague? I'd love to find out. Actually,
right, Prime. You want basically every U.S. president who participated in the war on terror to be in prison,
Based
right?
and
That's the motivation.
Yes, hold on. Should President Bush have gone to the Hague? Absolutely, 100%. He like our friend Lactoid said. Now, I'm not sure necessarily if this is quote unquote fascist. I'm not sure if I would attach that label to it. I could be convinced, right? But at the very least, Lactoid was right when he lied us into wars, right? That killed over 1 million people, displaced, destabilized the
Yeah,
whole
Iraq was pretty
None of
fucked up.
those-
Yeah.
lied about the WMDs, right?
Caused this
He lied
invasion of
not
Islam
only
to the
American
West.
people, but also to the United Nations. Yeah, actually,
think- I
that
think you'd have
motherfucker
to-
should be in the Hague.
I think
Absolutely.
you'd have to be
100%.
more specific with what actual war crimes he committed for him to actually go to the Hague. But I mean, I understand the point. I just think
The
that's
Muslim
a-
invasion
So there's
started
the
with
fact
him,
that the Hague-
right?
There's also
The
not brought
invasion
the fact that
of
the
Muslims
Hague is a
started
bitch.
with the bombing in Iraq, right?
the what did?
The invasion of Muslims, right? Like the influx of refugees probably started with the bombing
Oh.
attacks that we had in like Iraq and Afghanistan. We bring a lot of refugees over here, and then we complain about this. Technically, like George Bush is the reason we should be
Well,
yelling
hold
at
on,
him.
hold on. First of all, a large
Muslim
influx of refugees
refugees.
came from the Kurds after Saddam Hussein was, gassing them for a while, and they became our translators, and we used them in the war. So yeah, I would say it's a little more nuanced than that. But also, the Hague is a bitch, so there's why.
Bro.
Here, to you, non-fan, right? Just type this in. Didn't do any research, right? So if it's incorrect, I apologize. Hey, prompt to Google Gemini: starting a war under false pretenses a war crime. Starting a war under false pretenses can constitute the crime of aggression, which is a serious violation of international law. Though the act itself is typically called a war crime.
I don't
but
think
rather
that's
crime
a-
against peace.
I could be wrong. I don't know if that's sort of individually prosecutable, like at the ICC. Like the cases that the ICJ and
can-
ICC have tried before are all like people from Yugoslavia who have like they themselves individually like ordered the massacres of people, not like the head of state who has like kind of broadly supported a war.
And they rarely prosecute anyone of any actual power, right? We pick on the African states and one time a European state. But we don't. The generally international law is used against the weaker ones, the weaker nations,
Why
rather
is
than
that?
anyone else. Yeah, whatever.
Why is that?
We understand this about how that works. But let's move back. I would really like to move back to the topic at hand. And okay, so I want to apologize to Lacta because I don't want to. I see you were trying to make a larger point. Previously, it's not like you're. Okay, just I know you're trying to make a larger point. But there are other things I want to get to. First of all, hey guys, if you want to us to react to any of your comments, if you have something you want to say, want the like you disagree with the panel is saying, or agree, or whatever, got something, consider using a super chat, right? YouTube.com/PrimeKai. Give us a super chat. We'll throw your super chat on screen and we will react to it. So consider supporting the channel that way. Sub to the channel, give bits or give subs. If you're on YouTube or sorry, Twitch, all the time. Can never get these right after years. But on Twitch, subscribe. Get bits or give subs. If you want to help us that way on YouTube, super chats are a great way to support the channel. So shout out to anyone who does. Okay, so but back to it. So I wanted to do this a long time ago, but we didn't really. We're all over the place. Okay. I'm not even sure which one I should do first. Let's start with the trans ideology comment that Gibbs made all the way back in his opening statement. Well, before I start throwing accusations, which you know I love to do, Gibbs. Before I do that, I'd like you to expand on what you meant by that.
Actually, that's a really good point here. So when I brought up, so this is the reason I brought that up is because I just did a panel on Saturday, and one of the people was one was a big DGG guy. I don't remember. I think it was Dan was his name or something. He's like works with I can't remember the other guy, Hangman maybe. I don't know. The other guy though, his name is Joey Atkins. He's a lawyer and senatorial candidate for the Democratic Party in Florida. Okay. And so we were arguing about policy, and I brought up like the transgender athletes in sports, right? And this is a policy that some people have pushed on the left, like from the high level. I brought up also the crime thing, and like Badani wanting to push like no crime, whatever. California had under $1,100. It's going to increase crime. Well, if you don't prosecute for that, it's going to lower crime. All these things. So I brought up Democratic policy, and then when I brought this up, and those are like Doobie said. factually true statements. Right? I can make a correlation. Yes, these are the policies people on the left have pushed. And then when I said that, he goes, "Oh, that's dishonest and inflammatory phrasing," which I find interesting because in that case, a person who's actually a member of the Democratic Party and running for senatorial office is saying that is incendiary language when we're basically describing a factual policy they have that I can link to the party, which is interesting because in this panel we have had today, we have, and I don't want to go too far back into this, I had direct quotes from Hitler, right? And those were Nazi quotes from King Big Dick Hitler, right? Of the Nazi party, right? And we got over there, and those were factually true statements. So which is it if you're on the left? Is it that some things can be factually true and incendiary, or is it, is it? I'm real confused here. Like, help me out with the double backflip logic you got going on.
I'm sorry, I don't understand the question.
Well, okay, so why is it in one case it's incendiary and not evil rhetoric, and then in the other case, oh well, it's fine because it's true, even though they're both essentially the same thing. Y'all can either pick A, it's factually true and Nazi rhetoric for the one, or it's B, the trans thing, like in sports, is a factually true statement and not incendiary.
Sorry.
It's both.
The statement that you were making within your opening statement, this was referencing that trans ideology had something to do with the shooting.
Yes, I would say, yeah. So I would say, arguably, right? We know for a fact that they're in the trans ideology. We know that there is
explain what that means.
Like,
they are in the trans ideology.
So yes, we know this person was steeped in it. They have bullet casings referencing furry memes. They're dating a trans individual who, yes, that person has worked with the government. However, other trans people in the Discord groups were celebrating this immediately and deleting it, and they were in the groups assessed it. So yes, it does, because this is the people that were cheering him on, and we even know he confessed in these groups right now. We know this. So
how does
was it actually confirmed that they were dating, or were they just roommates?
What happened?
Yeah, we have witnesses.
They were dating. They were lovers.
We have witnesses that they say they're holding hands, kissing, and whatnot.
Sorry, multiple. Hold on. We gotta go through this piece by piece. How does people cheering something on an event afterwards have to do with anything with the event itself? Right.
Well, there's evidence they were cahoots.
The trans people in general were in cahoots.
No, not in general. Not in general. Actually, I think that's a good point. I want to elaborate on, because I am actually very upset about this on the right, because I'm not like a conservative, like Christian fundamentalist, like person that pushes that. I have trans friends. Okay. I have friends with LGBTQ, and it's frustrating me because I have people that are liberals, right, and they are trans, and they have told me several times they are worried because people that are extremists that have pushed society is going to cause backlash, violence against them. I think this is an example of what could be happening here. People are vilifying trans people as a whole when it's one small group in this Discord of trans individuals who happen to be trans, but it is leftist ideology based, that they're sitting here advocating. I think the bigger issue is the leftist ideology, but it is a fact that it is trans leaning in ideology involved.
Okay, so hon, again, so now it's a Discord group after the fact. They were cheering, and they were doing stuff before, allegedly. Yeah, they wanted to pick up the rifle. They were coordinating with Tyler.
Yeah, allegedly, there's arguments that he was. There's statements that have been made that they might have had foreknowledge. There's groups that have in the area of active, that deleted, that were trans activists.
We don't know yet.
We don't know yet. We don't have that information.
They're investigating group ties. We don't know yet.
We do have for sure the evidence that this person was a trans. He dated a trans individual who had explicit anti-Charlie Kirk and anti-MAGA beliefs, and we think they were tied together.
Sure, but first of all, not to be anti Charlie Kirk, you wouldn't have to just be on the left, right? I'm not saying that they're not.
True.
Sure.
Right. Yeah, great. Okay, just wanted to establish that.
But he was on the left, though. The killer.
He was on the left.
I'm willing to believe that. Like I said during the WIC panel, right? I'm like, it's more likely than not that whoever did this, I didn't know the name.
Yeah, I think you've been good faith about that.
Fair. Okay. So yeah. So as far as I know, fine, right?
Not with the Christian,
but still, like, we are working out, like, just like our, because, and this is why I want to bring this back, Lactoid, right? Just like how at the time, right, we didn't know about the shooter's ideology, according to you. We didn't know about the shooter's ideology, who for the Minnesota assassination attempts, right? Like, we now don't know, right? So, like, statements are being made, but we actually don't much know.
Well, so let
Right.
me. So there was no Kings flyers that were in the car, and that was kind of I think that lended some credibility to we don't know for sure.
Mhm.
When I first saw pictures of the shooter, I thought I saw like a mat
Which one?
like their screen when they're in their dorm, when this person's in their dorm. There's like a computer monitor, and there's like a on the screensaver, it's like a map, or I thought it was like maybe a map game. And when I saw the map game, like Crusader Kings or Hearts of Iron or something, that was massive evidence that this guy was a groiper. And I thought maybe this guy's a groiper, right? But as it was pointed out to me, that's just
Crusader
like a
Kings
screen.
is a Groiper game.
If you, I'm just saying,
Bro, you think
all else being equal,
Deathly Ill is a Groiper because she plays fucking.
all else equal, if you're playing Hearts of Iron, you're more likely to be a groiper. Okay, I'm just saying. But then it was discovered, like I was explained to me, it was just a screensaver of like a natural like landscape, and then we figured out what was on the bullets, and then the investigative agencies were coming out and saying that this guy had been like indoctrinated into left wing ideology, and then we find out that like his partner is he's actively romantically involved with a trans person, which I mean I guess right wingers could be, but like statistically speaking, all the stats are pointing to this person being very left wing.
So I want to talk about that, right? And one, I don't know if this person is trans, but if they are trans, then I can
His
accept
partner,
that.
yeah,
The partner, yeah, not the
the
shooter.
partner, not the shooter.
But okay, so and I want to say again that individual, and Gibbs mentioned it in passing, but this individual is actually working with the cops,
Yeah.
right?
Yep.
The roommate, possibly lover, is
Yep.
actually working with the cops. So let's definitely keep that in mind.
Very good.
It's
But
important.
sure. But like being romantically involved with a trans person, of course, doesn't mean that you're left wing, right?
It indicates you're more
It
like
does. It
obviously
doesn't
evidence.
necessarily. Hold on.
Well,
So
Prime, can I ask you a question?
Hold on, no.
It is evidence at the very
Before you
least.
ask me a question, hold on. Sorry, let me. I didn't get the point out that I'm trying to make. This is, hey, something I talk about often, right? You've heard, if you've been here for a while, not non-fun, because he hasn't heard me yet say this, but something I've talked about on many occasions is, hey, it's actually quite illuminating when you listen to sex workers, right? The things they have to say. They say a lot of interesting things, right? Trans sex workers make money. They make a lot of money. They make, well, not a lot of money, depends on who you're talking about, but they can make a lot of money, right? And they make a lot of money with conservatives. Conservatives like to
who are
sit the trans
closeted.
women. Yeah, so who cares?
It was known they were lovers.
No,
So
yeah,
obviously
no,
they weren't
sorry,
doing that
oh,
good
no,
of a
no,
job
no,
being
no.
closeted.
No, whatever. That's not the point that I'm making. I'm saying that like conservatives, right, can have oftentimes have sex with trans people. Like trans people oftentimes are fetishized, deeply fetishized by the people who hate them. This is a thing that happens in marginalized groups, that the people who oppress them like fetishize them. That's the thing
Like
that
Mark
happens.
Robinson.
So these conservatives, sorry,
That must be why I'm into women.
Well,
right?
I mean,
This individual who came from a seemingly right-wing family. All the evidence is pointing to a right-wing MAGA family. That doesn't mean that they're not conservative. Again, I'm willing to say that they're probably liberal, right? But I'm just
No,
like,
his parents are conservative.
yeah. So I'm saying
Yeah.
I'm complicating. I'm complicating this narrative, right? Like, hey, like the reason why people are unsure in this moment, in this case, is because there's conflicting information, and it seems, especially by like
well,
what he was writing on, but especially it seems like what he was writing on his bullets, right? That this guy is a serious like a terminally online
That's
like
true.
Reddit or 4chan type of person, right? Like with the Helldivers reference, and then the Bella Ciao, which seems to be, well, one is in the Helldivers games, is what I'm being told, but also it has been as an anti-fascist song, but has been ironically adopted by groypers, and I forget what the other ones that he put in there. Oh yeah, if you're gay, if you're reading this, you're gay, LMAO, right? Like this type of individual, like whether this is like politically motivated in that way, like it seems like brain rot, right? And I think like people are reading into things that don't necessarily even have a meaning, right? This is just like deeply like layers of irony poisoned messages that we're getting out of this individual who is alive, luckily, and can still talk at some point, hopefully, right? So I'm saying that at this moment, again, and I'll keep saying it, I'm very much willing to believe that this is a left-wing motivated attack, right? That there was, he had maybe to defend his trans lover. That could be a thing that that happened. But people are making positive statements. The governor's making positive statements. The governor of Utah is making positive statements that we don't know. And then like people online, a lot of commentators are making positive statements that we don't know. And these statements, right? If we're talking about an ideology, if mentioning that ideology is dangerous, well, then mentioning trans ideology would also be dangerous, right? That would be a dangerous thing. If I can't mention fascist, it would also be dangerous, right? Gibbs?
Well, here's the thing, though, Rod. I guess I got two questions for you. Right. So one, let's just go through your logic. I'm gonna start with the smallest point of contention that I think you can agree with first. Is part of the reason we think Gen Z is is the most conservative generation in a long time. A, yeah, Charlie Kirk's work, but B, it's kind of that like rebound effect where people rebel. And if he was raised by a conservative family, would you also agree, since you said they're fetishized, the idea of rebelling against your family and espousing views that are against them, well, no, would you agree that it's a possibility? I know, which I know you didn't say this.
Okay,
would you agree that it's a possibility that instead of what you're just saying, where it's like it's undercover thing, I know you're not saying that, but just like you posited this idea, it could also be the opposite: is that he has taken stances opposite of his family and is openly living with them in a state of rebellion. You would agree that could also be a possibility, right?
Absolutely.
Okay, cool. Yeah. So I think we're on the same page here. The issue that I'm having, right? Because like I said, I'm really concerned for some of my trans friends now, because the right wing has taken it's all trans ideology, all the trans are bad, and that is very concerning to me. But on the flip side, I think the problem people on the right are having is and you haven't done this, so I'm good on you for this. The problem I'm seeing is when people have posted and they've not quite said they're a groiper, or not quite said that whatever, let their audience underneath say this, and then there's no evidence that there's any trans motivation, and then it turns out, oh, this guy's actually dating a trans individual, and there people are on the right receive. Where's the right's apology for this when it's okay, yeah, the guy wasn't trans, but he was dating a trans individual? Would you and I agree that's like a 1 degree separation? It's kind of like ticky tack.
I'm sorry, the right doesn't
I
get
don't
an
know if anyone
apology
else
for
hears
constantly.
Gibbs's echo.
Sorry. Well, I would say, and non-fun, did you freeze one? Okay, so non-fun, if you want to respond, I'll respond after you. If you want to say something quick?
Sure, yeah, the right doesn't get an apology when after every single attack ever, they conspiratize about how it's all the left's fault and how it's all trans ideology and how it's all because people don't have a family unit and don't have a Christian, and then one out of every 100 times they turn out to be 50% right. No, you don't get an apology for that.
No, non-fun. That's not what I said. So literally, this is what happened. I'll use an example because I know he's a big boy and he can defend his stance as he wants to, because I'm talking to him later this week. But Wick posted a status, for example, and he said, "Oh, where are the right wingers apologizing when it came out this guy was from a conservative family?" And a lot of people on the right said, well, hold on, there's clearly leftist Antifa messaging, or it seems like, and there's arguments that the arrow thing is not a Helldiver reference because it's also a reference that Antifa and other movements have used.
No,
and we've seen that. Yes, it is. You can argue it, but we have evidence all the way back from 2018, which predates Helldivers. And so then on top of that, and that's not even the strongest, but the point is when they say, oh, we deserve an apology, this guy wasn't a trans shooter, y'all were totally wrong, and then we find out, oh, actually the guy was dating a trans individual. Do you see that not as a bait and switch when someone like Wick does something like that? And once again, Wick's a big boy, and I'm not saying but it is this 1 degree of separation kind of problem, and that's the one that's coming to mind now. I saw other people saying similar things where it's oh, there's nothing to do with the trans, and then it's oh, well, the guy's actually dating a trans individual. Even Prime sat here and just said, oh, well, it could just be a personal thing where he wants to defend his trans lover, and guess what? Even then, if it's even just that, that's still something tied potentially to the ideology, and it feels dishonest when you go, there's no evidence he's trans, we deserve an apology, he's a right-wing conservative, then it finds out, oh, well, he's actually dating somebody.
No, I agree, it could have something to do with the fact that he wanted to defend his transgender girlfriend or whatever, but you don't get an apology when you, prior to there being any evidence, conspiratize about this stuff, especially when there's so many people on the right, who is it, whatever Christian nationalist on Tim Pool that was oh, transgender people are ticking time bombs to kill Christian children. Oh my God.
But you're putting words in my mouth again. I didn't ask for an apology. Your side asked for the apology from us, saying that it's a right-wing conservative. And then we see it's exactly or close to exactly what the people on the right were saying. You don't see an
No,
issue with
it's
that?
not close to. I don't see a big issue. No, I see a bigger issue with people conspiratizing before any evidence comes out about whether this person is transgender, especially
Even
when,
if the
as I
conspiracy
mentioned,
was right.
so much of the rhetoric. Yes, even if the conspiracy is right, or even if the conspiracy is 20% right. No, you don't get credit for like saying that, for having this unhinged conspiracy theory that like transgender people are evil and fucking crazy and
that's
gonna
not-
kill
that-
Christian children. And then after the fact, if some of it is confirmed, you don't get any credit for doing that because it's an insane.
What if it does become it was a trans terror cell, and even if they were extremists? What if it does end up that there were 4 or 5 people in cahoots, like, and they were like helping him plan, or we're gonna pick up, and they were all trans or transgender?
5
You
people
then
is a
say,
terror cell now.
I mean, well, honestly, if you got 300 people total in your whole
Man,
terrorist organization,
we
and you
took
spread them out,
terrorists.
hold on,
We
and
took
terrorist
terrorists,
cells
and
are
it
small.
just means fucking anybody.
Hold on, how many people
Anybody is a
hold on, how many
terrorist.
people were? Hold on, okay, let's pretend the conspiracy aside. How many people were alleged in the 9/11 hijackings? Like 11?
From
No,
a
it's
group
like
of how
17.
many?
Well, yeah.
11
Hold on,
was selected from a
17,
group.
right?
That would be
17
a
hijackers?
cell, right? That'd be what, 9? Okay, a 9. That would be a cell, right? So if we find out 9 or 5 people in that range, would you
A
call
cell
that a
breaking
cell?
off
part
from,
of Al
from
Qaeda.
wait. From the idea is that they broke that they
Wait, so you can't be a
had
cell
11
unless you're a
people.
part of something else?
It wasn't 11 people. 11 people aren't Al Qaeda. 11 people are a part of Al
Yeah,
Qaeda,
a
right?
cell of Al Qaeda.
Yeah, okay, so
correct?
these are 5 people who are a cell from where? Is there a terrorist fucking trans group?
Well, you could be in a terror cell and not be affiliated with any group. We saw ISIS do that all the time. They would radicalize people, and they would be lone wolves, and they would be trained by people that were actually in the group. That's still part of a terrorist network or a terrorist cell, even if
Part of
they
the network.
themselves are not part of ISIS.
I mean, you would assume there's a network, right? If
Yeah,
you're
what-
saying
what-
there are
what is
cells,
the
there's a
trans
network.
equivalent of ISIS. Then?
Yeah.
What
I
would
mean,
that be?
sure. Well, okay. There is a group that today was I'll find the link. It's in my Discord. But they basically deleted their profile today after it was open that they were going to expand it, which is a militant trans organization, guns right organization in there. So maybe
Like-
it's total coincidence, but hey,
gun
in
rights
my mind, I mean,
organization?
I haven't seen any evidence
Well,
linking them. However, it is a coincidence. If it turns out they were linked, would you then argue that's a cell?
Are you guys gun
Yeah,
rights now?
But
No, I'm
gun
asking.
rights
We're
hold on.
changing it.
That could be the case that it was some weird transgender terrorist cell again to like
Okay,
sociologic's
exactly.
point.
Could
Like
be,
there's
and
no,
I'm not saying it
hold on,
is.
yeah, exactly. But there's no point or there's no like organized network between like every single transgender person
Because
fucking
that's not
organizing all this
necessary
shit.
for a terror
it'd
cell to
be
operate.
one-
You don't have to be part of.
I know, I understand, but you're saying like obviously a terrorist cell typically is going to be part of a larger terrorist network. Like for example, what you mentioned with ISIS or whatever. There's no equivalent to ISIS on the transgender side or whatever. But to be clear, if you are transgender right now, you kind of should be freaked the fuck out because there are a bunch of people on the right blaming you and your quote unquote ideology for all these killings. And they want to take guns away and they want to do a bunch of insane
So,
shit. So you
the
should be
reason
freaking the
why,
fuck
so
out.
I'll answer your question directly, right? About at least what I think is your question. If I'm not answering, then I apologize. But like, should should the right have to apologize over not quite getting the story right and saying that the shooter was trans, but it turns out their lover was trans. If that indeed is
Yeah, I mean, it just feels like duplicitous 1 degree of separation bullshit.
1 degree,
And we're
yeah,
being
yeah.
asked to answer for it, and then when it
So-
turns out it's like 1 degree, they're like,
Who's
"Well, we
asking
don't
to
hold
answer
no
for it?
responsibility."
Well,
Wick
to-
TV.
okay, hold on. But guys, right? Here's the thing, though, right? I want to half agree with you, right? Like to say, oh well, you're saying like trans, like this. Like, I just use the term trans ideology, even though I don't like that term. But I'm just
Sure, yeah. I mean,
yeah, it's fine. It's fine.
it's not a
Trans
gotcha.
id-
That's
Yeah. And not an attack to you either. But trans ideology, like to say that trans ideology wasn't involved at all to them when it turns out they have a lover, like that seems like a disingenuous statement, right? Okay. But on the other side, let's remember the timeline of what happened, right? It was just last week, right? We can all remember this. Immediately after this happened, immediately we didn't have. I don't think we even had a picture yet of this motherfucker. Immediately after this happened, it was blamed on a trans shooter. Immediately, right? We have people on the right talking about this. We have politicians discussing, hey, like, shouldn't something be done about these trans issues. They're a danger, right? Trans people are a danger to us. There was a lot of that happening immediately afterwards, right? And we had no evidence at all, right? And so doing that type of thing, right, which is Charlie Kirk engaged in, doing that makes things more dangerous for trans individuals. So when people were saying, well, I don't want to speak for all these people because I'm not all these people, right? But I imagine what people were saying is like, no, we're not going to give you an apology. Is that well, the right literally likes to fearmonger, and I think I actually agree with this, Gibbs, already, right? It's literally been fearmongering against trans people, right? They have reason to be afraid, which is what you said about your friends, right? They should be afraid. So that's what that's what I imagine these people are saying. I could be wrong about that, but like I imagine they're saying, hey, yeah, you are saying that trans people are directly after that. They're out to kill you, right? That and I think this happened before the Charlie Kirk assassination, but I could be wrong, right? But someone's proposed within the White House, they were proposing the legislation of banning trans people from owning guns, right? Like Lecter and I had a discussion about that.
I would be against that, but I'm glad they did.
I am against that, and I think.
But guess what it did? It caused the liberals to suddenly understand 2A is important. So I mean, maybe it was a good.
I guess take the W's where you can, but but I think one of the ways I think to combat this, because I actually agree with you, Prime. I am concerned that the administration is going to, especially maybe not now, but I was concerned that they might capitalize this to try to push like the trans gun ban or something. I think the best way to combat this is just to emphasize that the trans one is the one working with the FBI.
That's big.
Like that is the person that's being cooperative. The killer is not, but the person who is being cooperative is the trans. Like what more do you want? I mean, that's what.
Would you also have said that it would have been better if the governor had not revealed their gender identity?
Would it be better? I don't know. I think that having information is good. I like that the FBI emphasized that the partner was in full cooperation with the FBI and being very helpful. I think that it'd be responsible to emphasize that a lot, and I'd be okay with the FBI taking kind of special care to really emphasize that this person has been particularly helpful.
Sure. Does this put the person mentioning their gender ideology in this moment in time? Do you think that makes it more dangerous for this individual? That it might. I don't think it'd be particularly hard to find this person's name. The media won't say, of course, but like I don't think it'd be particularly hard to find them.
We already have
they live in the same house, right? Or apartment. Oh, you have their name. Okay, great.
Who dropped their name? Was it the FBI?
I believe so. Or a source within the FBI gave it to somebody.
So do you think that makes it more dangerous for them? Just not the fact that they're a roommate, but specifically trans.
What I would have done, here's what I would have done. If I was the FBI, and by the way, I could be more competent than Kash Patel, honestly.
Easily. I'm sure you could be.
If I was in charge of the FBI, I would release that the partner was trans. I think that's important to counter certain narratives. I would highly emphasize that this person has been cooperative with the FBI and not a problem. I would not drop their name, and definitely not a picture of them. I don't know if the FBI actually did that. It's, to me, probably equally likely that some crazy 4chan people could have done that too. I don't know. I don't know exactly who dropped the name for the first time, but if it was the government, I don't like that. I would not have done that if I was in charge. I would not have had this person's personal information put out there, especially if they're working with the FBI. Like they are currently an active witness essentially and collaborator with the government. We probably shouldn't be, announcing those people for obvious reasons.
Okay, we're almost out of time, but sort of complete separate question.
Wait, do you think the news should be allowed to give out their name? Because say that FBI, I don't know how they released it. I'm guessing, but you said it wouldn't be that hard to figure out, right, Prime? Do you think the news is justified if they go and they find out independently this person's name? They go, oh, we find out this is the roommate. Do you think they should have the ability to do that?
I don't know what the newsworthiness of knowing the name like in this moment where people are looking for someone to blame, like releasing the name of an individual close to a mass shooter, like that seems like they would put them in danger. Now, if we found out this individual at all worked with them or encouraged them, that's a different story, right?
Yeah,
But
I
like,
agree with Prime here. Yeah.
yeah, if they were just in close proximity, like fuck no. I'm sorry, there are a lot of fucking crazies out there.
The other way to
As
look
you
at
can
this,
see.
Gibbs, and maybe this can convince you, Gibbs. This person is actively working with the FBI to put the killer in prison. This killer's got a whole bunch of fans on the left. The partner might be in danger from the left too, right? From certain aspects of the left, right? Because this person's like,
But
working with the pigs, quote
A
unquote, right? This
snitch.
person's working with a
No,
snitch.
I mean, that's absolutely correct. I think the problem I'm having is you also have to remember at the time that you said remember the timeline. This person was on the run. They did figure out who the person was before he got caught, right? And then it's like some people, this information was already quasi out there about this individual. So it's like if you are asking the public to assist you, and part of that information is his roommate's identity, and it's like something people need or looking at. I don't know that you like in the case where it's an open manhunt and this person comes out that it's like oh we can't release it. Like that might have been pertinent info to catch him potentially if the public had to help catch him like the Night Stalker or something. Like you know what I'm saying? So it's kind of like
What?
it's like
I don't. Sorry, I don't know what you're saying. I don't understand that.
so okay, Mike. Okay, there's an open manhunt. They've asked the public to
Okay.
help. They've got whatever, and so then they find out who this person is. And part of it, like the information is like, okay, well, how should we be finding them? Well, they might talk to their significant other. So get your eyes on it. Who's your significant other? Their significant other is this individual. So like, it's maybe like that's something people would do. It's because like, say their significant other hadn't been cooperative and had decided to run. Oh, and they were gonna like flee together and meet up somewhere, and then it would be useful to know who that person was and
Well,
watch
that's a
for them
different
on like.
story.
Well, right,
Like,
but that's
'cause
not what
then we
happened. They had asked before they found out that they caught him for the public to help, and we did know who this person was. So it's kind of like if they do release this information, that could be a tool in order to help catch you. And now it turns out the trans individual ended up helping the FBI instead of running off with him.
Oh,
But
no,
it
to
could
be
have been a
clear,
very real
even if they
possibility they did.
didn't help, right? Let's say like, hey, I'm going to
Abscond with
use my
the murderer.
constitutional right of not speaking to the police, right? If they decide to exercise that right, and like the fact patterns of the case, as far as we know, understand right now, is that the roommate had nothing to do with this, right? If that holds to be true, can't be sure, right? But
Yeah, we
if
don't
that
know.
holds to be true, but in this universe, they decided, hey, I'm going to lawyer up, right? I'm going to hire Lactoid, and I'm not going to say anything. We would still not release their name, correct? Even though they're not
I
cooperating.
agree with Prime. There's no reason to release a person's name.
Well, hold on,
I can't
okay.
think of a reason.
Okay, I can. Right, I gave you one. Okay, would you agree? Say I was married still, and I killed somebody. Okay, and it was like a high profile like somebody, and they were on an open manhunt, and they know that I have money, and they don't know how they're gonna track me, but they know it was me. Okay, or they know or whatever, and so they go, okay, well, we're gonna release other potential associates of him. Be aware that they might be with this individual. And my wife
No.
has decided. Hold on, and my wife has decided at the time she's going to meet me. So someone sees her at the airport and talking to a dude dressed funnily. Like, oh, I have like a big nose and glasses on. Would you agree then that would be useful in catching me if they could recognize my significant other?
Yeah, I agree
Oh,
in
so
that very.
then you agree.
Well, hold on. In this very limited circumstance where it's like we got to find the person, and we know that they're
Well,
with
that's what was
somebody.
happening.
So here's. I don't think that's what was happening.
Yes, it
If
was.
I'm not
He wasn't a
Did
manhunt.
they-
They
okay.
asked the public to help.
Wait. The time period matters here. Did they release because I'm pretty sure they released the name and the picture of the partner after they caught the guy. Am I wrong on that?
Sure.
I'm not 100% sure, but it was within a very short period of time around both.
Well,
The question is whether or not they caught him or not, because
if
they
they caught him,
people.
if
Well,
they
okay,
got
but
him
if
in
they caught
custody,
the wrong person and they want to look at other person's interests, like what
If
would
they-
are you still? You're like excluding them.
if
from
they
being
caught
a-
no,
Oh my
Gibbs,
God.
if they caught the wrong person, they wouldn't know who their partner was.
I listen. I understand that, actually, but if you release 6 names that are persons of interest, right, or you release 3 names because they had the first guy, it's not him based off evidence. They caught a second person. Oh, it's not that guy based on evidence. If they go, okay, we do know for sure it's this person. This person's a person of interest. These are people, they're known associates. Have you ever had a problem with them releasing
Gibbs,
information on
Gibbs-
known associates of mob enforcers?
No, Gibbs. If they have the guy, because I'm assuming that this guy, like they only knew the partner because the partner was the partner of the guy. If they have the guy in custody, even if they have the wrong guy, that the partner wouldn't have anything to do with
Okay.
some other suspect
could
out
the
there
would the
because they
public
are
be-
the partner of the guy
Okay.
that they have
And
in
would the
custody.
public be able say this partner has? Let's just say the partner wasn't cooperating, but like with him, right? Let's say, would you say that it would be useful for the public to be like, oh, I haven't seen the killer, but I have seen their partner at these XY things buying this gun or buying this ammo? Would you find that as useful information that could be given to the police?
If they
Oh,
have
so
some,
there's a bunch of different scenarios then where you need the partner.
okay, hold up, Gibbs.
And I thought
If-
these were like 10 seconds. Like
Gibbs,
stick
Gibbs.
to lawyering.
It took him
Don't
10
be a
seconds,
detective.
actually.
brother. If the person wasn't cooperating and they had some reason to suspect they may have been involved in the crime, that could be a reason.
Oh.
But as far as
What
we
if they're
know, this
cooperating but
person,
giving lies?
as far
But Your Honor,
my
I came up with
God.
these
This
I
reasons
mean,
is
in
this
under
is
10
just
seconds.
30 seconds.
Under 10 seconds,
So
Your
hold on.
Honor.
Like Toy said in the beginning, he could find no idea. I've given you 3 and 30 seconds where it's
You got me,
Honor,
Gibbs.
3 and 30 seconds.
I'm just
Your
saying.
Honor. Three.
If you're
I
the,
rest
hold on.
my
If you're
case.
the only L of the night, and it came from a fellow conservative.
No, you know what's really crazy though is you're framing this like, hold on, you're framing this like somebody has it like, okay, let's look at Tashiki 69. I mean, it's gonna be a great example right here. Tashiki 69 was involved in crime, and guess what?
Takashi
Yeah,
69?
whatever his name. Yeah, whatever. And he decided he was gonna turn on
Tahiti,
like a snitch.
yeah,
Whatever.
Tahiti,
Tahiti
Force
69.
A fellow
Oh, yeah.
terrorist.
Taka Waka Waka, whatever his name is. Listen, he snitched, right? Okay, and he was involved in those crimes. It's not unheard of for people that have snitched and like reported several other crimes to not get busted, then get busted later after it finds out they were involved in other crimes or a partner. Like if we find out, okay, this guy did admit to this, helping because they're afraid they're going to get caught and be wrapped up as a conspirator. Guess what? Okay, maybe they get amnesty for that bullshit. But what if we find out they were actually plotting stuff later on? Like there's a ton of reasons to know.
Gibbs. Let me give you, but fair enough. Okay, but let me give you. I don't find those. I don't think a lot of those possible scenarios that you described are
Highly possible scenarios.
situational here. I think in this situation, this person's
Extremely
highly
probable.
cooperative, giving evidence. Doesn't seem to be like a lot was gained by like putting out their information. But here, we're gonna weigh the potentialities, the potential benefit that you just described. Let's weigh that against what I think is a massive detriment, which is, I have information on the killer, but I don't want my name and face plastered on TV. So I'm not going to come forward now and talk to the FBI. I would be much more worried about that
Okay, wouldn't the opposite be
withholding
true, though,
evidence.
as well? Wouldn't the opposite be true? Say you are the person. You might want your name and face out there because guess what? I'm the trans person that turned him in. You can kill all the other transes, but don't kill me.
Then you
I'm
can
on
come
your
out and
side.
say your name.
I mean,
Yeah,
maybe
you
they
just do
maybe they
that.
did. Do you have any evidence they didn't tell the FBI to release their
Oh my
name to
God.
prove their
D-
innocence?
d-
I
hey,
don't.
that's what
I
we're
don't.
doing.
I don't.
Hey,
got-
we're all
Are
speculating.
you in
You
the
don't have any
FBI's
evidence.
files? Do you
I
know?
don't.
You
Oh,
don't.
guys,
Gibbs is right. I don't.
Absence of
Another,
evidence isn't evidence.
another
of
Two
evidence.
L's
Another
from the
W.
conservative
Yeah,
every time. Like, oh my
exactly.
God.
Yeah, hold
Do
on.
we know
But
that the
Gibbs,
trans
here's-
person isn't a jihadi working with Hamas?
No, we
I
don't
think we
know
do. We
that.
do know that
We
because they
don't
don't like
We
know
know
that.
that they're not jihadi.
What have they said about Israel?
I mean, we know
Any
that
Hitler
Hey,
quotes?
Can I just take a moment? Just like
Is America a republic or a democracy?
thank God
Has the
the
trans
shooter
person been asked
wasn't-
this?
on it.
Thank God the shooter wasn't Muslim. It was a great day. It was a great week to be a minority. Just let it be known.
Yeah.
Well, what happened today, though, Ollie?
Great
What
way
happened
to
today?
be a minority.
Hold on,
Oh,
Ollie.
God.
What happened today?
You're
What happened
speaking
today,
facts.
Ollie?
What happened today? Something?
Yeah,
Oh, yeah,
yeah.
there
A Muslim
some
individual tried
Muslim
firebomb in
individuals.
someplace. or-
Oh shit.
Well, no,
In the name of the trans.
Yeah, but Charlie Kirk is
So,
more
there-
important, so
there
it's
were-
okay.
there were
We'll,
these,
we'll
two-
cover that up.
I just read this story a little while ago. But yeah, and from their last names, I don't know if they are Muslim, but they have Nasir as the last name, so I don't know.
Ooh.
And they put an incendiary device under a news van. And
not-
it
it
In
sure
tried
does
to
Salt
not.
Lake
set
City,
off-
Utah.
And yeah, and it didn't actually set off. And the bomb squad, got rid of it. But anyway, so
So
that's
it's a Muslim
thing that
trans
happened.
organ.
So anyway, come on, guys. So I want to ask you something. So on this note, and then we can wrap this up here and I'll move on for our lives. So Gibbs, right? I think part of the problem, one, I don't know if, and I'm saying I actually genuinely don't know if it is like routine for police to release known associates, right? And to bind that very loosely. Like when I hear known
Well, in the
associates,
movies, yeah.
one, I think like known associates like as part of crime. Like, oh, these are the people, like this is another, like this, we're looking for a drug dealer, and these are other drug dealers that he is known to associate with. One, I don't know if they actually release that on a regular basis. because I'm not sure how useful it is to do that, especially if those known associates might necessarily be informants or work with the prosecutor later on, right? I don't think that's a thing, but I could be wrong. I could be wrong on that. But two, especially when we're talking about a nationalized, sensationalized crime, right? That is especially offensive to the public, right? Let's say we're talking about a child molester, right? And we're looking for the child molesters out there, right? And you just did something terrible, and we're looking for them, and we let the public know about his known associates, and by that I mean his roommate, right? Hey, have you seen a known associate of a suspected pedophile? Hey, what do you think people in the public, what kind of conclusions might they draw about this individual? Just a roommate. That's all we know about them, a roommate, known associate. Let's release their name to the public, right? Like that invites problems. Like it invites a violence or retribution against these individuals who might not necessarily deserve it at all. I mean, vigilante, they shouldn't be doing vigilante violence in the first place, but still, like it primes the public, right? It primes the public to think this person is a problem, is somehow related to the situation as well, and it makes their lives more difficult. And you can't take that back afterwards, especially if you have the wrong guy too, right? Especially if the suspect is completely wrong, then this person, whoever they are, their roommate, is now forever linked to a pedophile case. Like, would you understand how that might be a big problem?
No, I mean, maybe. I mean, there's all sorts of things. I think that this is somewhat.
I actually don't think we know the name, by the way.
What? The person?
The trans person. A picture has been
People-
floating around, but I'm not trying to find the name. I can't find the name.
People are able to find their TikTok
Yeah, I
and
mean,
stuff.
I
I
think
don't know. We might not know the name, but
Yeah,
we know
I
some
mean,
of their social
I know
media.
it's I think it's
Okay.
Lance Twigs is what it refers
Well,
to.
don't say it.
No, it's not doxing. It's already public knowledge.
Well, I
mean,
know,
this
but
is
like, why are we? Gonna
wasn't
I
to
don't think
me.
we should- I mean, well, that stuff's tough titties. I'm sorry. I'm gonna say it when it's being reported by national news. Like, sorry, that's not.
I mean, what are they, a
we're not-
coward?
Yeah, what are we, cowards? We literally just had a whole panel at this thing. In fact, are you? They're not a coward.
I
They're
think you make
working
a
with
good point, Lactoid. We can
police.
discuss it.
You know,
You want to take off your shirt?
if I put my name
Corey's
here
got
tonight,
you on
then we're gonna be
site.
saying others.
He just
Got you
called
in
me
the
fat.
red eye.
Yeah.
You brought it up initially, not me.
Okay.
I will gladly go
All right.
toe to toe to you anytime.
I bet he will. Like, this was, I've never seen Corey be as toxic.
I like it.
He's on tea supplements.
I have no
so-
problem saying that. I don't treat politics like a game like Lactoid does. And I will absolutely die for all of my convictions. And I'll stand by everything that I say. Lactoid will not.
Oh, let him know.
Wow.
Let him know. Oh, yeah. Right? He said pry his convictions out of his cold, dead hands. What do you think about that, Lactoid? Huh?
Yeah, he's on the tea's making some progress. He's getting very masculine, very aggressive.
Okay. All right. I'm not gonna say anymore because I don't want Corey to be mad at me. So what we're gonna do here is
I encourage it. Having that rat thrown at you, kind of sexy, man.
Let's wrap things up. Hey, audience, if you've enjoyed this content so far, consider supporting the channel. Sub to the channel, give bits, give subs. Right? If you haven't done so already on Twitch, right? Support the channel that way. It's a huge help if you do. Thank you for anyone who does. Resubs also are very helpful. We appreciate our resubbers. Ad-free viewing, and our emotes and the whatnot. And on Twitch, sorry, I still never get it right. On YouTube, thank you for people who super chatted, who supported. You also be a YouTube member. That's a help. So consider supporting the channel or following. You haven't done so yet, right? Like follow the channel, however you can on whichever platform you can. Follow the channel. If you found this entertaining, because we have big fights like this constantly. So we have an outro to all these wonderful, amazing, beautiful individuals, right? Sorry for our friend Lactoid. Thank you, Lactoid. You and Gibbs were carrying the mantle. I invited more people to be conservatives. They dropped out, right? They didn't want to face us on the battlefield of
He
ideas.
didn't want to face Corey.
But lactoid, probably a good idea. Corey would have taken someone's limb off, especially with Scott. Oh man, Scott would ask for it.
If Grid
But
was here,
lactoid, battling a sickness, right? He didn't let that stop him. He decided, I'm going to be a part of this. I've got a conservative point to make, a bad one. Nothing's going to stop me from doing it. So, Theodore.
Yeah.
Thank you for being here. I wrote it down so I don't forget. Don't worry. This will be coming back again. Go ahead.
Yeah, no, I appreciate it. Look, I appreciate the invite. I appreciate everybody who talked to me. I'm just going to, I guess, reiterate something that I wish would just sort of be in the public consciousness to just say, which is that this murder was horrific and inexcusable. I'm like many people, I saw the video and like that. I've seen a lot of shit, right? Because of my job, like I've watched a lot of people die, a lot of gory accidents and stuff. That was particularly kind of jarring, and anybody who can watch that and then afterwards just be like, jumping for joy and doing TikTok dances. I mean, I think it's despicable. And even if you don't, which you should, but even if you don't, this, I think at the very least kind of paints a very kind of scary picture about the current political polarization of this country, which I have consistently brought up on this panel, how it's, really bad right now. And it's probably close to the worst it's been since the Civil War. Not as bad as the Civil War, of course, but bad. So let's do what we can to move away from that.
Agreed. I could 100% agree with everything our good friend Lactoid just said there. I was going to say something else there as well. Yeah, I forget it. But anyway, we'll go to our friend Gibbs. Thank you, Gibbs, for coming on again. I want you to have more backup on this, but as always, when Gibbs is excited about a topic, you can hold his own. So appreciate you for being here, Gibbs.
Yeah, I appreciate you always having me on. It's always good. I always look forward to it. Monday is my favorite night of the week when I can be here. Secondly, yeah, Lactoid's not the only one battling the sickness. I'm battling this sickness. I'm sick and tired of all this baby back bullshit that the fucking left keeps doing with this dishonest language and dishonest framing where they're playing piddly dicks with word games and thinking that nobody's catching on. That's what they're doing. They're playing piddly dicks, and it's fucking bullshit. It's disgusting, and they need to stop. They're actually worse, in my opinion, the ones that are doing that than the people celebrating. Because the people that are buying the Charlie Kirk 3D printed thing and selling it around, the people sitting here putting their name on this bullshit, they at least have the balls to come out and say and own this evil position, and so we know who the enemy is. But these other people that are these perfidious word games where they sit here and are duplicitous and have this plausible deniability, they're much worse because they're bad faith actors, and we should call them out, and we should call them out by name. And that's exactly right. Corey was right about that, for example. It is a little bit cowardly to be afraid to not put your name on something. I come on here, I came from a whole different sphere than politics. You can thank the leftist crazy ideological agenda for me being in politics, because it got so bad that I came in here and stopped doing what I was doing in streaming and started doing this pretty much as my main content. And I'm not afraid to put my name on shit. And it's crazy to me that we're going to sit here and have this conversation about, oh, we shouldn't put the name to these. It's wild because they're sitting here doing this every day. And I'm sad, I'm disgusted, and I'm sick of it. So if you want to continue this conversation, we're going to be continuing Thursday with a large panel of people at 7:30. And it's going to be exciting. I'm sure it's going to be more heated, especially as more details comes out. I don't see this issue going away anytime soon. Charlie Kirk won the debate. We are Charlie Kirk now, and the sad part is that we beat him. We are Charlie Kirk. Y'all couldn't beat him, so you killed him. And Blacktoid may be worried about putting his name and face out there. I'm not. You're gonna have to kill me to shut me up. It's gonna get worse, and there's gonna be more of us. I'm just, y'all thought he was the white radical one. Wait till you see who else is out there. And I do have concerns about that. And I encourage my right-leaning brothers and sisters to maybe Don't embrace the evil extremists on our side, because that is a concern. But come back and fight for your actual beliefs and stand up and speak your beliefs loudly instead of letting an evil group take over his name and run with it. That's what you should be doing on the right wing. On the left, stop being so goddamn evil and playing these duplicitous games. And thanks as always for having me.
So
Word
two
of the
things.
day,
One, we can
duplicitous.
all agree, on both sides of the aisle, that Lactoid's a coward, but by not telling us his real name. Luckily, I
Typical
doxed him for
socialist,
you, so
typical
you don't have to worry
socialist.
about that. Theodore Fournier. All right. Look him
There's
up.
no way Theodore is actually the most popular name in Canada, is it really?
Yeah,
It wouldn't surprise me.
I looked up a list.
Where'd you get that? Where'd you get that?
Ted-
Yeah,
from?
no, I'll tell you.
Ted makes sense. Ted being the most
of,
popular name in Canada
popular-
makes sense.
Yeah,
baby names.
yeah,
Yeah,
that
so
makes sense, actually.
in 2023, it was the third most popular name in Canada for baby names, Theodore.
Yeah, that makes
There were
sense.
others,
Ted.
but they weren't as funny as Theodore, so I picked that one instead.
That's a pretty Canadian name. Yeah.
So,
enough.
okay, well, shouts. Lactoid. Also, just one more thing, Gibbs. One day, will you tell us the rules of Piddly Dicks? You always say people are playing it all the time. I like to. Is it like it's like hopscotch? Like what is it?
It's like the rules of Piddly Dicks is you're playing some bullshit ass game. It's like kind of like my dad used to say, when you're bored, you get your hands like this and you do your thumb this way, right?
Okay.
And then when you get really bored with doing that, you go the opposite way. That's playing
Okay.
Piddly Dicks. You're sitting here cockfighting instead of coming out here and doing anything of substance. That's what it is.
Okay. Understood. Piddly Dicks.
Piddly
Got it.
Dicks, yeah.
All right. So I appreciate you, Fred.
That was the
let's
most
go.
Texas thing you could have
Yeah.
described.
I mean,
All right.
listen, they come in cattywampus. We got to explain it to them right.
Cattywampus, okay. Another time. Let's go to our friend Corey. Corey. That was intense, right?
Sure.
We expect that nonsense. People don't expect anything better of me, but like Corey, like you're of a
Courageous Corey, actually.
Yeah, courageous Corey, who's got his name out there, right? And in case you don't know, I mean, like, you can say your name, but
Yes,
like,
you can look me up. I don't care.
okay, well there you go. Thank you, Corey, one way or the other, for being here. We like all sides of Corey that show up. We haven't found a bad side of Corey yet. Lacto might disagree on this one, but like found
he
a bad
would.
side of Corey yet. But thank you, Corey.
Thank you for inviting me. And again, I find it again a little bit strange or interesting that Lactoid essentially said, why can't just all the left or the people just condemn the violence? But like, so here's the difference. I can do that. I can say I condemn all political violence. Corey Campbell. I condemn all political violence. Lactoid TV. Okay. Wow, such impact, such courage. Okay, and the difference is I tried to pin him. I tried to pin him to just one position that he knew was nonsensical. But he can't actually attach any sort of name to it. Either his pseudonym, he can't say, I'm a lactoid, I'm a lawyer, and America is not a democracy, it's a republic, because he's a coward. And he has the ability to do that because he can remain anonymous, okay? And he's gonna say, well, I'm afraid, okay? I'm gonna get shot. I'd be curious to know who do you think is more in danger? Someone like Destiny or someone like Lactoid, okay? Where I'm pretty sure Destiny, who is banned on Twitch and pretty much denounces all Marxist-Leninists, I wonder if he received death threats. I wonder if people know where he lives, okay? And like, Lactoid, do you consider Destiny a cuck?
Literally a cock?
Sexually, literally.
Okay,
isn't
so,
it?
I like that.
you
I
would
like
agree that
politically.
Destiny the cuck is more brave and courageous than you. You would say that.
Let's go.
Kind of base. Kind of base.
You're gonna say it? You're gonna say it, Lactoid?
The Destiny's the cuck is more courageous than me.
Stephen Bennell the third, his
Yeah,
name's out
Stephen
there
Bennell
pretty.
the third.
Stephen
Know
Bennell
where
the
he
cuck.
lives too. At least a broad area.
Yeah.
You gonna say it?
We also know Nick Flynn is
He's-
where he lives. Too, yeah.
He's probably more courageous and more reckless than me,
Okay, good. For once, you can say something
especially
with
with
your chest.
other people's stuff.
Yeah, or
Reckless.
just politically, because yes, my beliefs are, if you want to be in the political arena,
He is bold politically. If I could give him one thing, I will give him that. He is bold politically.
yeah, you would agree. Destiny the Cuck is more bold politically than you are, and braver than you are,
Yes.
right? Agree?
Hitler was more bold than me as well.
Okay, yeah, sure. And you're definitely making a great equivalency there.
Am I wrong? Was Hitler more bold than me, Corey? Yes or no?
Yeah, I would agree. He is more courageous than you.
And
Yes,
braver
absolutely.
than you too.
Hitler was more bold than me.
Even
brave.
Nazis, right? Like, when does the lactoid even ever get a win? It
Yeah,
never
yeah.
happens, right?
Literally,
Okay,
Hitler's gonna win.
lactoid will it will take him a long time to grow a backbone. Okay, and I find it also hilarious that he invoked my tits. Okay, again, I will gladly take off my shirt. I will gladly take off my shirt.
Please.
Yeah.
Please.
You want
take
to
your shirt
go?
off.
If I do it,
Yes.
you promise to do it to Lactoid?
Yeah, Lacto, both of you
Okay,
take your shirts off. Take your shirt off.
You're gonna
In
do it?
Lactoid's defense, right? And Lactoid, you can correct me if I'm wrong, right? I feel like you want to actually make a comment on his, like, your physical appearance there. Is that
I know,
correct?
Yeah.
I know the overall sentiment, but still, you want to take me up on that offer?
Hey, you want me to go
Shirts off.
shirtless on
Shirts
cam?
Yeah, go.
For sufficient
contest right now.
for a donation for a sufficient
No,
sub.
no.
Yeah, I would do it. Yeah.
But it's
I'll
funny.
donate
Okay, I think
$10
I
to the
think
charity of your choice.
I think just last
Charity
week-
of my choice.
$10 to the shrimp fund.
$50 to
$10
Prime
to the
Time. We
shrimp.
have some, you can go to the
I
super
think
chat.
just
$50
last
for-
week, Lactoid was pointing out how Gibbs was mogging me. Am I mogging you yet?
Mogged.
What was the context of Gibbs
Yeah,
mogging
you don't even remember that. Okay, I'll pull up the
You don't
clip
even
later on.
remember.
Exactly.
I don't.
Remember the
a joke.
mog.
A joke. But anyways, like I sort of suspected, the conversation was not all that productive to me. And Lactoid, yeah, no courageous, and I think he's largely a weasel. But yeah, this was a pleasure.
Damn.
You can find me on Twitch, Corey Campbell 84, Twitter, X, YouTube, Instagram. It's Corey Campbell. That is my name. Okay, there's enough information on my social media that you can know my city, you can know my province. Okay, because yes, I will absolutely die for what I believe in and say it. But non-fawn, always a pleasure. Ali, always a pleasure. Doobie, always a pleasure. Gibbs, always a pleasure. And Lactoid, always a pleasure. Love you, Prime.
Thank you. And oh, wait a minute. $50. Hold on, no. $50 super chat.
To you, that's not to
It
me.
is not. It's yo.
No,
$50
no.
super chat. Come on. Shirts
Wow.
off. Shirts
No,
off.
no.
Come
Do
on,
it
way.
for the
Shirts off.
meme.
Shirts
I-
off.
no, I'm
on
not
top
doing my
of-
shirt off for
on top of
$50
being-
to
on top of
you.
being-
Yeah, to
you're,
me.
You're a
I said it.
scammer.
You do your
Come
you do your shut off for your
Yeah,
money
yeah.
to you.
You
Hold on.
scam the
They
audience.
want to see.
I
you.
said a sufficient sub for me.
The audacity of you to scam
okay, how
the
about this?
audience.
Nice
How
word
about this?
choice.
If I take my shirt off, because I've done that before on stream, that was years ago. If I take my shirt off, will you take it off as well? And Corey, all three of us.
Absolutely,
No,
yeah.
look, I would need some kind of sub for me, and then I
I
would
get a black chest in there too. Awesome.
Like, what
Look at the courage on display.
This is
Look at the
This
courage
might
on
be a very
display.
exciting porn, let me tell
This
you.
$50 does come to you because it helps me do the reverie, right? And this is your favorite night
Right.
of the week, right? Like
A little
you
reverse
said it before,
Oreo, let's get it.
You really enjoy being here, and I appreciate the fact that you enjoy it, right? The $50 helps make that happen. Thank you, Audacity. For the $50.
look. I don't want to.
Can't
I
do
don't
that.
want to take my shirt off, but like I said, I will do it if with sufficient donation to me. But I don't want to.
No, you're just saying sufficient. We don't even
What
know
does
what that
sufficient
means.
mean?
How
I
about
said sufficient.
How about
Yes,
I do it with you? Will that make you feel better? I'll do it right now with you. I'm the fattest one here. I
50?
actually have tits. And for
50.
free. Well, they already gave 50. I'll do it with you right now.
Okay.
Hold my hand. Like, come on.
I
Let's
apologize.
take our shirts off for
Audacity.
these men together.
Okay. Yeah. Let's do it.
Well, wait,
I
Corey,
gotta do it.
Corey,
I
will
gotta do
you
it
still
for the
take your
50.
shirt off?
Yeah, of course.
50, one
Yeah.
second.
Yes.
1 second.
No. It's Lactoid. My deal
Oh,
was
I thought you were
Lactoid.
just
Just
doing
calling
it for
out
the free
Lactoid.
ski, for the love for the boys.
Standing off on my channel, you donate $20 to the Shrimp Welfare Project, and I put the shrimp costume on. That's what it's for. So,
Only if you take
Send
your
your-
shirt
your
off
link-
will you
your
get
send your
money.
link
This
says
is
it's full, by the
a
way.
strip club
Not
stream.
fun.
I can be naked under the
There we
shrimp
go.
costume. How about that?
Not fun. It said earlier when they did it that it was full. I don't know if you noticed.
I think he's just
Alright.
confused because we
So
reached
Prime
the original goal.
It's shirtless. Okay.
Oh, shit.
Right. Prime, more bold.
Absolutely
than
more
Lactoid,
bold.
apparently. Again, Audacity, I do apologize. All right. Even though Lactoid is always here, like all the labor I put in for Lactoid, he doesn't want to show his appreciation at this point in time. Okay. All right, Lactoid doesn't actually want to follow through. Very cowardly, like Corey said. Okay, Corey, do you want to
Very
take off the shirt?
anti-libertarian of you to put out a contract
sure,
and then
why
break
not?
it.
Yeah, let's do it.
Not living by your
Oh my
libertarian
God,
values.
Corey! Fuck.
Wow.
Corey,
Look at
oh,
Corey.
Those
We love to see it.
traps, they tell the future. He wakes up, he looks at his traps every morning, goes, "What do you guys
Ooh,
think?"
We love to see it.
He's
Corey.
ready.
Whoa! Look at those shoulders. Oh my God, very sexy.
Corey, you
We're
should
earning
just
that
start doing the
$50.
shows like this. I think that.
I used to do my workouts. Okay.
Hey, there you go.
Okay, Gibbs,
Lactoid.
Gibbs, you said
So Lactoid.
Oh yeah, I mean, Lactoid. You want to do any Lactoid you want?
Lactoid.
Come on. Yeah.
I've said.
Yeah,
Yeah,
no,
exactly.
I've said my
What
choice.
What a masculine
Uh,
man. He's gonna.
Yeah, hold on.
Non-Fawn, I believe you're quite young. Okay,
Oh,
take
yeah.
take notes.
Doobie-
okay?
Doobie
Don't
losing
ever
his
listen to
mind right
anything
now.
about Lactoid,
Yeah.
about masculinity.
Yeah,
There we
masculine
go.
is a glory.
We're gonna earn it. Okay,
Come on,
all right.
Lactoid. You ready?
Now, our friend Ali.
What happened?
What happened?
What do you guys
Ali,
want?
Right? Come on. We need those
This is really gay.
It's only gay if you look into the
Yeah.
eyes.
Yeah, we need those Lebanese chest hairs. Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah. Okay. All right. Look at that. Look at these men. These champions, right? Here with their chest out. Yeah. Roaring.
Yeah, a lot
That's
of
how we're
men
doing it,
slapping
all right?
me.
Yeah, we love to see it. We love to see it. Real men. Okay. That's non-fun. It's hard to make a request for him because he's
$5 for the Shrimp
non-fun.
Welfare Project. I'll do it. Anyone in chat or one of you guys, okay?
Non-fun.
$5 for the
for the
shrimp.
service of providing the revelry to you, and you'll be invited again, non-fun. I think you're doing a great job here, non-fun. Can you take off your? Would you be so willing to take off your shirt?
Like I said, $5 for the shrimp, buddy. That's all it takes.
Oh my God! Come on, hey, we don't know what everyone do. Come on, non-fun. You can do this. You can do it. Don't be a lactoid.
I have some
Ew.
obligation
Yeah,
to try to
lactoid.
raise money for the shrimp, all right?
Oh
He's
my
not- he's
God!
stand-up
Okay,
business for his
all
cause.
right. So I mean, we can clearly separate the boys from the men here. All right, there's a clear denomination. Yeah. All right. And if our friend Doobie could, I know from personal experience, he likes to.
Lactoid doesn't have an excuse
other
now. He
men.
just got a bunch of donations. He has to do it.
Oh,
So was
did
it
you get a
50?
bunch of donations, Lactoid?
Yeah, someone gifted
Hey,
a
got
lot of
just went a
stuff.
bunch
You
of
got
donat-
20 tier 1 gifted.
Oh,
much money is that?
That is
20 times 5,
20.
that's 100, right?
No, it's gonna be 20 times
Oh.
275.
Yeah,
Oh,
they
okay.
Twitch takes a cut, but
How
yeah.
much is that?
Hey.
Is that 50?
Yeah.
I don't
Well,
know.
I mean, yeah, it depends on the.
yeah, it should
yeah.
be close to it.
Yeah, yeah,
You said 275 each.
That's what you should get in the revenue. Yeah,
yeah.
not counting the benefit you get from
Lactoid.
the promotion.
All right.
Yeah.
Is the
There
cam
we
going
go.
off?
There we go. All right.
We don't get
All
the
right.
show, Lactoid? I thought usually when you're at the club you pay for the show.
That's right. Yeah, I gotta do the dance.
Well, I think
Okay,
someone
yeah,
gave
all
me
right.
10 subs, which I will, I guess,
Oh,
donate
No
to
honor.
the shrimp on behalf of them.
Okay.
So,
It's time. It's time. All right. Hey, ladies, this is what we provide, right? You know, you don't. Well,
Yeah, one of you out there.
So Audacity, thank you for setting this off. I do appreciate you for the $50. Awfully kind of you, Audacity. So shout out to that individual. Oh, okay. Hold on. We're gonna take Audacity's thing down for a second. Oh, we gotta get more of that skin. Oh yeah, we love to see it. We love to see it.
Good on you.
Oh,
Lactoid.
it's finally done. Yeah. Okay. We
I've said.
provide. We
Oh,
provide.
another sub got gifted. Here you go.
Okay. Yeah. Any subs to me? Any subs to me? No.
We do have a shared hype train, level 7 right now.
What is that? I don't know what that means. Does that mean I get any money?
You get different emotes, and then it makes you more likely to promote you to like other stuff, like the Kappa trains that you get, which give you something specific. So
Okay,
like,
so I don't get
yeah.
money. That's okay then. Never mind.
It
Alright, and
leads
then-
to more
there you
money.
go,
I
dude.
said
for
earlier.
advertising.
I said earlier that you guys were getting like really gay with the fashion shit, like, all the labels and shit. And at the end of the stream, you guys were all shirtless. Like I don't know what the fuck's happening here.
We're comfortable with. Hey, listen. If,
No
if
labels, bud.
Fabian was here, he would tell you this is part of becoming in a fraternal society where men can be men.
Or men can be men.
Yeah.
That's
Look,
not
I'm
what's
not
going.
bashing it. Okay, you guys want to get naked with each other? That's fine. Go for it.
Yeah. Okay. Well, we provide. So we'll continue on with the outros here. All right. This is it's been a weird
My
day
shirt's
so
going
far.
on now.
Okay. No. Why? Hold on. You can wait till the end. Come on. You're not cold there. You're good. You're good. Put on a blanket, okay? Put on a blanket. You're good. Okay.
Oh
All
Lord.
right. We're almost done. So,
Yeah?
Doobie, thank you for being here. Thank you for stripping, I guess. And thank you for being you, Doobie.
Yeah, thank you for having me. I'm Doopy. I run the politics server on Discord, discord.gg/politics. And yeah, you'll find me there.
Always underwhelming, but I appreciate you.
Yeah.
Let's go to our friend Ali. Ali, thank you. All right, thank you for sharing those beautiful Lebanese chest hairs. All right. Thank you for joining in, being part of the crew, right, and not having to be harassed into it, like Lactoid. Thank you for coming through and being part of the whole panel conversation.
Yeah. So I was thinking about it, and it's I think you guys are being honest, Lactoid and Gibbs. You guys are being honest in your perception that you guys do think Charlie Kirk is a moderate, and you do believe that, you know, the Republicans see him as a moderate, so on and so forth. But then I think that's the issue, right? If the issue on the left isn't dishonesty, but it's perception, to the point where like you see Charlie Kirk as a moderate, and then when I ask you, you think the alternative to Charlie Kirk would be a Rachel Maddow, someone whose name isn't going to be as known as recognizable as Charlie Kirk. When I went out last week, the local vape shop, people were crying about Charlie Kirk. There were like random aunts on Facebook that I saw, like just going to like memorials in Michigan about him. This guy's name was like pretty fucking out there, and he had some pretty strong influence. And the influence was further right than what I guess we perceive as moderates, right? Because then my argument back was, well, then Hassan is a moderate if Charlie is a moderate. And no, your comparison was Rachel Maddow, which I thought was dishonest, right? But I believe you. I just think that perception is fucking insane. And so that if your perception is that like Charlie is moderate, then all the criticism of Charlie that you've seen this week would have been the moderate left. It wouldn't have been the crazy or radical left. These are the response to his rhetoric. So these were the people he was battling with, the far right versus the far left.
Okay, thank you so much. And finally, non-fawn, right, also needed to be harassed and cajoled to only a little. Thank you for being here. Thank you for participating. Much appreciated. Handsome guy, handsome bastard. Sean, thank you for gifting membership on YouTube. Awfully kind of you. Thank you, as always. But yeah, thank you, Non-Fawn, for joining in, for being part of this. We actually did this one time before. Just putting it out there. We just kind of did this one time before. We had like way back when I first started this channel, we had like a bunch of people on screen topless. Even some people who may not have shared my gender. Anyway, I don't know. I didn't look at their genitals, so I wouldn't know. I can't be sure. But in any case, that was an exciting day. But anyway, thank you, Non-Fawn, for being part of the whole.
I mean, yeah, I know I don't always come here, but I'm glad I had the opportunity to show up to the ones that I'm more interested in. You should check out my YouTube channel if you enjoyed anything I had to say. I've been busy defending the glory of capitalism to all those people who are on the Jubilee video with Patrick Beck David who are arguing against it.
Jubilee therapy by Non-Fun.
Yeah, I know. I've talked to like 7 of them at this point. I think I have one more lined up to defend capitalism too. But yeah, that's what you can find all that stuff on my YouTube channel, where I also stream, and I multi-stream to Twitch, Twitter, and Kick at Non-Fun420. You should come check me out if you want to help me do an IRL stream at the Unfuck America tour.
Okay, love to see it. much appreciated to everybody. We're gonna raid out. All right. This has been. We got a lot of viewers. Got shout out to our friend Gibbs, who made us do the link thing.
Yeah,
But hey, guys,
promote you more.
we got a lot more viewers. Hey, we haven't done so yet. Follow our channels. All our individual channels are part of the shared group chat there. Follow me at Prime. I'm not sure how that works. How can you follow individual? I don't
Yeah,
know.
they'll be able to click your channel and follow you.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, it
Well, then
shows all the different people in the chat.
follow me, Prime Kai. Right, I put this on. It's a lot of fun. We do these things. If you found that at all entertaining, come back in the future. We'd love to have you. Right, follow our friend Lactoid. Follow our friend Gibbs and everyone else here, including Corey, Non-Fawn, Doobie. Go to his Discord channel and our friend Ali. I am going to rate out to. Let's see if we can find a woman. Let's see. Woman, is there any ladies out here? Okay, there's this woman who's just laying down and doing literally nothing.
With
Nice.
1,000 viewers, I'm sure.
Seems like the right person to write on out to.
Does anyone have a suggestion? I'll do that.
No, that's the proper moral
Yeah,
choice.
you could raid Enemy Charlie or why not?
Oh, okay. Charlie, what's her name?
Enemy
Charlie.
I said
One
Charlie.
word,
Okay.
enemy like a foe.
Yeah. Okay. 451 people. Okay. Yeah, she's got a lot of people. All right. We'll rate out to Enemy Charlie. Again, thanks everyone for being so kind. And we will be back in the future. Go.
All right, guys, I gotta go as well. Bye. I'll be good.
Okay. Have a good one.
Thank you.
Fun time.
See you
Bye,
later.
everyone.
Peace
Everyone,
out,
see you guys.
fellas.
Take care.
Well. One second, folks. Should I keep this shirt off? I don't think I have an obligation to keep the shirt off. Oh my god, what a weird panel. Okay, I'm sending the people on this short stream, if there's any of them, over to the regular stream. Redirect, add, me, save.